Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing cause I'm counting no age. Now I couldn't be there. Now you shouldn't be scared, I'm good at repairs and I'm at each snap. What the hell am I doing? What I meant to say was, hey you! This video was chosen democratically. If you're here, it's likely because of my Touhou ranking, so you'll know what it is. Yep, this time I'm ranking the stages. Sorry to the 5 people who subscribed because of my Shadow the Hedgehog rewrite, I guess. Anyway, this ranking will cover all mainline Touhou games with stages that have any meaningful distinction, even if the game isn't a shooter. Highly responsive to press. Oh, my cough's really bad. This means the versus shooter Twinkle Star Sprite Task games will not be covered this game. Video, the word that stupid motherfucker from the past was looking for was video. In case anyone seriously thought I'd be ranking the sunflower fields from fucking PoFV and treating it as any different to A&A or the bamboo forest of the lost. At any rate, that means I'll be ranking stages from Highly Responsive to Prayers, Story of Eastern Wonderland, Lotus Land Story, Mystic Square, Embodiment of Scarlet Devil, Perfect Cherry Blossom, Imperishable Night, Mountain of Faith, Subterranean Animism, Undefined Fantastic Object, 10 Desires, Double Dealing Character, Legacy of a Lunatic Kingdom, Hidden Star in 4 Seasons, Wily Beast and Weakest Creature, Unconnected Marketeers, and yes, Fossilized Wonders. As before, I'll be ranking these as the 1cc-ing on normal because I'm not a godlike Dan Marku gamer, just a British software dev who happens to like the games. Being real, unlike the shots tier list, I don't think any stages are straight up Y tier, so we're looking at the standard S to D format, with peak for the best of a given stage number. With Highly Responsive to Prayers, I'm ranking the stages in 4-round bundles: Hackaway Shrine, Makai 1, Makai 2, Makai 3, Hell 1, Hell 2 and Hell 3. This bundling and all the extra Phantasm and other variants leaves this list with 120 entries to rank. Seeing as I just explained how I'll approach Highly Responsive to Prayers, may as well get on with ranking that shit right now. Given I didn't get to introduce the game in my shots tier list, owing to the shots tier list not including HRTP Reimu, I may as well have a little ramble about this weird outlier of a game. I actually love this game, but damned if I can play it well. I suck monkey balls at it and I've only managed to 1cc the Makai route like once maybe? I can't even remember. It's basically Arkanoid with a bullet hell twist and surreal hard as fuck backgrounds. Despite being so different from the shooters and even the versus games, its stages demonstrate that Zun's approach to introducing game mechanics existed from the very beginning. Specifically, he's a big fan of anti-pieces and introducing elements one by one, if it can be helped. What is an anti-piece? Well, it's an easier version of a given game mechanic introduced in a relatively safe zone that gets the player acquainted with it before exposing the player to a riskier, harder version of said mechanic. Think tutorials, but without any direct hand-holding, meaning game journalists are 10 times more likely to get stuck on them because they require things like inference and a functioning frontal lobe for the player to internalise their lessons. At any rate, let's move on to the first stage in this ranking. HRTP Hackaway Shrine. Wouldn't you know, that thing I mentioned in this game's intro is irrelevant. Hackaway Shrine is literally so safe that the only things that can harm you are your own yin-yang orb and being slow. Imagine routinely getting the hurry up alert on Hackaway Shrine. Couldn't be me. At any rate, Hackaway Shrine is one big mechanic introduction process. While fairly paint by numbers, it does its job well. Stage 1 is a set of panels with a pair of warp orbs in the corners, allowing you to get to grips with how to manipulate the yin-yang orb and, if you're unlucky, forcibly teaching you how to deal with unpredictable yin-yang orb angles. Stage 2 introduces you to impassable circles, something your orb bounces off, and has a slightly more complex tile pattern. Stage 3 combines impassables with a single warp orb, which acts more as a forcible angle switcher. It's also the first asymmetrical stage. Finally, Stage 4 introduces divider lines in a fairly unobtrusive way, placing it as part of a simple combo with some impassable orbs. Given the crazy ways dividers will be used later, this is a really chill intro. All in all, we're not looking at the gaming equivalent of Shakespeare, but this is an archetypal easygoing mechanic introducing starter level for HRTP's weird gameplay. Also, Eternal Shrine Maiden is an absolute banger, definitely makes the chill pace work. We're starting with a solid B. Next up is Makai 1, or stages 6 to 9, nice, of the Makai route, and okay. The music is among the weaker tracks of HRTP, too droning and repetitive for my tastes, and the gameplay honestly follows. Stage 6 introduces the last core mechanic of the game, and it's a big one, orbs that shoot at you. No longer are you at the mercy of your own skill issues and yin-yang orbs, now there's something to keep you on your toes. Stage 7 is a different pattern of panels with more shooters. Stage 8 does away with the shooters in favour of a more dangerous wondrous take on the warp and impassable orbs combo, along with a spread out lower panel configuration. The lower warp orbs are a particularly mean hazard for this point in the game. Stage 9 is just another configuration with 4 shooters. While Stage 8 is a breath of fresh air amidst its compatriots, for the most part Makai 1 is a simplistic, unremarkable set piece. The background goes hard and Yugen Magan is a really fun boss, but the stages and the music, not offensive enough for D, but it can't be put any higher than C. Makai 2, stages 11 to 14 meanwhile, are at least somewhat memorable. Not only is its theme, Oriental Magician, an atmospheric masterpiece, but the obstacles are consistently configured in mean ways, rather than simply sitting at the top in symmetrical layouts. Stage 11 starts off simple yet commanding, 6 shooters firing at randomised, unpredictable angles, 2 of them being really low down. It's a harsh first impression that is unfortunately let down by Stage 12, which is just 4 shooters in the middle surrounded by panels. Stage 13 leans into the Japanese Buddhist take on Makai, with panels referencing the swastika and swastika as manji, with a deceptively fucky set of impassable orbs. This is much better than simply reconfiguring shooters and calling it a day. Stage 14 is, alas, disappointing. A simple pair of cone shooters amidst zigzags of panels. A mixed bag of cool and meh, but it's better than Makai 1. B. Makai 3, stages 16 to 19 though? Now we're talking. The striking background, a legend of Kage, locking you the fuck in, and stages laid out in all sorts of cool fucky ways. Stage 16 has spread out panels that get riskily low, 2 impassables and asymmetrical shooters that just about throw you off. Stage 17 has panels set out like a pair of kanji, with a big vertical divider and 2 shooters. The best way to clean up is to do everything on one side before letting your yin-yang orb bounce under the divider, but the shooters make this easier said than done. Stage 18 is a fucking cross, with a pair of shooters and 4 impassables in the centre. It's definitely a step down mechanically from 17, but it's a big memorable statement, a part of the huge fuck-off foreshadowing of Sariel. Stage 19 meanwhile is great for its sheer confidence. No shooters, a few panels, just 2 horizontal dividers are laid out to massively increase the risk of Remy bonking her head with her yin-yang orb. Given I don't really like HRTP, these stages are legitimate standouts. I'm gonna give it an A. Now for the Hell route. Hell 1, stages 6 to 9, still nice, is a much better expansion on the concepts introduced in the Hackaway Shrine. You start off in stage 6, much like Makai, having a panel set with a pair of shooters, but then stage 7 throws everything for an insane loop with a big horizontal divider, 2 shooters and a decently spread panel set. Stage 8 is 4 central shooters with an unusually low panel configuration. It's okay. Stage 9 continues the weird batshittery with a pair of dividers and a pair of warp orbs in the corner, which is just, it gives the Hell route the flavour of you're gonna hit yourself with your yin-yang orb and you're gonna feel like a fucking moron about it. All in all, there's a lot of confidence and mechanic mixture here, especially for the second section. A solid A. Hell 2, stages 11 to 14, not only has Blade of Banishment, a very fun song, but also some of the wackier stages. Stage 11 lulls you into a false sense of security, 4 shooters with alternating firing cycles, but then stage 12 comes in with the most irritating central impassable configuration ever. Your yin-yang orb can straight up get stuck without you firing at it. Then there's stage 13, aka the one with the full width horizontal divider, 2 shooters and 3 warp orbs. This means that if the yin-yang orb is where it should be, above the divider, you're good. Just need to shoot the orb and stay cool. If the warp orbs take it to your side of the divider, you enter oh shit oh fuck mode as you desperately try to avoid being killed by your own orb. Stage 14 is a pair of asterisks with warp orbs, impassables and shooters combined. All in all, Hell does a much better job of incorporating what you've learned from Hackaway Shrine. Definitely A rank, if only for the memorability. Hell 3, stages 16 to 19, is disappointing on multiple measures. First, the background is just fucking hideous. Maybe it looked better on the CRT monitors Zun had in mind when making them. Secondly, it reuses Eternal Shrine Maiden. Now I know it's a banger, but it doesn't suit the penultimate stretch of the game and it's just kind of upsetting given Zun gave Sariel 2 themes, not to mention he primarily got into game design to show off his music. Then there's the stages, which stage 16 is okay, it's got some strategically placed blockers and shooters, but it's unremarkable. E. Stage 17 is actually pretty funny. There's not many panels and they're nestled amidst a bunch of blockers, teasing you with the possibility of a perfect yin-yang orb yeet. Quite a clever one. Stage 18 is like Makai 17, with a big silly vertical divider, except instead of having panels on both sides, it's just blocky fuckery on one side, with the actual panels on the other. It's still fun, but Makai 17 does it better. Hell 19, the final one to talk about, is another one of Hell's signature we don't need a lot of shooters because dividers will make you kill yourself stages, and it's done frustratingly well. All in all, while a letdown compared to the rest of its route, Hell 3 is still good enough for B. Moving on to Story of Eastern Wonderland, the first true shooter of the series. And you know what, call me a nostalgic fuck-ass all you like, but I really respect the experimental nature of the PC 98 games. I'm not just blindly in favour of the early games because I played them first either. My first Touhou games were EOSD, PCB and IN, and it took one of my friends yeeting me a PC 98 emulator, pre-packaged with Touhou's 1 to 5, to make me play them. But I'm glad I did, and I'm glad Touhou is itself. You can't focus, you can't micrododge, there's precisely zero fucking warning when things appear near the bottom of the screen. It may be the most scuffed shooter of the series, but I love it regardless. Let's go through the stages, shall we? Stage 1 is honestly a bit of a sleeper hit. It's a shame that in-game your shots fuck up the music channels, because out of game its music is just great, but in-game the music's kinda mid. Music aside, what I love about Touhou Stage 1 is that it's an anti-piece not to the subsequent stages in the regular route, but the extra stage. And story-wise, this just makes sense given the extra stage is the result of Remy following Rika, baited by her poor showing in Stage 1, only to find her much better armed. Side blasters are the obvious shared facet between Stage 1 and Extra, but the Ghost Waves are also the exact same resource farm deal. In Stage 1 they're sitting ducks, and in Extra they'll push your shit in. There's so many Rika unique enemies, like the mid-boss tank, the orbs that always give you a power item and fire in a circle, the metal missiles. It really gives the impression that yes, you're in the vicinity of a particular sort of enemy, a technologist. Also, can I just point out how fucking bold Zun was to be like, hey, this is a shooter set in a fantasy world. How about I make the first stage about fighting a roboticist? It could only come out of Zun's drunken mind, but I'm glad it did. Low B, but only because of the music channel fuckery. Oh, and the ending shots are ranked whoop 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 out of whoop. Stage 2 starts off slow, contemplative, with this weird-ass warbling sound that's a fucking autistic stim for me, before getting thoroughly intense. Like most stages in Touhou, it stands out by having a bunch of iconic enemies and weird, unique waves. The purple bat waves will be a recurrent fixture of the game, returning in Stage 4, and the evil eye waves will return in upgraded form in the extra stage. Early on, they drift towards you in Quanto without shooting, something that gets a more deadly rendition in Extra, but later they'll move in a sort of lockstep motion unlike anything you'd see in a modern Touhou game, and it's something I wish would come back, to be honest. The mid-boss is also really interesting and has these unique homing canna bullets, but oh shit, it's already dead. Yeah, it's a real shame that the mid-boss with interesting as fuck bullets folds after a second of focused fire, because I'd like it a lot if it survived to do its thing. All in all, this level kills the vibe of a dangerous nighttime traversal full of monsters, especially given this is Zun's first shmup outing. And it would be an S if the mid-boss survived for more than 2 seconds. The ending shots are a solid whoop, whoop. Oh god, there's another fuck out of whoop. Stage 3, just like Stage 2, is brimming with atmosphere, starting gentle before building the pressure up, both in music and gameplay. One touch I really like is the weird off-screen explosion at the beginning of the stage, as though something is already weird and wrong with this place. It starts with a few waves of ghosts to get you some resources, but after that it very much bears its own flavour of enemy waves. Specifically, white circles that shoot and can be killed, red circles which are closer to moving unkillable obstacles, and these charging puffballs which are either your biggest resource blessing ever, or a jump scare depending on if you let them fall behind you. Each of these elements get introduced in their own waves before getting combined in various ways over the course of the level, and it forces you to get the hang of them quickly or be taken by surprise. And how can we forget the mid-bosses? A pair of magical machines that foreshadow the nature of the coming boss. 5 magical machines. Like Mira before them, they aren't afraid to get into some weird fucking positions, and if you're a dogshit player like me, can actually jump scare a bomb out of you. This stage establishes its vibe well and has a distinctive set of enemies compared to everywhere else. It gets A for sheer character, and the ending shots are whoop, whoop, whoop out of whoop. Stage 4. If Touhou's responsible for any Touhou tradition's origin, it's having a good Stage 4. Himorogi Burning Violet comes on and you know you aren't in slow contemplative town anymore. You're dealing with fast chaotic waves and boy is it done well. It's not quite as epic as some future Stage 4s, but there's a lot to love here. The resource wave ghost equivalents are these little red spinny guys with more erratic motion. The bats from Stage 2 return, now filling the air with bullets. These purple hexagram magic circles pop up on either side of the stage routinely, forcing a cyclical systematic approach to wave clearing that never leaves you on one side of the screen for long. If you're lucky, you'll find your swaying rhythm, if not the chaos just might overwhelm you, which is exactly the sort of difficulty I like in a stage 4. Then there's the two big furry angel mid-bosses. They just fling themselves into frame and start blasting, no fanfare, just here to fuck you up with simple yet unpredictable attacks. There's also those weird green thingamajigs that slowly swarm the screen with themselves and their bullets between the two mid-bosses, which is probably the closest Soyu normal comes to true micro-dodging on stages. Once again, there's a lot of personality to Soyu stages, and stage 4 just asserts itself. We're looking at the first S rank of the series. Ending shots are whoop, oh god I fucking died again out of whoop. Stage 5 meanwhile is just plain disappointing. Like the music kicks ass, and while resource gathering through the final stage is a series staple, this is just too much of a resource farm. Literally just a set of spinny red things floating around waiting to get shot, not even shooting back. There's nothing else, just free power ahead of me man, it's such a shame. This is the first D. As for the final shot volley, it's a woo 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 woo, did you see that shit, smooth as fuck baby, out of whoop. Soyu's extra, oh boy. This is an extra stage that gives veterans of it PTSD. It's so brutal that once you're able to consistently get through it, you know each wave in order and which ones to bomb on. It's less an intuitive Danmaku session, more a routine you get right or wrong, like trying to S-rank modern Sonic games, or beating the staff ghosts in Mario Kart DS. The waves go thus: Ghosts for resources, Shooty edition, Panel Blasts, almost guaranteed bomb, Tracker Shooter Evil Eyes 1, Side Shooters, Cone edition, that you don't need to bomb on if the stars align, Panel Blasts 2, more predictable, grey tanky stage 3 rammer circles with S power drops, worth bombing to get some out of them, Zigzag star bullet fuckery, grey tanky shooter circles, point dropping purple bats that give you 2 lives from sheer points, power dropping red spinners with cone shots, tanky green roamers which fill the screen with slow bullets, Tracker Shooter Evil Eyes 2, non-shooting power gifting red spinners, and finally, whoop whoop fuck the shit I'm bombing. Each wave save the point bats and the power spinners are pure unadulterated trauma machines. This level puts everything tough about Soyu into a blender and adds even more on top. It's not quite as fun as later extra stages, but earns my respect with its sheer brutality. I'll give it an A. Also, this stage invented having a leitmotif in the stage that's reincorporated into the boss. It did it 12 games before double dealing character. Just listen to this shit. Where are we? Oh yeah, right, Soyu's done, time for LLS. Alright, we're on to Lotus Land story now. Yeah, we're not exploring the ins and outs of how Yumemi Okazaki's stage full of generic moons and stars is somehow different to Chiyori's. We're skipping straight to a real Touhou game. If you've watched my shot ranking video, you already know my take on Lotus Land story. Routinely swaps with Mystic Square as my potential favourite PC98 game. The focus button is a wonderful addition, but the patterns are a little on the easy side, as though Zun hasn't quite stopped compensating for Soyu's controls. Anyway, let's get on to the stages, shall we? LLS Stage 1 is one of my favourite stages in the series, and part of that charm comes from its theme being different depending on if you're Reimu or Marisa. It can be debated which one is better, it's Reimu's, but what's extra fun is that despite the different tracks, the stage kicks off a great series-wide precedent: Mickey Mousing. What's Mickey Mousing? Why, it's when a game's obstacles arrive and move in sync with the music. Obviously you can desync that shit in the PC98 games and the OST by pausing, but I recommend not doing that. You'll enjoy yourself more that way. But hey, the music isn't the only thing of note here. Along with the standard resource farm ghosts, there's fairies and these drifting paired flame ghosts who fire enough to force you into a major choice you'll be making over the course of LLS. Kill the enemies on the other side quickly, or wait around for the just killed enemies drops. And of course, how could we forget the Flower Yokai mid-boss? I swear PC98 has the best non-humanoid mid-bosses in the damn series. I especially like how when it explodes, a pair of glowing eyes remain underground, so to indicate that while he killed the flowering head, the yokai remains, waiting to regrow. All in all, this mixes a standard stage 1 resource farm with interesting unique set pieces very well, enough that I'll give it an S. Ending bullets are whoop 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 out of whoop. Stage 2 is where LLS falls off a little. It's not the worst level ever, but LLS has a lot of amazing stages and this is not one of them. It still has a few standout gimmicks that act as decent anti-pieces, but they're absolutely prickish in execution. Specifically those razor disc things, appearing low and charging you at horrific angles, specifically designed to fuck Marissa. They're foreshadowing Kurumi's attacks as a full-on boss, specifically the fact she'll shoot the side of the screen and cause bullets to spawn at weird angles. Funnily enough, the Kurumi mid-boss herself doesn't really foreshadow much of a boss's style at all. After the mid-boss there's some fun and unusual gimmicks. I like to think PCB Stage 2 took strong inspiration from the way the blue razor discs and evil eyes appear, starting as intangible balls before appearing and attacking at once. There's still some more annoying charging enemies mixed in. All in all, we're looking at a better end than its start. Also, its music is incredibly unmemorable by PC98 standards. A mixed bag I'll put at B. End of stage bullets are whoop 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 out of whoop. Stage 3, fuck man, I want to like it, I really do, and its boss Ellie is amazing, but this ranking is quite deliberately not here to rank the bosses. The music is of course a remix of famous YouTube video Bad Apple, and that's great, but there's so much I just don't like about this level. Let's get some positives on the table to make the roasting somewhat palatable. I like that the mid-boss, this weird dark mirror thing, just asserts itself right after the somewhat overstaying ghost resource farm, spinning and filling the air with bullets zero fucks given. The black tanky orbs are fine in theory, being resistant, organised and suppressive in fire, but once that red background subsides it all goes to hell, because you can't see the black orbs on the black background. Yes, I'm happy to see the evil eyes again, especially with how damn threatening their stream charge waves are. Yes, there's unique formations and the downwards charged shit is threatening. When the music hits, you get a very effective sense of the chaos and aggression, but the chaos and aggression doesn't feel fair when you can't see the tankiest enemies charging you. The first third of the level is fine, the music's great, but the last 2/3 of the level is just a jumbled, glorified bomb sink. I'd call it a stage 3 appropriate level of difficulty if it wasn't for the bullshitty I can't see shit background. I can't give it a D in good conscience, but I'm sorry, it's getting a C. At least its bullet shooters are a solid oh my god, did you see that bombless finesse out of whoop? But never fret, LLS Stage 4 is, simply put, godly. It channels some of that Soyu melancholic atmosphere and just drenches the halls of Mugenkan with it. Alice Maestra is hands down my favourite PC98 song, and that's saying something because its competition is damn stiff. Gameplay wise, it starts with a simple assertion. Those tanky doll sentry things which shoot simple 3-bullet attacks and steadily fill the screen as they drift down with the background, you'll be managing these all level. And while Stage 2 felt directly geared towards making Marissa players suffer, these enemies make Marissa's concentrated damage pay off immensely. Then they introduce a final pair, which are the other type of sentry doll, ones which fill the stage with circular bullet patterns, then teleport back to the top of the screen after drifting down like usual. But you can't process the difference for long before evil eye waves come in, the dynamic foils to the consistent sentries. After that, the first Great Fairy mid-boss rushes in, showing its own flavour of screen filling and dynamism. After that, a bunch of black tanky orbs. Wouldn't you know, they actually feel fur when you aren't against a black fucking background. Then these back-spawning buzzsaw enemies, and BAM! The second mid-boss jump scares you even though the music has primed you. If you're working well, the music will have a little break just as you beat the second mid-boss, giving a few simple waves of evil eyes. Then comes the final sentry doll set piece. It fits so well with a beautiful atmospheric track, a steady build-up which feels fair enough to attempt bombless unlike the chaotic camouflaged last waves of Stage 3. It's slow, it's oppressive, it works wonderfully, and towards the end you'll be making the same collection decisions you made in Stage 1. This may be a little early to be throwing such terms around, and I'm definitely operating with the PC98's limitations in mind. But this shit, this is peak Stage 4. Oh my god, I am clutching this shit! Stage 5, well, it has a hell of an act to follow, and it's certainly doing a better job than Stage 3 or Stage 2. Its background is dreamy and unusual. The most iconic way it's used is with the blue-plaid rectangles where these doll sentries shoot from. When you defeat them, their heads blow up, but their bodies remain. There's no enemy quite like this in Touhou. There are black buzzsaw enemies with the light outlines, you know, what should happen with black enemies on black backgrounds. The evil eye formations are iconic and lead to fun patterns just from sheer movement and layout. Typically you're left with these straight lines to weave through, and with the building, music and iconic formations, I can't even be mad at the lack of a mid-boss. For the pacing, lacking a mid-boss works. A wonderfully executed A-tier Stage 5. The bullet circles at the end also fit the building music, getting a whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, okay, god, this lasts forever, out of whoop. LLS Stage 6 meanwhile dares to do something so you couldn't dream of. having a final stage which is generous with resources while being an actual stage. There's a sense of comfort and conclusion in the music, and while it starts with Evil Eyes functioning as a resource farm, it soon throws some tanky fairies your way. You won't kill them all in time, but it's best to take some out before the screen's flooded. There's a good balance of spread fillers to suppress and aim shooters to stop you hunkering down in one spot. Then we get the Evil Eye line waves, this time shooting at you rather than in circles. And for the finale, something Subterranean Animism and Hidden Star in Four Seasons looked at and said, "Hey cool, can I copy your homework too?" That is tanky red outline black buzzsaws which drift towards you shooting dense circle patterns. The first drops an S power item, the second drops a bomb, the third drops a 1-up and the fourth, a full power mode drop that nullifies the end of stage whoop shots. While it's not a peak stage 6, it's definitely one of the meatier and funner ones. S. The end of stage whoop failed to show up to the rankings due to being murdered by the full power drop unfortunately. Now for LLS Extra. Wouldn't you know, it starts as all the extra HUD classics start. A bunch of squishy enemies dropping resources and shooting straight at you with fast streamable bullets. After that, the extra stage basically recycles all of LLS's greatest hits, but with brutal difficulty. The Evil Eye line waves, the drifty paired ghost flames, the tanky black orbs, the end of stage bullet whoops happen between waves, and Yuka fucking Kazami returns in her invulnerable orb form. From the resource generous orb Yuka onwards, it only escalates. You have screen filling buzzsaws that you'll never kill in their entirety without bombs, stage 1 style paired drifters that are more intense than ever, and of course one last brutal whoop shooter set. In some ways this extra stage acts as the benchmark. The archetype future extra stages will evoke. A returning character mid-boss, incorporation of the main game's waves in new, difficult forms, and of course blistering difficulty. This gets an A, and the final LLS shooters are ranked whoop, 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 fuck this shit, I only have one life and bomb, whoop, it's still going, I died anyway, out of whoop. Here we are again at my sometimes favourite game in the series, with great interpretations for 3 major characters of PC98 in terms of shots, not you, and for the most part Mystic Square sticks by what makes the PC98 games good, unique enemy formations and waves, foreshadowing in gameplay and music alike, but also inherits one of LLS's greatest sins. You'll know it when you see it. At any rate, let's get to stage 1. MS Stage 1 is sort of like the inverse of LLS Stage 3. Sarah may be the most unremarkable of the PC98 bosses. I bet half of you'll forget she was even called Sarah. Despite this meh boss, the stage, you know the thing I'm ranking, is good, remarkably good. It starts with the old classic, Ghost Resource Farm Wave, then does its own take on the LLS paired flame ghosts, paired fairies. Admittedly the spawn points mean that with enough power you aren't exactly forced into the choices you are in LLS, but the principle remains. Then all hell breaks loose, we get these iconic little teleport swirls, and suddenly the screen's flooded by ghosts and fairies doing this dumb little spin animation, all to foreshadow a mid-boss that's frankly more memorable than the boss, the Wheel Demon. It's just a standard fairy demon enemy, surrounded by a wheel of energy, shooting lots of bullets and flying in increasingly wide and fast circles. Simple but iconic. After that, some more teleporty waves to Mickey Mouse us up to the climax of Dream Express, at which point the game just flings ghosts at you. It's not much in terms of difficulty, but feels fun, whimsical and adorable in a quintessentially PC98 way. After that, a few fairy waves and a whoop 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 out of whoop ending bullets. As for the level, it's not as good as LLS Stage 1, but it's still a solid A. MS Stage 2 meanwhile goes hard. Like, it's just Stage 2's relax. Strangely, I can pinpoint many Windows stages that copied this level's homework. The item dropping falling shards come back in EOSD Stage 2, the chaotic and intense vibe for an early stage is reprised in IN Stage 2, the charging octahedron missiles with bullet trails from FW Stage 4 are basically the charging enemies from here, on steroids. There's nothing, however, that's quite like this stage's mid-boss, along with a fucking music drop accompanying it. When that mournful FM organ drop comes, so does this seraph-looking ass. What I love about it is, once again, there's an implication of magic and technology as one, because when it's low on health, the magic mirror stops fluttering and starts fritzing out. It's so fucking good, man. The music, the frantic pace, the item shards, the missile charging enemies at tough but fair angles. It's not the most varied or complex level, but man, the presentation. Perhaps I'm a little biased, but this shit gets an A. Ending shots are whoop, whoop, whoop out of whoop. Stage 3 slows the pace down, at least at the beginning, in keeping with the gentle intro of its theme, which is very good, but has a name whose googling will get me an ankle tag or a knighthood depending on whether I know the royals or BBC higher-ups. At any rate, to reflect the slow pace, it begins with a few ghost waves, an odd choice given how resource generous Stage 2 already was, but hey, they actually shoot this time, making them a chill version of your standard extra mode intro. Soon the ante is upped, with fast cone wave fairies, tanky fairy sentries similar to LLS Stage 4, more fast fairies, this time shooting circles, capped off with the ghost wave again before BAM! The music briefly resets, then picks up the pace in a big way as the mid-boss attacks. It's a big fairy similar to LLS Stage 4's, but this time instead of dashing about, it teleports, having a cool roly-foldy animation that pleases my inner monkey. The attacks are simple but quick-paced, forcing a more intuitive playstyle. I love moments like this. In keeping with the series' Mickey Mousing, defeating her early leads to some spare exploitable waves. After that, it's like the level gets tuckered out. It's just another set of sentry fairies and it's over. Well, aside from the out of bullet set. The level itself comes close to S, but is not quite there. Still a very high yay. Unfortunately, we're about to face the millstone about Mystic Square's neck. That's right, I have beef with MS Stage 4, and for one fucking reason. You know the black orbs on black that let LLS Stage 3 down? Imagine that, but it's not for slow moving enemies, but entire bullet formations. Worse still, outlining them like the LLS buzzsaws doesn't fucking work either, because the background alternates between the middle and outline colour of the bullets. Yep, that's Mystic Square Stage 4. Like, I get what Zun was going for. You've got a level with lots of blue and red enemies, shooting blue and red bullets as foreshadowing for the really fun ice and fire bosses at the end. Cool concept, I like it a lot, but if you're gonna do that, perhaps use a background that doesn't obscure half the level's bullets? It's a shame too, because otherwise there's a lot to love. The towers of spinners with one middle or two outer spinners which stay and shoot, that wave's real clever for forcing a decision between safety and greed. Louise fucking returning out of nowhere after doing all the magical meth and suddenly being able to teleport? Yeah, I like that. The music introducing the end of Shinky destruction of Makai motif that tugs at my heartstrings? That's great! There's a lot to like here, and it's all ruined by the background and bullets. It saddens me to do this, but it's a D, and it's such a shame. Oh, and I guess the ending bullets are out of whoop. Thankfully, it's followed up by one of the best Stage 5s in the series. Mystic Square Stage 5 has so much I adore. Once past the black spacey section at the beginning, the background is unlike anything in PC98 or Windows, strangely gem-like. It's mysterious in an ethereal way that says, yep, we're in the inner sanctum of fucking Makai, alright? The music's melancholic yet weirdly inspirational. There's these iconic slow green stretchy bullets that flood the screen as a suppression tool fitting this point of the game. There's fast-paced waves of squishies that should be killed ASAP, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. A mixture of random thread, controlled and dense, fast but aimed and red cone waves, and the best part is, when the instruments strip back and the mid-boss descends into view, her attacks are combinations of the preceding waves. The whole first half of the level is a damned anti-piece. After the first half trains you with individual fairy wave types, red scatter, then slow green waves, then fast aimed blue trails, and slow red cones, the mid-boss and subsequent level mixes them the hell up, and it's so much fun. It's in essence a final exam for Mystic Square stages as a whole, along with foreshadowing Yumeko's own chaotic mixture of shot elements. I'm probably biased, but this motherfucker's going in S. And the bullet finale? Whoop, 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 first time baby, out of whoop. Stage 6, meanwhile, is an in-between of Touhou and LLS's final stages. It's not the brain-dead resource farm Touhou uses, but I wouldn't call it a full-on stage like LLS. It does, however, have a few squishy must-kill quick waves which represent the types of waves seen in Stage 5. Random spread, controlled and dense, fast and aimed, red cone waves. Overall, it's generous with a slight chance you'll fuck up. Still half a stage by gameplay standards. The music and atmosphere make up for it a little, and there's at least something going on, so I'll give it a low B. The final bullets are whoop whoop. Fucking hell, Matt, you didn't need to bomb you're better than that. Out of whoop. Time for the last extra stage in PC98. God fucking damn it, I will never not love this extra stage. I haven't even beaten EX Alice, but the stage is so goddamn good. Alice in Wonderland starts so mournful, which given the boss is a yokai whose realm has recently been obliterated and has just made a fairy tale realm in its place, yeah, that's quite appropriate. The usual lines of resource farms that shoot back and streamshot fairies start matters off, but from there, nothing about this extra stage is standard. For starters, the enemies are all card soldiers from Alice in Wonderland, complete with different suits. The little red on black plaid background, the marching animation, the fact they fill the screen with so much bullets and are anything but joke enemies. Then the fucking Jack of Hearts comes in as a mid-boss. It's so unapologetically weird, so non-standard for Touhou, and it works. The music dies down during the mid-boss, and that's because after your estimated time to defeat him comes to an end, the intensity only rises. Along with the waves, whole ranks of vertical zoning card soldiers march along the plaid background. Fairies arrive amidst this zoning and must be killed quick or they'll shoot you down damn fast. And the marching cards are tanky enough that they'll get to the bottom and potentially act as permanent fuckers over for Reimu's homing shots. The intensity doesn't let up until the final whoop shot set, and never feels cheap or bullshitty like Touhou Extra. It just feels good. It may be too early to call this, but I think this is the peak extra stage of Touhou. And now for the final parting PC98 bullet shooter sequence ranking. Sick, look at me go. I'm really doing this. God damn it, I needed to bomb anyway. Out of whoop. And we're on to the Windows era. I'll admit, the Windows games seem to have less fun with unique enemies and weird formation bullshit than PC98, but man, I have such a nostalgic bias towards the early Windows games, and Embodiment of Scarlet Devil is no exception. I prefer PCB and IN, but this is part of the trilogy that cemented me as a Touhou fan. One that actually plays the games, no less. EOSD is one of those games which, while simple, has a lot of standout moments, especially towards the end of the game. There's a reason why it's still iconic to the series more than 2 decades after its release. Fuck it, people still clamour to get it working on newer Windows systems. Here's a hint: when it complains about missing DLLs, find said DLLs online, they're almost always there. Anyway, onto the stages. Not gonna lie, EOSD Stage 1 is kind of a poor showing for the start of the Windows games. Don't get me wrong, I'm still nostalgic as fuck for it and the music's fantastic, but setting my nostalgia aside, the background is just a drab grey blob, way less interesting than the shit the PC98 games were doing. It's just a standard resource farm, furry waves, and a few furry shooting in loose circles. I know it's a little more interesting on harder difficulties, but ranking it for normal, this is a really boring stage in terms of gameplay and overall beats. Rumia comes in on Mickey Mouse Q and is okay, I guess, but there's much better Stage 1s out there. It's not even like it's an early game thing because LLS Stage 1 exists, you know? It's not got an offensively fucked background like MS Stage 4, but it's still not good enough for anything beyond C. EOSD Stage 2, meanwhile, is a slightly more varied take on MS Stage 2. Same falling resource shards, same waves of enemies in between. Instead of being like, oops, all charges, there's bullet flooding spinners and slow to fire high value target fairies mixed in, along with charging fairies and charging fly thingamajigs. Gameplay wise, the biggest difference is certainly the spinners, which prevent it from being an outright collection fest. While the atmosphere isn't as cool as MS Stage 2, the mischievous chaotic vibe definitely fits a stage which is unambiguously the realm of furries. Heck, the mid-boss is just straight up a great furry. I love the sound effect Diose has for her shot and teleport move. Very nice sound effect choices there, Zun. Still, it doesn't exactly have the atmosphere to prop up the relatively monotonous gameplay. As such, I don't quite like it as much as MS Stage 2, so it's a high B. Now if you stop the video here, you might consider me a heretic who hates EOSD, but that's because you haven't watched me rank the rest of the stages. EOSD Stage 3 is amazing, especially given Stage 3s often struggle to find an identity. They're not quite early game, generally lack difficulty spikes akin to Stage 4s, they're just kind of there, middle of the measuring stick, the comparison point for earlier and later stages. But EOSD Stage 3 fucks so hard that for once in the Touhou fandom, everyone latched onto its theme and said, that one, that's Mailing's theme, we haven't even heard of Shanghai Alice of Meiji 17. It doesn't exist. There's a simple rhythm to the stage, but it works. Spinner waves for resources and, against a risky or to collect hungry player, zoning fairies that scatter spread falling bullets. There's also fairies that shoot fast kunai aimed straight at you or downwards in a linear rank and file formation. Occasionally it'll mix things up with spread circles and cones of smaller aimed bullets, but the baseline is the same. Restrict movement with zoning, then use aimed attacks to put pressure on the player. Not to mention each fairy type is introduced individually to the player before the stage mixes them up. It's not revolutionary, but what's done here is done very well. Despite having beaten EOSD on hard, normal Stage 3 still makes me panic bomb every now and then. And when Mailing yeets herself into frame to what I'll call the China drop, that is, the music becomes aggressively Chinese, it works so well. I love the little glittery noises and explosion sound effects whenever she moves, really gives the impression that she's physically leaping everywhere rather than flying. Also, Gorgeous Sweet Flower is a beautiful spell card, manageable but lovely to behold. It filters out those who panic at the mere sight of dense bullets while being easy if you keep your cool. After the mid-boss wave type combos get more aggressive, one final test of the whole stage's rhythm. Making it to the end without bombing depends on how well you've internalised the level's lessons. This isn't even a nostalgia thing, I legitimately think this is the perfect middle stage for a Touhou game. Simple in premise and executed well. That's right, this is getting peak Stage 3. EOSD Stage 4 is also pretty fucking good, but as a Stage 4 has a lot of competition. Touhou Stage 4s are just good, man, I don't know what to tell you. In a way, this stage is like if MS Stage 4 didn't have the experience ruining blue-white background. There's the same slow ominous vibe and the same aggressive foreshadowing that you're going up against an elemental mage. MS Stage 4 emphasises a fire and ice theme, EOSD Stage 4 emphasises the arcane bookishness of the coming mage. It's also similar in gameplay. The aggressive aim shot spinner lines feel like a direct callback to MS Stage 4, and it's done in a much more engaging way here. There's other unique enemies to love, however. The fairies which drift to leave behind an untargetable arcane circle and dip while the circle itself fills the stage with kunai. The screen flooding spiral shooters which clear the screen when killed and thus become a core part of a survival strategy. The tanky bucks which drop a lot of resources, all introduced individually with the spinners as a sort of consistent go-between. It's a generous yet richly varied level. Kawakama is okay. For the most part she's an upgraded, more dynamic variant on the Arcane Circle fairies, and fuck me, she feels like a direct call out of MS Stage 4 by showing how contrast can make blue bullets show up on a blue background. Post Kawakama the stage only gets better, combining old elements, adding new twists on them like the Arcane Circle fairies spawning zoning lasers instead, the clearing death fairies becoming strategic resources that you need to time the deaths of amidst spinners and bucks. It's all very cool. Doesn't quite measure up to LLS Stage 4, but I was strongly debating between them. An extremely high S. Okay, Stage 5. Let's get one thing out of the way early. Made in the Pocket Watch of Blood, this weird time signature-ass piano-dominated bop. If this was just about the music, we'd be looking at peak Stage 5 already. Alas, I'm one of the 2 YouTubers to actually talk about the Touhou games, so I have to talk about gameplay. And said gameplay? It's still really friggin' good. It's not as standout as some other Stage 5s, but it pulls off the introduce and combine formula, just in a less forgiving form. There's some waves where new fairy types are introduced on their own, but for the most part you've got to adapt on the fly if you haven't played this stage before. The chaotic vibes of the music fit perfectly with the gameplay. Lightly aimed stage flooders with a mix of fast and slow bullets, drifting scatterers, random cone scatterers, tanky slow scatterers. A lot of EOSD Extra's waves have parallels here. Oh, and mid-boss Sakia? I love this fucking weird ass maid. She's the best. She's my waifu. She pads her chest. We love Sakia in this house. And Misdirection? It might be my favourite mid-boss spell card in the series. It establishes in no uncertain terms what you're up against here. Someone that throws knives and teleports to fuck with expectations. Hint, it's called Misdirection because you need to go the opposite way to the way Sakia leads you. After Sakia we get a moment that's reminiscent of MS Stage 5. A mixed match of various fairy types filling the screen with a variety of shot types, leaving you to intuitively work with the screen flood that follows. Finish off with a set of big fairies which will wreck a panicking player but prove extremely easy for a calm player, and you wind up with an extremely fun Stage 5, an unambiguous S. EOSD Stage 5. Stage 5? Stage 6? The fuck is wrong with past me? It was like LLS Stage 5. Yeah, I meant Stage 6 here too. And that, it's allowed to be an actual stage, a resource farm with a Stage 5 boss reappearing as a mid-boss maybe. It's a simple stage, but there's something here. The enemies can legitimately fuck you over if you're not careful. The random spinners are basically Stage 2 level as a threat on their own, but when tanky fast circle fairies come in amidst the slow bullet screen flood, you may end up panic bombing regardless. And of course, mid-boss Sakia and Eternal Meek are really fun. Her non-spell is a more frantic version of her previous mid-boss non-spell, and Eternal Meek is a pure test of intuition and reaction speed. A simple stage as expected as Stage 6, but there's some meat here. A solid A. Finally, EOSD Extra. Wouldn't you know, it starts with resource waves with ruthless aimed shots, and fucking hell, with this wave along with the later cone streamer waves, by the time you're good enough to reach Flander, you'll be a better streamer than Ninja Blevin's Fortnite. Did I say that right? I'm a young millennial, I don't keep up with what the kids like. At any rate, you'd best get good at streaming because you're gonna be doing a lot of it. Following the first stream wave is a more complex take on Stage 5's fast bullet for reflexes, slow bullet for screen flooding tank fairies, this time with curved waves, not aimed shots. The first few fairies are manageable, but then it throws tanky ones into the mix. The longer they stay alive, the more flooded the screen gets, and given they make you work to stay under them, it's a really juicy challenge. It really incentivizes risk taking, or perhaps forces a bomb out of you early. The last pre-mid boss fairy is difficult at first, but very much can be figured out. Honestly, it feels like it should have been accompanied by a few low rank enemies to add to the chaos. Mid-boss Patchley is fucking iconic. Having her bring out cosmic elements to show her desperation is very neat. Silent Selene I can semi-consistently capture, Royal Flare I suck at, just never got good at finding the safe spot, and Philosopher's Stone is a coin toss capture for me. If you can defeat her without dying, she'll explode into a fuck ton of points and a 1-up, and it feels earned. After that, it's brutal streaming. First from fast furry waves to then sentry bucks, half bullet spreading and half aiming right at you, then it's fast furries again. You'd best kill those last furries because one of them has a 1-up. Finally, the emphasis on streaming and killing things fast foreshadows Flander's non-spells and lore abilities, so it's fun for gameplay and story enthusiasts alike. A very well executed extra stage that has to go in S. Here we are, boys, and the 33% of you who are girls. It's a big favourite of mine and the fandom's. Perfect Cherry Blossom. We got focused hitbox visibility, a subtle unobtrusive gimmick, amazing music, amazing atmosphere, and yes, amazing stages. There are no major misses this game. The stages are all hits and all remain beloved in my memory. You may think I'm being overly sentimental about a bunch of pixels and waves in a game about badly drawn yokai girls, but fuck you, I'm a sentimental guy. On to the stages. Stage 1 is, simply put, good. I absolutely love the gentle atmosphere and simple background given form by fuzzy, CRT friendly trees. And those snowflakes that move when the player comes close are such a neat little effect that the average player isn't going to notice or care about, but Zun put it in there because he cares. And all this is just presentation. For a stage 1 we're already leagues ahead of EOSD. Gameplay wise we start with a standard sitting duck resource farms before the game quickly gets down to business. There's fairies which, if you let survive, will shoot at you, oftentimes protected by distracting fuzzballs. And much like LLS stage 1, there's sometimes real choices between collection and killing the fairies in time. It's simple, but it's there. However, pre-mid-boss Chirano, the stage is admittedly not a huge step above EOSD. Mid-boss Chirano isn't that much more interesting than mid-boss Rumia, at least on normal, but just like Rumia, she gains a spell card on hard and above. Anyway, it's after the mid-boss that PCB Stage 1 really differentiates itself from its older sister, unleashing an onslaught of distracting fuzzballs amidst the occasional delayed shot fairy, along with the large magic circle fairies, the HVTs of the level. What's really great about this stage is it gives a decent gauge of skill without overstepping its role as a stage 1. You can tell the health of a given run by how close you are to full power mode by the end of the level. If you're in the right rhythm, you'll pop every magic circle fairy while collecting as much power as possible, but the balance has to be found and you need to play aggressively, unlike EOSD Stage 1 where it feels like it's down to RNG in terms of how much power you have. A very good introduction to the premise and how HVT magic circle fairies work in this game. A solid A. PCB Stage 2 is... oh fuck it, I won't bury the lead. This is my favourite Stage 2 and it's not even close. There are other good Stage 2s, but this is just... perfection. For one, the music. Fantastic Legend of Touhou is so good that even my pal Nin, famous participant of my quiz and resident Prism River hater, enjoys it. She also enjoys the Zun albums like Retrospective 53 Minutes. It's so unapologetically East Asian, the little synth basses complement the strings beautifully, and that's just the music. There's a really cool gimmick in this stage that makes it stand out amidst a sea of standard ass stage 2s. That is, these little translucent drifty orbs that quietly duplicate before paying off and having enemies appear in them, instantly shooting. As I mentioned in LLS stage 2 section, this feels 100% inspired by that stage's intangible light spawns, but in my opinion it's done much better in PCB. It's subtle enough that an inattentive player might not even realise what's happening, and Chen even utilises this gimmick as part of her mid-boss, using them as bullet spawn points for her non-spell and spell. It's funny, we often see Chen as nothing but Ran Shikigami, but it's clear Chen is very much a summon magic user herself. Oh, best not mention summoning shit too loud, Nintendo might sue me. Anyway, the fairy spawns themselves are all fairly standard. Aim shots, spread shots, falling shots, cone shots, interspersed between fuzzball resource farms just in case you haven't hit full power yet. It's not as blatant a resource grab as MSOEOST Stage 2, the music's beautiful, the gimmick stands out and works seamlessly with the mid-boss, and said mid-boss is a perfect introduction to our favourite spinny unpredictable cat girl. Post mid-boss, the music keeps the intense East Asian climax going as fairies appear from orbs one after another after another. When the music finally winds down, there's one last assault, but you're mostly in the clear, ready to face Chen. You'll know this shit's going in peak Stage 2. On to stage 3, and man, PCB just keeps on winning. There's a reason it's one of my favourites, yes sirree. First things first, it starts by lulling you into a false sense of security with another sitting duck resource farm. But oh shit, Alice is here already! Her first appearance is kinda like a handshake. Hi, it's me, Alice Margatroyd. You may remember me from such games as Mystic Square. My dolls are now orbit me, shoot in lots of different colours, maybe check my sick non-spells out. Okay, thanks for the feedback, I'll return with that in mind. From there it's non-stop marching dolls, and unlike the first wave, they aren't sitting ducks. If you don't kill them fast, they'll shoot aimed cones, vertical zone shots and spread shots, all with a screen-encompassing rank and file formation. This is domination by overwhelming numbers. Given how Alice operates with her dolls, it's extremely fitting. This place feels like Alice's domain, from the music to the enemy waves. Anyway, Alice returns for her second mid-boss appearance, building on the simple rotating the doll attacks from before. On hard, she even has a laser doll spell that would go on to inspire her shitty IN shot. On normal, however, it's just an improvement on the previous, utilising 6 colours of the iconic PCB triangle shots. From there, it's more doll marching and HVT magic circle dolls, all with the tension of approaching a mage who fully intends to overwhelm you with every doll she has. This level isn't just a stage 3, it's a goddamn character study showing how Alice has changed since her PC98 days. From this stage alone, one can tell she's territorial, extremely skilled with dolls, curious, persistent, and willing to take multiple L's to gather information. All in all, a very nice stage, S rank for sure. And did you think the winning would stop at PCB Stage 4? The winning never stops. That's right, we have another certified banger on our hands. The slow build-up of Capital City of Flowers in the Sky reflects the slow build-up of the stage perfectly. The recurrent theme here is that all those fucking spinners who have largely been resource farms and blockers for more high priority enemies now shoot back when you kill them, and in a variety of ways. It starts with a curved take on aimed stream attacks, then they go away for a while in favour of tankier fairies, some of which are zoned as so punishing that they're slightly clear when defeated, similar to the ones in EOSD Stage 4. These guys will start to appear quickly enough that you'll have to choose between collecting their rich point bounty and ensuring the rest are too dead to keep zoning you. The Death Splode spinners return, now with wide stream cones, followed by slow aim spread combos, until eventually, as per Zun's trademark game design, the two types of spinner combine. And don't think you can spare them to avoid their death explosions either. If you do, they'll wreck you with fast, dangerous fire. Then comes one of my favourite parts. The black winter sky clears, the spring sun rises, along with the representative of spring herself, Lily White. I love this little goober, and just like EOSD Diose, she teleports all over the goddamn place between attacks before settling on the centre for a more intense attack. Now that I think about it, while the patterns are very different, it's a remarkably similar attack rhythm. Teleport, 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 big central attack. I guess Lily really is a fairy after all. Anyway, provided you don't fuck up like I did while recording this footage, a good player will defeat Lily just as the music takes a dark, frenetic turn. Spinners are everywhere, the streams and spreads dangerously fast, but with enough slow bullets to be a lingering threat. The zoning fairies return, admittedly disappointing in terms of their distribution, then some magic circle fairies show up with partially randomised stream bullet clusters. There's so many resources, so much atmosphere, so much build up, and when you face off against the final big fairy at the end, your skin will have goosebumps. The crescendo builds and builds and builds and peace. The music loops, we're safe, ready to face the most dangerous fucking stage 4 boss you've faced yet. Am I being dramatic? Maybe. Does this level still deserve an S? Abso-fucking-lutely. I almost put this in peak over LLS stage 4, but I mean, PCB already got a peak stage 2, it just didn't seem fair. So, after those histrionics, PCB stage 5 feels quaint by comparison, but it's still a damn good stage 5. Just like PCB stage 2, LLS stage 2, and MS stage 1, there's telegraphing mechanisms for how the enemies appear. These little ghostly wisps. This kinda implies the fairies here are all actually ghosts. Wait, is this what happens when we kill fairies? I thought they were reincarnated. Unwelcome questions aside, this level gives a few free ways to recognise the game being played here. Take note of where the ghost fairies will spawn with the warning you have, because when they appear they will start blasting, and won't stop till you kill them. This stage is all about being quick on the draw. If you aren't, your screen will be overrun even on normal, and I respect it for that. The atmosphere is amazing and all, but where it really shines is as a fair level with zero fucking around. In a way, much like stage 3, it reflects the personality of its boss, Yomu, someone who similarly gives a lot of warning as to how her attacks will play out, even slowing time to give you a brief super dodging window before launching some of the most intense attacks in the series. Her mid-boss is similarly reflective of her full boss, with her non-spell being a near exact reflection of her boss's first one. Fasting of the Young Gaki is also a sort of pure, basic form of her slow-mo slash spells, minus the bullet cutting or bullet attracting gimmick seen in later spells. After that, just 2 waves of ghost fairies with the same telegraphs, this time with lots of bullets. They're very manageable, please ignore my headache having past self for being a bitch who bombed through this last wave. This is a solid stage 5, we're looking at a low S rank. PCB stage 6 is more or less a short resource farm, especially if you're lucky enough to have a cherry shield auto-collecting for you and acting as insurance. Despite this, it's no joke. It builds on the ghost telegraph gimmick of stage 3. Stage 5, what the actual fuck was I saying? And gives you 1 free wave for just letting ghost fairies drown the screen with bullets. Without a cherry shield, you're almost certainly going to have to take an L and accept you won't be collecting the majority of the enemy drops. But with a shield, it's a generous resource injection ahead of Yugo. Then there's mid-boss Yomu, who hilariously has easier non-spells than her previous mid-boss, as her spread bullets are faster, therefore they're not as much of a lingering zone threat. Her final spell card reflects an inversion of her usual telegraphed slow-mo attacks, indicating that Yomu shed some of her usual predictable honour in favour of stopping you where you stand. There's a lot of characterisation through attacks in Touhou, especially in the Windows era. Gets slept on a fair bit due to the whole fandom doesn't play the games thing. Anyway, this one gets a B. PCB Extra is, it's good, very fun. It even brings back the old PCB PC98, not PCB. End of level shooters, albeit stripped of the satisfying whoop noise. It also brings together the main game's gimmicks as expected. Telegraphed ghost fairies that come out swinging with aggressive streaming like stage 5, spinners with aggressive streaming like stage 4, HVT magic circle fairies you'll regret sparing like stage 3. It's very much a final exam kind of stage, but the difficulty just isn't there. However, this can be accounted for by the fact that in a way, this isn't the true extra stage, it's closer to the training run for the Phantasm stage. Extra mid-boss Chen is a decent difficulty spike, and her red Oni blue Oni attack is straight up harder than Phantasm mid-boss Ran's Zenki and Goki. No seriously, Zenki and Goki is just horizontal streaming, amidst zoning bullet clouds. Red Oni blue Oni makes this shit vertical, and that just fucks with me. After the mid-boss, the extra stage does what most PCB stages do. Takes the previously introduced elements and combines them in interesting ways. HVT and ghost shooters, ghost scatter spammers, it's all there to keep you on your toes. Then, as one last troll when you think you're safe, it pulls a PC98 end of level shooter sequence. Very fun stage, but as I said, it feels too easy, but in an appropriate way. For context, my scrub ass, a normal player for every Touhou game but EOSD, PCB and IN, can consistently beat PCB Extra without retries. I'm nowhere near skilled enough to do this with other extras. Even those I've beaten I can't beat consistently, all save this one. Still, it gets an A. And the only Phantasm stage in the series is, as one might imagine, the better variant of Extra. Charming Domination returns with its whodunit variant, swapping Zun pits for nasty synths. And everything's a little faster, a little denser, a little more dangerous. Fuck it, there was even an entire wave variant in Extra that I basically memory hold, between the first Ghost Waves and the HVT Spiral Shooters, which glows up from the forgettable stream resource farm to the earliest point I tend to die and retry on. And you will be retrying over and over again, especially if you're a greedy bastard like me, who wants as efficient a resource collecting run as possible. The any power auto collect line and the prospect of a perfectly timed full power clear or pre-ran cherry shield just calls to you, makes you try crazy shit. And mid-boss ran is, Zenki and Goki is a downgrade from Red Oni Blue Oni, but aside from that she's an upgraded, deadlier version of Chen, even down to the spinning. The post mid-boss run is exactly what you'd expect. extra but faster, denser and with more wave overlap. The end of level shooter sequence even has an additional 3 waves to throw you off and almost guarantee you'll waste another bomb before the end. This is a cheeky bit of foreshadowing given me, and I'm sure many other players, assumed Boundary of Life and Death, Yukari's equivalent to Descent of Izuna Gongen, would be her last attack, only for Yukari to go psych and yeet you into Yukari's Arcanum. If my only disappointment with PCB Extra was its difficulty and it still got an A, where do you think PCB Phantasm is going? That's right boys, we're putting this in S. Now anyone who's watched my shot videos knows your boy likes Imperishable Night. In terms of Touhou games where the gimmick fully dictates the game design, this is one of the best executions. Fuck you lolk, I'm not a bad gamer, you're just mean. Anyway, I love the familiar switching system. If you're human, you gain time by shooting things and can pop familiars. If you're a yokai, you gain time by grazing and can shoot through familiars, allowing you to target bosses while still having plenty of bullets to farm graze off. It's a balanced, interesting gimmick that affects how the stages are designed more than you'd think. This is the third entry in the nostalgic Windows games I played as a stupid idiot baby trilogy, so I'm very excited to get into this. Also, stage 4 will be ranked as one stage because the only difference is the boss, but stages 6A and 6B are different in stage, so they get different spots, okay? Right, stage 1. It's really atmospheric and Zun is finally getting a hang of how to make lovely backgrounds for Windows games. There's these little pollen particles adding to the vibe like the PCB snowflakes, and fun fact, Illusionary Night, Ghostly Eyes, that shit was introduced in the album Ghostly Field Club before IN. That's right, it's a Zun album song that was repurposed. Typically that shit only happens in the photography games. I just think that's neat. Anyway, this is a gentle introduction to the core mechanic of the game. After your state-mandated sitting duck resource farm fairies, that can actually shoot if you're dumb enough to let them, you get introduced to your first familiar summoning enemy. Now chances are you'll pop it right away by accident, maybe you'll do it with the second one too, so Zun then throws 2 at once at you, forcing you to observe at least 1 in action. The bullets they throw out are very much dodgeable, but you may have to focus to weave through. That means provided you aren't perma-focusing like a scrub, you'll see how familiars change form depending on if you're human or yokai. It's an anti-piece in the most traditional sense, guiding a player through mechanics with a natural coaxing. After this, the momentum builds, you get some more chaotic resource farms, you'll go up to auto-collect your bounty and wriggle kick! I should be mad about Wriggle Kick given I'm an auto-collect happy, greedy, want-seller-ass Touhou player, but I don't know, there's something funny about the prospect of Wriggle fucking Nightbug being the archetypal punisher of those who fly too close to the sun on stage fucking 1. After Wriggle it's more of the same. I understand it's getting the gameplay rhythm into your head before you face your first familiar summoning boss, but I don't know, feels like more shakeups could have happened post-mid-boss. I'll give it a high B. Stage 2 is kinda like MS Stage 2 and that is disproportionately frantic for the point of the game it's at. It starts off with unusually dynamic fuzzball resource farms which should get any player that's trying up to full power, but their odd trajectory and spacing means they could survive for a while, long enough for the latter waves to start shooting at you. It's just enough to remind you that you shouldn't get too comfortable when auto-collecting, if for some reason Wriggle hasn't kicked that lesson into your head. After that we get introduced to what I'll call aggro-familiar summoners. Unlike typical familiar summoners which show up, summon everything they have, typically orbiting around themselves, aggro-summoners will have multiple instances of summoning and typically yeet familiars at you. If they're coming at the wrong angle and you aren't a yokai or reimu, you can actually get fucking blindsided by them. It also makes unfocused attacks near useless as when you're below them, the familiars are meat shields. Thus, if stage 1 hasn't taught you already, you'll learn here. Focus, become a yokai and you can shoot through those pesky familiars. Advanced players will use this to pop familiars for time, but these aggro summoners teach the shoot through familiars concept to beginners, simply hoping to make it through the stage at all. Honestly, IN is so fucking on point in how it teaches players without holding their hands. As is the Zun way, eventually the typical summoners combine with the aggro summoners, and you get hordes of summoners so fragile you can actually get familiar pops as an unfocused human. For new players I can see it being a little overwhelming, but it's a playground for the mechanics once you get confident enough to experiment. Mid-boss Mystia shows up and fittingly uses aggro familiars in her non-spell, but I'll admit it's disappointing that Hooting in the Night doesn't have any creative familiar usage. Despite this, it's a good stage that foreshadows boss Mystia soundly. Solid A. Moving on to stage 3, and right off the bat this is a very good stage, but the music, nostalgic Blood of the Old Orient Old World, it haunts me to this day, because there was this fucking 50-minute long Touhou pop-funk medley, it sampled all sorts of shit, and for the Old World segment it sampled Baloo's scat section from Be Like You, you know, Zapandore, Nepadipadapazapangong, Nebadubadepdu Zabadubazay, Zabadubazay, Zabon, Zabapapare. I've been searching for this remix for so goddamn long, but I just can't find it! Ugh! My inability to fulfill my nostalgia aside, this is a very good stage 3. Honestly considered putting it at peak, so you already know this shit's ranking high. It takes the familiar mechanics taught in stages 1 and 2, makes the onslaught relentless, and makes you regularly choose between reducing the firepower of enemies by staying unfocused, or high rolling for that time and bullet pop from killing the summoner while focused. I can't say any enemy waves stand out, save those tanky fairies that summon the curving onslaught of familiars. For the most part, the waves bleed into each other in a player-respecting way. It feels like the training wheels are off here, and if you're dumb, you can easily let bullets flood the screen. But for me, the standout is definitely mid-boss Kane. I'm legitimately disappointed that main boss Kane didn't have a similar gimmick. I just fucking lied again. Boss Kane's non-spell familiars change fire with focus, adding blue slow bullets with the red if you're a yokai. So yeah, ignore past me here. Boss Kane is just as good as her stage. What gimmick? Well, in both her non-spells and first pyramid, her familiars don't just become tangible or intangible depending on human yokai status. They change what they're shooting, being faster and less dense for humans and slower but more dense for yokai. This is really fucking cool and fits Kane's dualistic werbeast thing. But then Boss Kane does nothing like this in her spells. Thankfully, we're not ranking the bosses, we're ranking the stages, and this stage gets an S. On to stage 4 powerful, uncanny, extreme, electrical and voltage. Some variants may be incorrect. I do declare that this is one of the most rhythmic iron stages there are regarding familiar management. The difference between treating this level as a glorified resource farm or the most overwhelming bullshit ever entirely rests on whether you enter a flow state and how much you take advantage of the familiar bullet clear pops. At first it's just streams and standard familiar shield summoners, but where this familiar pop flow really becomes relevant is those double orbit 6 familiar fairies. They will absolutely flood the screen with bullets, leaving you to be cleaned up by the interwave stream fairies. Unless you suppress the urge to take the familiars out individually and instead focus the summoners, pop them fast and clear what bullets they've had a chance to spawn. With the right flow and rhythm, you'll be taking them out and treating them as point item farms. With a fucked rhythm, you'll be wasting bombs for no damn reason. Eventually you'll pop 2 that drop your bombs. As I said, this level is very much a resource farm. And then get what I call the pointless psych out wave, where a bunch of fairies shoot vaguely aimed spread shots which clear for the whiteout and the moon and Zunpit crescendo. It's all very cool. I wouldn't say it's as epic as PCB Stage 4 or as atmospheric as LLS Stage 4, nor does it have any standout weirdness like EOSD Stage 4. It's good, but man, Stage 4 competition is stiff. We're still looking at an A. Stage 5 starts off asserting itself. The haunting piano, the familiar refrains here, of the classical Japanese folk song Kagome Kagome, the instant familiar surrounded super enemy, it all tells you, yep, you've entered somewhere you shouldn't and now we're gonna fuck you up. It continues in the same vein. I describe Iron Stage 5 as oppressively liberal in how it uses familiar summoners. While it initially has a short break from big familiar summoners, instead spawning a bunch of rabbit yokai. Wait, they have furry wings. Are these furries cosplaying as earth rabbits? Fucking a what? Anyway, it starts with a few standard stream and screen flood cycles, then the screen flood vanishes. After that, the grind don't stop. What grind? Insanely bullet spamming familiar summoners, so this time with 3 orbit layers and crisscrossing bullets all over the show. But just like the boss you'll be facing, Reisen Udongen Inaba, if you keep calm and focus on the summoner, shooting through the irrelevant and at the core, the familiars, so widely distributed, will pop and practically give a full screen clear each time. In other words, it's only as dangerous as you make it. The danger is illusory, mere intimidation. It fits Reisen so well, guys. Anyway, the Zunpit subside, the classical Kagome Kagame motif returns, and in comes Toei, the wee shit who actually owns the house. She uses familiars in a weird combo of orbit and aggro, using them as a deterrent from unfocused readjustment. Unless, of course, you've already shot yourself a path. Her patterns are a typical crisscross expected of the stage you're at, and she's probably the biggest challenge of the whole level once you learn how to handle the regular familiar summoners. From there, the streams get more intense, more familiar spammers appear, the music swells, and it's over. Honestly, for all its atmosphere and thematic sicassery, it is one of the easier stage 5s. However, it's still more than good enough for an A rank. Now let's talk about stage 6A. It's the bad ending stage, the one for losers who continued, are ones who you're seeing for the first time, or god forbid, picked the option because they want to fight Eirin or make a fucking Touhou stage video. At any rate, I actually think it's harder than stage 6B, but it's still a stage 6. Simple and short, but instead of the usual enemy spam with generous resources, there's only a few enemies, but they're remarkably powerful. Deadass, the first fairy is so quick to flood the screen that I still bomb on it 9 times out of 10. The signature enemy that is repeated until Aerin, however, is a fairy with horizontally laid familiars which shoot bullets whose curved trajectory can become impossible to dodge if you've let it live for too long and are a pussy-ass low boy. Kill them quick or thin out the familiars, however, and your way out is easy and obvious. After that we have mid-boss Aerin, and once again stage 6A is harder than 6B here. Her non-spells are the same, a spread with familiars that alternate between line zoning and aimed slow streams, but Earth in a Pot is straight up harder than Galaxy in a Pot, because there's no expansion of the space you're expected to dodge within. But yeah, both pot spells are really clever uses of familiars. Oh, and how could I forget? Voyage 1969. That shit is my jam, legitimately beautiful. And while I prefer Voyage 1970 only works as a goosebump granter because 1969 primes you with its motif. Base stage 6, high A. Stage 6B starts with 2 scary fairies, both individually weaker than the one in 6A. They can be easily dealt with by focusing, definitely a downgrade from 6A. The following recurrent horizontal familiar formation fairies are a similar deal. They spawn in 3s now, but their familiars shoot simple vertical zoner shots, while the fairies themselves shoot 3-way stream cones. Take at least one of them out quickly and each wave is very much manageable. As mentioned before, Aerin is in a chiller mood here, having the same non-spells and swapping Earth in a Pot for Galaxy in a Pot, which makes the familiars expand outwards as they shoot, giving you more room to dodge. Despite being a little odd in terms of difficulty, I still place this as a solid A. And here we are with the extra stage. Just like I in stage 3, I was half tempted to put this one at peak. I love everything about this stage, man. The mournful music, the premise, the mid-boss, but let's go through it piece by piece. The first wave is the typical stream shooters, but actually appearing from somewhere other than the top of the screen. Making them fast fuzzballs works the same as it did in PCB, and leaving lines of slower bullets makes them a credible zoning threat beyond their initial attack. After that we get more zoning with these aggro familiar shooters, but admittedly these feel more like familiar pop timing tests and resource farms. Memorable but far from challenging, given the stationary bullets typically pop with their familiars. Then we get stage 6B style familiars around us. Pop them quick or they'll flood the screen. Not to mention the next wave of streaming fuzzballs appear right in the middle of things if you take your time. I love merciless wave timing like this, it's very much a test of your abilities. The fuzzballs switch from streaming to scatter, we get some more weird stationary bullet zoners, and then we get a similar Zunpit crescendo and whiteout to stage 4. Admittedly it's not as impressive the second time around. So far you might be thinking, Matt, this shit doesn't come close to peak, seems kinda mid honestly, but XKNA turns that bad boy around, and not just because she can eat time. First off, great payoff for her dualistic nature. Secondly, her 3 spell cards are just fucking cool. Ancient History is a difficult take on an old classic. Flood the screen with spread bullets, then shoot a merciless fast stream. There's a 50-50 chance this one claims a bomb from me. Returning Bridge Ichijo is one I generally capture, but it's so fucking cool. Inward bullet summoning from the edge is rare in Touhou, but when it happens I love it. Next History of Phantasm is basically Ancient History again, but with a different spread configuration and a larger, harder to dodge stream attack. Pretty much always bomb on this one. But wait, there's more! Spread fuzzballs you'll have to deal with quickly. The most brutal familiar crisscrossers in the land, provided you don't prioritise them. Then these insane squishy fairy waves. First it's standard streaming, then blue vertical lockdown attackers that protect the next wave's purple spreaders, giving them time to flood the screen. Then, after you're locked down by the purples, you have to dodge another set of extremely fast stream shots. After that, well, theoretically it's a hard fairy and an epic final boss of the extra stage sort of deal. Drop to 1-up, all that jazz, but if you're Reimu and Yukari you can literally just safe spot in the lower left corner. I don't think the other shots have that luxury, so still very cool, very challenging. Despite some of the enemies being kinda mid despite the memorability, this is still an S rank extra stage. Stepping over PoFV because fuck you, Muanzuka and the Sunflower Fields are not materially different. Now we're on to Mountain of Faith. Kind of a weird game for me even now in terms of mechanics, and its stages are definitely affected by the gimmicks and not always in a fun way. I respect the gimmick in theory. Hypothetically, you have to keep up a consistent momentum of enemy popping and item collection to keep your faith up, rather than simply popping enemies and auto-collecting in quiet moments using the new Any Power Auto-Collect feature. There's also the bombs, which cost power but are so damn huge and damaging that, combined with the incredibly generous item drops, often leads to the stage design being completely redundant, because it can just get bombed through. I think MOF is like a fine wine when you're actively going for as many captures and bombless stage runs as possible. For a straight 1cc, it takes actively really fucking up not to get through with plenty of lives to spare. After all, the hardest parts of the game usually involve enemies that drop at least half a bomb's worth apart, so they can usually be bombed through despite being, theoretically, very fun and interesting. Anyway, a rolling stone gathers no moss and we're already... fuck me. Is this 15,000 words long already? Let's get on with it, eh? Stage 1 is, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, the worst stage 1 in the series. Now remember, there's no rank below D in this tier list. I don't think there's any outright dysfunctional stages in Touhou, the same way there are dysfunctional shots. But there's a big glaring issue with this stage, and unlike MS Stage 4, it's not visual. It's the fact the game teaches you its mechanics in an extremely unfun way. It's not punishing or difficult, there's no sense of challenge here, it's just a quiet, gleeful fuck you. And it starts with this fuck you after the very first wave. The problem is that in a game which is all about keeping your max point item score high with consistent momentum, there are several super quiet moments, most notable at the very beginning and end, which force you to lose momentum. Like sure, you can technically wait until the very last moment to kill this Faith Fairy on the right, and wait until the Faith Star is 1 pixel away from falling off the screen, but unless you know to do exactly that, those 5,000 Faith points you get in the first wave, they'll be gone. It's just an unfun fuck you. And it's like this for half the waves, leaving this deliberately lingering pause that exists just to put you into a fail state to demonstrate how said fail state works. The thing is, later stages demonstrate this in a much better way. Like if I auto-collect greedily at the pause between the first major wave of stage 2 and the Sway Fuzzball summon set piece, I'll lose faith, but I'll also be like, yeah, that was my bad, I auto-collected when I shouldn't have. This is just unfun forced failure. It doesn't help that, at least on normal, Shizuha Aki is also a memory hole of a first stage mid-boss. All in all, a poor attempt at tutorialization. Not a fan, D tier. Stage 2 meanwhile, this is the real shit baby. You know, it's come to my attention that I like a lot of stage 2s. I think it's a combination of being fairly chill in difficulty yet not outright soporific like the worst offerings of stage 1. At any rate, this stage is full of yes. For one, Path of the Apotropaic God, Dark Road, doesn't just do the usual Mickey Mousing shit, it outright sets the pace of the stage. While there's a Faith Gobbling startup, the need to dodge the fuzzball stream attacks lead to you much more naturally pacing your shootdowns, so unlike stage 1, it takes a full-on fuck-up to lose significant amounts of faith. From there, the momentum is ever present. Fairies show up steadily, shooting if left too long, there's a short baiting pause which you can fall for right up until the best part of the stage. Hina will sway back and forth behind a weird blue aura accompanying a lot of her attacks, spawning fuzzballs to the beat of the music with this cool whoop sound effect. And the best way to keep up shootdowns and collections at a steady pace? Swaying in a complimentary manner to Hina. That's some Ran Fox charming shit, I love it. Just as you thought it couldn't get better, the music returns to the initial leitmotif, Moth Zumpit's prominent as Hina makes herself tangible and launches an attack. Bad Fortune introduces everything you need to know about Hina. She spins, she summons these blue fog trails that spawn bullets, and her patterns involve spirals and crisscrossing. Legitimately wonderful character introduction through gameplay. After some fuzzball streaming with 0 wait time after defeating Hina, the pace and music chills out, the next wave being a few large fairies with unique, partway pausing colour changing bullets that I like a lot. It's another instance of potential faith loss that actually feels fair. If it happens, it's because you're not respecting the big fairy's tankiness. Finally, we get a disappointing large fairy that just sort of adds a bunch of straight lines while a swarm of fairies keep your faith gauge up. Despite the weirdly disappointing finale, this is an S-rank stage for the way Hina is introduced alone. MF Stage 3 meanwhile is like LLS Stage 3. I wanna like it, and the Gintoku of the Gods Love is so good Memories of Phantasm made it their intro, but it shares the same issue as Stage 1. Not nearly to the same degree, and it can be forgiven because there's actually interesting shit to do, not to mention the Notori mid-boss is really fun, but there's too many pointless fuck you pauses. Fuck it, it starts with one, albeit not as egregiously as the start of Stage 1. Like, it's at least conceivable that someone who isn't completely bending over backwards to avoid faith loss would be able to keep the faith meter up, only for the end of the wave to have an unavoidable faith hemorrhage anyway. At least from there until Notori, we've got a steady stream, nice mixture of spread shots, overwhelming big fairies that you have to kill fast, stream cones and collection weaving. There's plenty of places where underestimating the big fairies or even the squishy waves can lead to a flooded screen, which is at least something noteworthy and skill oppressive. Skill expressive, I was looking for the word expressive, as opposed to just fuck you, you lose all your faith now. Also, Notori's introduction is hilarious. She gets spotted, runs and hides behind a useless wave of resource farm fairies, then appears in active camo, which is clearly giving her outline away. It's a great bit and establishes what she's all about. She's a techie yokai who has yet to iron out her technology's kinks. Optical camouflage is actually a challenging spell card for the point in the game, so kudos. The momentum keeps up with the next few fairy and fuzzball waves, and any faith losses feel fair, only for another fuck you pause between the fuzzballs and two big fairies to show up, and another right after them. It's good in many ways, but inherits the original sin of MOF, that is, executing an interesting game gimmick in an unfun way. It's unfortunate for a level with so many redeeming features, but this has to get a C. MOF Stage 4 is, in my opinion, a mixed bag. It's the first stage where a decent player should ever need to bomb, with the exception of maybe some of Notori's spells, but it's also remarkably resource rich. As bombs and power are the same thing now, each power item is a 20th of a bomb, and power drops are fucking everywhere, so you can see the problem. It doesn't help that it starts with another extremely finicky to cheese faith bleed pause, but then we get into the meat and potatoes of this level's gimmick. Waterfall concealing enemies that pop out, kinda like a less telegraphed version of PCB stages 2 and 5. The streaming enemies are brutal and can easily force a stupid player, like myself, into a corner, and the big purple-blue mini bullet scatterers are no joke, especially when they appear in pairs. But oh wait, said scatterers, they drop half a bomb each, so when they arrive in pairs, something that by all means should be challenging and terrifying, you're better served just getting as much damage put down without bombs as possible than bomb, safe in the knowledge that you're getting a free refund. There's also these really memorable fairy waves I call Momiji waves, because they do the same thing as Momiji's attacks, restricting the player to one side of the screen while laying a decent amount of pressure even in the safe zone, then alternating and forcing them to switch sides or perish. There's also the pre-Momiji waterfall charges, which are great because you need to kill them before they get below you. Not to mention Momiji just comes in, zero fucks given about how the charges may have displaced you, ready to fuck your shit up. I pretty much always have to bomb against Momiji, which would be a fun challenge if, she didn't just drop 1.3 bombs and is followed up by an extremely generous Momiji wave, refunding anything you might have used. Once again, probably really fun for zero bomb runners, but an average 1cc can render all the love and care put into Momiji moot by pressing X. After that, there's a difficult scatter which is actually not generous enough to self-refund, a mean streaming sesh, a self-refunding trio of purple-blue scatterers to bomb through, a fuck you pause, and some very memorable bullet-spreading crows which, while being very cool foreshadowing for who the fourth boss will be, is also the final farewell to any concept of a price being paid for bombs. Like in this recording, I start with 4 power, bomb 7 times over the course of the level, twice on Momiji, lose 0 lives in the process, and end the stage with 4.3 power, more than I started with. This just feels wrong. So yeah, lots of interesting waves in theory, but in practice you don't need to fully engage with any of them. Low B. Unfortunately, MOF Stage 5 is much the same despite some godlike music and a fantastic mid-boss in Sane. Case in point, the opening is a bunch of slightly beefed up stream resource farm fuzzballs, followed by a low speed aimed loot fairies which, while a cool nod to Suwako Maria's iron rings, is enough to completely repower my 2 power from bombing like a bitch on Aya ass, safely bringing me back up to 3.3 power and allowing me to bomb into the next wave. And the next wave is pretty cool. There are these fairies I call mini Kanekos, as they do Kaneko's thing of having big wide angle red trails while shooting blue spike curves low. They're genuinely threatening and force left-right motion if you're low on resources, but the Suwako ring fairies return, followed by a whole bunch of free resources, so you're looking at yet another free bomb. After some Aimer fairies and another bunch of mini Kanekos and Suwako ringers to give another free bomb, we reach Sane. I cannot stress to you just how fun and challenging this level is if you suddenly lose the ability to press X and render it all moot. Genuinely shame that MOF is a game that's best played and you ignore the greatest tool in your arsenal. Sane is a genuinely wonderful mid-boss at least, and does something she'll repeat for her main boss, make a big starting statement with her non-spell stars, which fold out into a genuinely difficult spread, followed by a bunch of macro-dodgeable spike curves. It depicts Sane as someone with a flair for the dramatic, but gets bored or tired partway through. Hey, maybe that's why she doesn't show up as the obligatory stage 6 mid-boss that was the 5th boss, eh? Grey Thaumaturgy is a logical extension of this. After that, more mini Kanekos and Suwako ringers, some straight line flinger which is basically free resources, and a somewhat interesting final wave. Fuzzballs zone the cardinal directions they're each akin to playable Sane's snakes, while fairies shoot streamable shots at you. But there's so many fairies, so many resources that once again you can just bomb for free! Or you don't and you get some nice swag, I suppose. Please ignore that I died twice on this level in my recorded run and still ended up net neutral and live somehow. That wasn't the game being challenging, that was me forgetting to bomb or straight up being bad at the game. While beautiful and thematically rich with a great mid-boss, this stage is very disappointing from a gameplay perspective. Let down by the overpowered bomb system and thus not coming close to the challenge level expected of a normal stage 5. Hi B. And wouldn't you know, stage 6 has the exact same problem, but this time with no mid-boss to redeem it, unless you count that big tanky fairy at the end that exists solely to give you 2 bombs. I'm going to call her John Diose, the great fairy who doesn't get paid enough. While this stage makes an admirable effort to beat anything, offering a decent amount of wave variance, everything drops so much shit that I can literally bomb just for the autocollect. I don't even need to do it because I'm in peril, it's just more efficient to press X. Stream fuzzball chains, spread fuzzball chains, big furries with spike spreads, all moot, all slain by the power of pressing X. Even John Diose, entering amidst the attacks of the previous fuzzball wave, exists only to be bombed at, as she drops 2.2 power on defeat. She doesn't just pay for herself, bombing through her is straight up profitable. So yeah, theoretically good, let down by having no mid-boss and the same problems as the rest of MOF. A sad C. Strangely enough, MOF Extra manages to do away with much of the typical MOF shortcomings simply by being more challenging and dynamic in general. Yes, there's still points where you can make a bomb pay for itself, but you can't straight up skip half the stage by pressing X in this one. You will have to, at some point, get good enough to face some of the stage like a man. It also has no fuck you pauses. There's some where it's almost long enough to count, but almost every time you bleed faith in Extra, it feels like a you problem. Another game saying, fuck you lose faith at this particular point in the level. It starts with streamy fuzzballs, works up to spread fuzzballs from the bottom, and when the fairies come, oh boy, you're in for a rough time. Fast streams, big fairies that lock you down then shoot big bullets within this limited zone, more fast stream and spread fuzzballs, what I call these orbit fairies which you have to spin around in order to survive the rim shots, then bam, in comes mid-boss Kaneko, packing some seriously cool attacks. First off, her non-spell has a fancy background, which is such a show-off cammy thing to do. Beautiful spring-like Suiga is an actually narrow, threatening version of the dogshit end of stage 5 fairies attack, reasonable enough to reliably capture, but still a real threat. Ancient Fate linked by Cedars has a lot of Kaneko hallmarks, a bunch of bullets hovering at the top 2, in no uncertain terms, or a farm, while a bunch of unpredictable quasi-homing green shots to the actual work. Anomi Watari God Crosses is a Danmarku representation of her forming a pillar and unmaking it, a combination of zoning with the player having to employ both macro streaming strategy and micro dodging to capture it. This particular capture feels earned when you get it. From there we get great fairy trios doing the whole spread and stream routine, fast cone stream squishy fairies, and a build up to the grand finale. Slow, tanky mini-bullet cone streams designed to drive a player into a corner. The easier rendition only drops point items too, so you can't pull the usual self-paying bomb trick. A shame that the denser, harder version of it literally ends with 3 free bombs in the form of the yellow fairies at the top rank. Oh well, it wouldn't be a mount of faith if there wasn't at least one stupidly generous bomb through wave. Overall, this is a game with better bosses than stages, and that's fine. Despite this, MOF's Extra stage shines amidst its game, and it gets a low A. Now I done said it once and I'll say it again. Subterranean Animism does the faith gathering and bomb cast from power thing better than Mountain of Faith. It does the former better by making the faith gains less dramatic per collectible. But instead of losing faith from quiet parts, you lose faith by dying, an objective failure on the player's part, as opposed to daring to exist in stage 3. Instead of there being an action gauge that drains, there's a graze rate gauge which affects how the max point value is multiplied, and total graze count determines what this multiplier maxes out at. As for bomb casting from power, the bombs in this game are understated, less likely to completely skip a wave while refunding itself. Dear God, you actually stand a chance at being permanently depowered if you don't get good. Imagine that. With these fundamentals already putting Subterranean Animism at an advantage, you'll better believe that we have a much more consistently good game on our hands here, and the stages reflect that. Stage 1 is, as foreshadowed, really fucking good. Given most stage 1s are mechanic introductions and resource farming with cool atmosphere if you're lucky, it's amazing just how much there is to do in SA Stage 1. For one, you actually stand a chance at fucking up in a significant, yet non-run ruining way. What do I mean? Well, unlike the usual bland resource farm first wave, SA starts with 1 power's worth worth of resources spread between 20 furries, along with a big faith-dropping furry in the middle. If you're slow to collect or neglect an obvious exploit by sitting on one side to spawn kill half of the wave, you won't have enough firepower to kill the big furry, losing out on faith, points and a little power. It's the first sign that quick collection is crucial in this game. After that we get some actual hapless resource fairies, an atmospheric pause that assures you we aren't doing that moth faith bleeding bullshit anymore, then it's off to the races. The breakable rocks are a more interesting take on the MS Stage 2 or EOSD Stage 2 renditions, dropping hella resources before boom, a big fairy cuts you off with an easily dodged but bullet rich attack. You might even get blocked from auto collection despite all the goodies the rocks have dropped. It's here a smart player will remember SA's core mechanics and be like, shit, I can just graze to get this stuff. And if you don't learn this from the first big furry, don't worry, the rocks and super graze furries are the iconic pairing for this stage. After that, in comes Kisame, who doesn't really fit in with the rest of the gameplay, but does foreshadow Sobani's tendency to have its bosses move all over the place. Yamame doesn't, but Parsi, Satori, sometimes, Cat Rin, Boss Rin, and Oku all have some level of erratic motion, so Kisame can stay. After this, resource farms, rocks and bullet helix furries work in concert, the sheer deluge of collectibles making Graze auto collection near mandatory for a greedy player. It may seem repetitive, but I see it more as a patient approach to teaching a player without shoving them into the dirt and laughing about their shitty faith score like MOF. If you fail to pick up mechanics, you'll simply be behind in power, not reaching the magical 3.35 by Yamame. This, combined with a playful take on the menu theme, and we're looking at a stage 1 that manages to introduce low stakes failure, core mechanics, and even a sprinkling a challenge should you let the rocks or fairies build up. Stage 1s tend not to be remarkable for anything beyond the atmosphere, but this one has genuine meat on its bones. It'd be unfair not to put it at peak stage 1. And hey, stage 2 is no slouch in the being good department. It starts with resource fairies to catch you up to full power if you didn't get a certified 3.35 at Yamame stage 1 run. However, if you're extremely behind or just not using your range, these fairies will use their briefly extended lifespan to spread shot or aim shot in concert. Despite there no longer being dire consequences for quiet moments, Subterranean Animism knows how to keep the pace up and does it more organically than MOF. These fairies are the first enemy to punish your mercy, but not the last. The next wave are blue yin-yang wheels that shoot bullets that fan out into a spread. If you let them keep doing it, you'll have a hard time shooting the rest. The next waves are purple wheels that expand the concept. The stage's theme may as well be, shoot your enemies down while you can, or you'll be too dead to shoot anything. This applies to mid-boss Parsi too. Green-eyed monster simultaneously forces you to move while zoning you from anywhere you've been before, all while pushing you to find a way to shoot Parsi by hook or by crook. It's an extremely memorable spell, and while some shot types turn it into a joke, it's very much appreciated. I'll admit though, post-Parsi the luster wears off, becoming some standard fast reactions for the faith bonus wave and some standard streaming. It's fine, but after the genuinely clever early waves, it's like Zun cooked for a while and got bored. Still, this is a very high A. Stage 3 starts with some dense, aggressive streaming from fading yin-yang wheels, the signature enemy of this stage. They show up alongside mid-boss Yugi and the post-mid-boss sequence, mostly purple and shooting laser spirals or blue and shooting aimed bullet trails. They work in tandem to constantly apply pressure. Despite the chill music, this stage doesn't have a dull moment. Heck, the one resource farm wave still has decently dangerous cone shots to watch for. The laser wheels may be dangerous, but they're also your key to auto-collecting anything enemies drop amidst the dodging and zoning. Grazing is a core mechanic of this game after all, and this stage tests the player's appetite for it. And unlike later stages, the grazing here is a result of actively taking risks instead of a side effect to survival, which I find neat. And of course there's mid-boss Yugi, who fucking asserts herself. She brings yin-yang wheels in for her non-spells, lasering it up with blue and red in slightly different configurations. Then she shows off her other style of non-spell, yeeting chains of bullets in an odd entangled sort of way. I don't know what Zun did to give them that precise effect, but it's got real Oni vibes. Unnatural Phenomenon is also very fun, having a quality of life thing that Zun seems to go on and off with. Specifically, when stationary bullets spawn near the player, they won't spawn on top of them. It's still an intimidating crisscross spell that usually claims the first bomb of my normal runs. After that, all bets are off and Yugi just sticks around, providing basic spread lockdown shots while the blue and purple yin-yang wheels from before throw out their usual. It's a standard Zun play of introduce, combine, then combine some more, done really well. It also lovingly characterises Yugi in the process. In addition, it provides a perfect opportunity to graze collect, or waste a bomb if you're a scrub like me. So yeah, I like this one a lot. A wonderful test of skill and almost the ideal stage 3 to me. S. Moving on to stage 4 and... oh, heartfelt fancy just isn't the same without that. This is another case of Subterranean Animism being the gem of the Maria Shrine conspiracy era. It's just plain lovable, along with being difficult as one can expect from a stage 4. First off, it pulls a PCB stage 3. Yin Yang Wheel's resource farm shows up, and then you're yeeted into an early mid-boss. And you'd best collect quick because Orin ain't waiting for anyone. This cat's got places to be, she's off to file her taxes and shit. She establishes herself as a spirit summoner super early, flooding the screen with stream and spread shooting spirits before fucking off. Best part is, you can't just time her out and hope the spirits pop when she leaves. Nah, they linger past the mid-boss if you're lazy. Then come the iconic Offida fan fairies. In typical Antipiece fashion, it starts with simple blue Offida fans, shot slow before fanning out and speeding up. They're extremely grazable, but you can't get too comfy or the stream fairies will shoot big blue balls at you, foreshadowing Satori's big blue ball. What am I saying? The subsequent laser grids are honestly super easy to dodge and function closer to guaranteed auto-collects, provided you're the slightest bit brave. If you're lucky, you'll have enough grey signal to auto-collect the coming power farm because God knows you're only getting half of them. Why? Because Orin is back, baby, and she's on her nyan shit. This time she's foreshadowing another aspect of her boss form. Do you prioritise the cat or her summoned goons? Because if you leave Rin to detonate her spirits after her big red spread grow up, you'll likely have to bomb through the resultant clustered bullets. If you don't, there's a real chance Orin will time you out and you'll miss out on her life fragment. And hey, I love actual dilemmas in my Touhou. The stage winds down with upgraded Offida fan fairies, which put you in a permanent state of auto-collecting grey signal. While getting into a rhythm will help you, the blue ball stream fairies keep you on your toes and make it a difficult but fair take on the lockdown and stream routine. From there, more glorified resource farm lazy yin yangs, flashy but uninteresting gameplay wise, then some genuinely difficult purple Offida fan fairies, capped off by the ultimate green Offida fan spammer, which has killed me on the literal last frame before hitting Satori's dialogue more than once thanks to the slow bullets left behind. I won't call this primo 10 out of 10 stage 4 given the competition, but it's definitely good. High A. Here we are at stage 5 and, once again, let's get it out of the way. Lullaby of a Deserted Hell is peak. If we were ranking purely by music, this shit hits the top by default. There's lots of good stage 5 tracks. Last Judgment, Made in the Pocket Watch of Blood, Ancient Temple, Kagome Kagame, Japanese Wilderness. Look, maybe every stage 5 theme is good, but this one's my favourite. That's the point I'm making. What I really like is it's unafraid to start with a long, haunting wind section as waves of exploding spirits come in. They're not major threats provided you're not stupid enough to dash around like an idiot, but they're solid foreshadowing for how Rin works, if you haven't already figured her out from stage 4's mid-bosses. Then the music properly gets going. What's great is that everything in this stage, the enemies, the attacks, the spawn patterns, they all have this swaying quality which fits with the 3/4 time signature of the music. The first wheel waves do a ch-ch-shing rhythm for the spread blue and slow stream reds while circling hypnotically, and despite the gentleness, get too relaxed and you'll get wrecked. If there's one complaint I do have, it's that, much like all of Mountain of Faith, this stage has plenty of places where bombs straight up pay for themselves. Case in point, the second major wave, a big central screen flood, a yin-yang wheel with deceptively fast spreads and a train of spirits dropping bullets and resources alike on death. Bombers Reimu Ikari, Reimu Suika, Reimu Aya, or Marissa Patchily if you're feeling ballsy, and you'll gain enough power to refund your bomb. However, it feels much less ridiculously generous than MOF. Fuck it, I didn't even get a full bombed refund in the clip I recorded, just 0.85. The same applies to the other self-paying wave. There's aggressive trails of cone shooter yin-yang wheels, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah. In comes mid-boss Orin for a third time, and this time she doesn't have a dentist's appointment, so she has time to get you some tea and biscuits. Wait, those aren't tea and biscuits? Her first non-spell is a slow blue right-left that makes it genuinely hard to land reliable damage onto her, despite dodging being theoretically easy provided I'm not a fucking moron. Then a wide stationary spawning tight spread with slow acceleration. After that, it's Cat's Walk, a card that I just never get right, but it's really cool and memorable. A failure to capture is totally a skill issue on my part. If you aren't full power for it, you'll feel the burn and deserve it. After that, the bonus faith waves are actually dangerous, before the aforementioned cone stream shooters that pay for themselves come in. And hey, if you don't need to bomb, they also increase your graze so much that they prove insanely resource generous. A couple yin-yang spirit trains later and we're back at square one, popping spirits that you're best off staying slow and steady with. You see, it's like poetry, it rhymes. Fuck it, this shit's getting an S. Coming off such a goated stage 5, you might think stage 6 would be a letdown, but nah, Subterranean Animism stages go hard as fuck. Parsi, Yugi, Satori, Rei, Utsuho and Koichi go hard as fuck, the music goes hard as fuck, Subterranean Animism goes hard as fuck, and I'm hard as fuck whenever I play it, which is why my gameplay recordings suck ass. There's no blood in me brain, see? Anyway, this stage starts with generous resource drops from these new crow enemies doing simple stream shit, making you think it may be a simpler stage 6, but oh no. The next wave are kunai dropping super zoners that will fuck you up if you let them survive long enough to move while shooting their crazy bullshit. And given how well they lock you in, the chances of there being at least one survivor is remarkably high. Then there's a bunch of merciless drifty stream spirits that float in inconvenient ways. What I find fun is that most shots have a way to fuck with them. Reimu Yukari has the screen slip, Reimu Aya can stream reset with her super speed, Marissa and Alice can spread shoot on focus which makes micro streaming more viable, Marissa and Patchely's shot variety opens up options in all sorts of ways, and I guess Reimu, Suika and Marissa and Notori can eat ass. At any rate, after that, in comes Urin to be a mid-boss again, this time as a humanoid. That's one persistent pussycat. She throws out Yokai, Blazing Wheel, which has one of the simplest dodging strategies ever. Move left and right in time with the waves. But believe me when I say this will be the tensest left and right of your life. And unlike most stage 6s, we aren't done with this fucking mid-boss, no siree. Urin gives you 2 power for the road and you'd best hold on to him for as long as the next wave of blue kunai and blue scattercrows let you. To finish things off is something that must be a callback to LLS stage 6. 2 Spirit Flame enemies which put out a border of particle and waves worths of bullets and drop 1 power each. You can bomb through them if you're already at full power, but if not, they're one last challenge that ensures you're in the best state possible ahead of Urku. I wouldn't call this as a lovely essay, LLS stage 6, but it's still a really good final stage. Definitely a high A. Now the extra stage, oh isn't SA's extra stage just fucking fantastic. It starts with a direct callback to stage 1, 2 waves of fairies from either side's lower half with 1 power in all. If you know what's good for you, you'll spawn kill one side and collect their power quick, because if you dilly-dally you'll miss an opportunity. In stage 1 the opportunity was killing a big fairy so you're on pace power-wise, but here it's having enough power to remotely stand a chance against steadily advancing circle shooter fairies. It starts with 1 in the centre dropping quarter power, then 2 show up, both slightly off centre. All good, I'm playing a focused high damage shot. Okay, those next 2 are just too far apart to shoot and collect all together. Oh god, now they're even further. This is a perfect escalation of difficulty and 10 Desires Extra will copy this stage's homework in that regard. While you're barely keeping on top of those drifters, a new fairy comes in with chaotic blue kunai streaming without waiting for the previous circle shots to clear. To be fair, once the shock wears off, it's the perfect graze auto-collect opportunity, provided you aren't a pussy-ass bitch who panic bombs like me. From there, a rush of fairies which do this slow stop redirect thing seemingly as a callback to MOF stage 2 of all things. Then a deadlier version of the Hyperzone or kunai crows, this time with a guaranteed fatal consequence for failing to kill given fairies in time. But at least grazing means that collection isn't a worry. All of this is happening to the strains of the wonderfully intense last remote, which feels like a hectic take on Japanese wilderness in style, which makes sense given we're visiting the Maria Shrine. The drum thumps, Zun's MIDI guitar kicks in comes Sane, the extra mid-boss with the dubious honour of not being a boss from the main game. Her spells are all brutal yet fair. 9-syllable Stabs has a clear safe spot for its laser grid, the very bottom of the centre beneath Sane. The true challenge comes from weaving through her bullet spirals and getting in position in time for the next wave of lasers. Very capturable if you stay calm. Miracle Fruit is essentially a macro version of the typical crisscross spell, trading concentrated micro dodging for hectic, unpredictable macro dodging. Because of the size of the bullet strands, if you end up out of position, all you can do is watch as your doom approaches. Or bomb, that's always an option. Bumper Crop Rice Showers, kinda like a more chaotic version of the Day the Sea Split, being about stream resetting while working within a limited space. This time the lockdown doesn't cleanly stay at the sides, it scatters all over. I've come close to capturing this one several times, but never full on managed it. It's a tough cookie. By the end of that attack there's this music sting, building and building, and typically you'll defeat Sane right as the music ceases building up to break into the best mournful Zun pits I've ever fucking heard, along with a variant of the slow stop fast scatterers that wait for no woe man. Then there's these big bullet streamers, easy to pop until they start spacing out, their main difficulty coming from collection given their big bullets aren't good for the graze meter. It's still reasonable unless you passed me and completely shit the bed, holy fuck. Then it's back to slow march circle spitters, but this time you have power and options. At which point you're done, Koishi's here. And despite my recording being a poor fucking demonstration, this is the perfect balance of challenging and fair. The difficulty builds in such a deliberate, well thought out way, it's such a gush worthy stage. High S for this, high S all the way. Undefined Fantastic Object, or as I butchered in my shots video, Unidentified Fantastic Object, Unidentified Fantastic Object.
Unidentified Fantastic Object.
is a deceptively difficult game, at least in terms of raw patterns, especially considering the UFOs you're expected to manage mid-stage. It's also remarkably generous, however, almost double dealing character level. While I think Wabauc does the token collecting thing better than UFO, I will say that the summoned UFOs provide an interesting trade-off between focused and spread shots. Specifically, focused shots have the option of deliberately not shooting UFOs to give them a chance to hit their bonus threshold, while spread shots make punishing stages more manageable in terms of raw survival and collecting UFO tokens, but have a harder time letting the summoned UFOs survive long enough to hit their bonus thresholds. But anyway, the stages of UFO are a highlight in terms of difficulty, as this is where the game's main gimmick lives. UFO tokens fuck off during the bosses after all. It's a constant balancing act between survival and resource farming, and if you underestimate these stages, you'll find yourself in shit creek without a paddle. UFO Stage 1 is kinda like MOF Stage 1 in that the Stage 1-ness doesn't mesh with the game's central mechanic. There's several points where the level is simply too quiet to properly feed the big UFOs, but it's nowhere near as egregious as MOF in that regard. After all, you can control when a UFO is summoned and how much you shoot it, making missing out on bonuses feel more like a punishment for impatience or a drawback for certain shots, as opposed to MOF's fuck you lose faith here sections. I like how little time is spent fucking around with the initial resource farm before the two big UFO ferries fill the screen with scatter shots. This game expects the player to have the basics of staying calm under dense Danmaku fire down at this point. While I wouldn't say it has the highest skill ceiling in the series, this quickly establishes a high skill floor. The third UFO ferry appears to give you your first big UFO summon. Typically a resource hungry player like myself will go for red, especially given that the only unchanging UFO token dropped is, red. Play it right and you'll get your first pair of life fragments. Get it wrong like I did in this footage and you'll get one. The fact that you can fuck up and lower your resource access this early is, in my opinion, a good thing. It's an early test, an early opportunity to learn. More spreads, more resource farm waves, and if you want a second pre-mid boss UFO, you'll have to go blue or rainbow as there's an unchanging blue UFO token in the mix. These unchanging UFOs low-key dictate the pace of resource collection, and you're typically faced with a choice between rolling with a colour determined for you or converting it into a rainbow UFO. The former is a resource cash-in, the latter is investment in a wider future resource variety. In this case, by going rainbow, I enter Nazrin mid-boss with 2 red tokens primed for a life UFO summon. The Nazrin mid-boss is interesting. She starts with a non-spell not seen anywhere else, then defaults to her usual vertical bouncers, and I'm pretty sure she has a spell card on Hardened Lunatic. Remind me to check. After that, the stage gets tuckered out. It's just resource farms, thin patterns, a green set token to complete the trinity of rainbow or single colour choices, then it's over. While the stage introduces UFO management and shot trade-offs well, starting with fairly punchy enemies, it definitely gets bored of itself by the end. Also, the music is kinda meh, to be honest. It's not offensively bad, but it is a low B. Stage 2 is much better, building on the UFO management trade-offs introduced in Stage 1 to remarkable effect for its point in the game. And while I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to its music like Stages 4 and 5, this is a fitting, subtly spoopy tune that has a jumpy feel to match our favourite surprise-loving Caracasa. It also genuinely stands a chance at killing a careless player even on normal, which given the balancing of UFO feels on point. The most iconic enemies in this stage are yin-yang wheels, which drop a lot of resources, basically gift-wrapped UFO feeding tools, but also explode into slow bullet clusters that can flood the screen if poorly managed. Even in my still successful run, I fucked myself over by pulling the usual hold Z and kill everything ASAP routine, meaning I couldn't get the last red UFO token I needed quickly enough because of all the bullets in my way. By the time I did get it, there were no resources for it to absorb because I'd already killed everything, leading to me barely getting 2 life fragments before mid-boss Kogasa. And speaking of her, ain't she a doll? She immediately puts the kibosh on any player stupid enough to be high rolling at the top of the screen, with her iconic out fast, slow down non-spells. And while Umbrella Halo is just an upgrade of her non-spell, it does at least recolor its bullets in a rainbow pattern. She drops 2 UFOs, but once again, if you just keep shooting these popping yin-yang wheels, you will immediately hinder your attempts to collect them. You have to accept a hard time if you want to play the usual Z-holding style instilled in every other Touhou game, and I like that. It's very surprising. After that, more UFO ferries, more resource farms to feed UFOs, and if you're being reckless, like I was while recording, you'll stand a very real chance of filling the screen with UFO tokens you can't safely collect. A fair punishment in a resource generous game. A very cleverly done level. Not as outstanding or memorable as something like PCB Stage 2, but definitely a high end. UFO Stage 3 is one of 2 stages where, at least on normal, you have a very real chance of pulling a DJ Khaled. That is to say, you'll be suffering from success. While the Stage 3 difficulty is definitely there, it's very possible possible to gain so many lives that you just opt out of collecting red UFOs? There's 3 ways it can go. 1, you've been so dogshit at UFO management that you aren't quite at the top end of the lives meter, like my fucking B-roll. 2, you don't lose any lives and suffer from success. Or 3, you actually lose a life but still end up suffering from success because of how fucking generous this level is. There's plenty to dodge. If it wasn't for UFOs clearing the screen on destruction, I'd argue it's on par with the LOL case stage 3. But UFOs do clear the screen, and a decent player will be perma-summoning them. Big cone zone fairies, fast aim attack resource farms, fading yin-yang wheels with slow screen flooding streams, all negated by sheer generosity. That being said, it trains you well for stage 4 as, well, you'd best get good at collecting UFOs as you can when you can. In stage 3 they act as a difficulty nullifier, but in stage 4 UFO clears are a matter of survival, so learning to take L's and accept less than ideal UFO summons is an important lesson. There's seeds of that here. Oh, and here's mid-boss Ichirin, please ignore me wasting a bomb UFO, and anyway, while her non-spell is like any other, unarguable yokai punch is fucking fantastic. Undefined fantastic even. Sure, everyone these days knows Ichirin is all about fisting, but I can only imagine how surprised and amused people playing the UFO demo for the first time were. Leaves a hell of an impression. From there, more cone zoners which actually suppress UFO collection, more stream flooding yin-yang wheels to undo with a UFO, then aggressive farm stream waves and one last cone zoner. Even though I objectively fucked up my UFO management on the run I recorded, I still ended the level with only 1 life slot left to earn and 3.3 recurring bombs, so God knows how stacked I'd have been if I wasn't a massive fuck up. Boss Ichirin claimed a life from me too because UFO's bosses really shine in my onion. The unremarkable music and interesting but moot waves drag this level down, and while Ichirin's mid-boss spell drags it upwards, it's still a high C. Now here we are, UFO stage 4. If stage 3 was absurd generosity mixed with difficulty that didn't quite cut it, stage 4 is pure unfiltered chaos. Yes, there's a lot of UFO tokens, but they're often blue or green, meaning hyper-exploitation is less feasible, and more importantly, there are so many enemies and bullets on screen. To collect your first share before the tokens fuck off, you need to take risks, and it certainly helps that the music, guest starring the Windows XP pop, is one of my favourite UFO tracks. The level starts strong. Even the small fairies are capable of flooding the screen with purple diamond waves. After that, blue yin-yang wheels with chaotic missile waves, the odd purple one dropping blue or green UFO tokens. I got so distracted attempting to manage this shit that I forgot to pick up a life fragment. After that are what I'll call hollow giant woo cosplayers, big fairies that spawn vertical lines of bullets that unfold outwards. These are so good at locking a player down, and oftentimes I just bomb through this part. Honestly, that may be the level's greatest weakness. Because there's so many green UFO tokens, you may not be gaining many lives, but with some strategy you can gain enough bombs to make press X to win a sustainable strategy. From there, another yin-yang wheel UFO fest, followed by Nue's first mid-boss, entering to a perfect piano solo drop. I fucking love this bit, and I also like that what she drops depends on whether you bomb or got hit. If you're a no-hit god, you get a 1-up, and god damn it Nue, I am suffering from success here. But if you're a little bitch or you tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter, you get a bomb. Very cool Nue. It's like the game saying, look, you need to be skilled to get past the future bosses. Have you seen Sho's curvy lasers? Either you figure out how to weave through lines like this, in which case good luck and have a life, otherwise get fucked. After Nue, the stage taunts you with the first wave again, only to completely lose its shit right after. Charging yin-yang wheels spam vertical zone shots and angled blue shots, dropping UFO tokens you can't relax and collect because aggro streaming comes right after. Then it's more missile wheels and woo cosplayers, and at this point your screen will be flooded with UFO tokens that you can't quite collect, and the Windows XP pop happens. Chances are, for all the level's generosity, you'll still end up leaving a good 3 to 5 tokens to run away ahead of Minimitsu Murasa because of sheer zoning, or you may end up bombing just to collect tokens. This is the perfect counterpoint to stage 3, extremely generous but forcing a player to earn that shit. Are we surprised at this point that another stage 4 has an S rank? While UFO stages 1 to 4 are resource building stages, especially 3 and 4, I consider stage 5 to be the resource spending stage. There's a decent amount of UFO tokens in here for sure, but they're much harder earned and rarer. I mean, it makes sense, right? At this point you're in Makai, and Sho and Nazrin likely hold the most treasure shards in the area. As though to demonstrate the point, the level starts with 2 big aggressive curve spread shooters, tanky and only dropping a rainbow token each. After that, all reliable zone and stream combos drop a few UFO tokens, but good luck collecting them, as you'll be locked down by 3 tanky spread shooters, who pretty much always force a bomb out of me. There's a brief atmospheric respite and a whiteout, and okay, let's talk music and atmosphere, because goddamn, Sun made Makai beautiful, genuinely otherworldly and oppressive, with a subcontinental flavour to the music that fits the Buddhist nature of the coming boss. I know Sho is very obviously a Japanese Buddhist, given the whole Bishamonten thing, but still, Japanese Buddhism is a result of the subcontinent's influence on China and Japan, so it's lovely to see the music reflect that. Anyway, break over, it's time to get jump scared by charging yin-yang wheel streamers. After that there's a brief spread shooter who kinda gets lost in the shuffle because there's even more charges right after. I lost my first life of the stage here. After that is my favourite mid-boss in the fucking series, and I'm not even kidding. Stage 5 mid-boss Nazarin is so fun, guys. It acts as foreshadowing for how Sho's attacks will work, but also acts as fun lore. It indicates that Bishamonten's laser pagoda can work with people beyond his chosen avatar, but to a lesser degree. And for what it's worth, Nazarin is wielding it damn well. There's elements of her straightaway lasers from her stage 1 boss mixed into the non-spells, and Jeweled Pagoda Greatest Treasure is effectively a straightened out Nazarinified version of Radiant Treasure. And given Nazarin stays in one place but still shifts her lasers angles, an argument could be made that her version is slightly more finicky than Sho's. For what it's worth, I've never captured Nazarin's version with Sane B, whereas I have captured Sho's version. Once. Anyway, after losing a life, or if you're not an idiot like me, bomb to Nazarin, it's back into the thick of it. Marching waves of red scatterfairies dropping just enough UFO tokens to tempt a bomb out, then one last set of charges that can genuinely box you in. I got through this stage with 7 lives and a bomb, despite my suboptimal UFO management, but this is a considerably less generous level. If you haven't exploited the previous levels, you need to get damn good at dodging, or make peace with lost bombs. Don't worry, Sho kicked my ass and spent my resources in its stead. The music, the atmosphere, the fucking rat, the reduced generosity, the harsh but fair difficulty. This may be a controversial take, but this is my peak stage 5. And now, stage 6. I'll be real, this ranking is completely vibe space. It's not related to gameplay at all. I know, I'm a fraud. The gameplay is a steady march of slightly tanky fairies which shoot vertical zoning shots designed to keep you away from the edges. But, if you brave the edges, you can kill the fairies at the very end, which drop UFO tokens. It's a small risk in exchange for last minute resources, typically bombs, but if you're lucky you can claim some life fragments. For everything else, the blue and purple faux technological lines amidst Makai's darkness, the mournful music with a fucking end of the world motif from Mystic Square coming back, and Nue making one last check up on you, bleeding so many points and a full power drop as Makai's sun comes into view, bathing the area in a rich orange glow. Gameplay wise, it's nothing special, almost so you stage 5 tier, but in terms of atmosphere, build up fucking background, it's Kino, absolute cinema, the best, genuinely gives me goosebumps. I shouldn't rank it so high, I know I shouldn't, but this bad boy gets an S. Finally, let's talk about UFO Extra, and am I the only one that thinks the stage is easily the hardest part of UFO Extra? Don't get me wrong, Nue has a bunch of cool spells, alternating between shape-shifting themes and UFO themes, but they're definitely easy by Extra standards, and her non-spells are pretty chill too. To me, the hard part of UFO Extra is getting to Nue with a decent amount of resources. While this is a fairly generous stage in terms of tokens, there's always just enough blue-green lock tokens to fuck over life farming. And if you don't reach Nue with a whole life's worth of tokens, oops, the extra life fragments you worked for are for nothing. It doesn't help that the music is playful and has a little giggle sound effect, as if it knows its job is to frustrate you as you retry again and again. The assault starts immediately. Gone is the usual resource farm aimer start. Instead we're looking at fast, unpredictable and scattered, dropping a rainbow UFO's worth of locked tokens. And you'd best summon that UFO quick, because spread curve big fairies are coming and you'll want the drops feeding that UFO. Hooray, you now have enough rainbow tokens to make a red UFO, but oh poo, there's a million fast moving vertical zones preventing you and now you're dead. Provided you didn't die, you'll likely get your first life UFO and face some manageable stage 5 style charges. Wanna breathe? Maybe summon a rainbow UFO? Go for it, but harvest quick or you'll be subjected to the most varied bullet bullshit a big furry will ever throw out. They drop UFOs but they're tanky and made to prevent collection. In this run I took what I could get and summoned a bomb UFO, which has advantages like giving you insurance against further bullshit. If you're lucky you may even be able to face mid-boss Kogasa with 3 bombs in hand. And let's talk about this absolute icon. She's genuinely surprised the heroine and as a result actually becomes powerful. She gets right into her 3 spells. While I can capture some of them, they're really tough captures. Lightly falling large raindrops is dense but manageable, mainly requires a calm and methodical headspace to capture, but I often die with bombs on it, meaning I'll rage retry. Gorilla Typhoon meanwhile is all about fast reactions, fast instinct and an E77 Lucky's worth of good fortune. And Halo Surprising Flash starts manageable manageable, but by the end it's basically down to luck. I've deadass taken the bomb that I've saved from larger raindrops and used it to bomb twice on Surprising Flash before. It fucks me up that bad. After that, a replay of the first wave, followed by what I'll call Demon of Purification War flashbacks, because it basically shows last spell card taken up to 11. Flame lines from screen border orbiting yin-yang wheels box you in, and UFO dropping curve spread shooters appear, making you desperate to collect but hard pressed to actually make an attempt. Any token you get, regardless of colour, is a token you cherish, and pretty much always end up dying or bombing instead. After a brief respite for UFO summoning purposes, you're launched into more random bullshit spammers that make UFO summoning a nightmare. Maybe you'll bomb to grab a red UFO and fuck over the bonus life fragment, past me. Then a final set of stream charges. If you haven't got a round number of life fragments at this point, suck dick. The remainders aren't gonna help you because the stream charges don't drop reds or shifters. One last bomb or point sim is all you'll get. And despite it being relatively easy, they still made me panic bomb. This stage puts the extra in extra stage, and I appreciate its unrelenting brutality. A solid S. On to Tender's Eyes, and let's be real, the stage difficulty here is really stripped down and simplified to make way for the game's main gimmick. Those darn spirits that linger at the top of the screen that you need to collect if you want any sort of engagement with the trance mode gimmick. As there's an expectation of yeeting yourself to the top of the screen every other moment, the stages are really easy to compensate. The bosses don't suffer quite as much given they drop a glut of spirits during the quiet period right after their spells, meaning spirit collection isn't outright banned for people with a low appetite for risk, though you'll still get a better yield if you shoot the boss at point blank range. At any rate, we're not exactly looking at challenging or complex affairs here. TD is probably the chillest Windows game of the series in terms of raw stage bullet patterns. The real shit lives in the spell practice exclusive overdrive spells. On to stage 1. It's got a really lovely atmosphere, establishing how the Netherworld has changed from the mysterious, threateningly tranquil place it was in PCP into a somewhat familiar, warm, almost welcoming place. We start with sitting duck fairies spawning either side, further and further from each other so as to make swift killing of them steadily harder. There's no danger here, but it does teach the basics of spirit yield. If you kill things one after the other with minimal downtime, you'll get bonus grey spirits that, while lacking the point increase of blue spirits, really boost your trance gauge. An archetypal anti-piece, albeit a boring one. More waves with the same concept show up, this time able to shoot at you. It's a step up, drilling it into your head that you need to string deaths and harvest up top. Towards the end of the wave we get our first bigger fairy, but it's only sparsely shooting. Kill it quick and get a little cluster of spirits. After that, the recurrent set piece is introduced. Trios of red pentashooter medium fairies. This time they're flanked by sitting duck fairies, but they'll eventually be flanked by flame ghosts, who are much more of a nuisance while collecting spirits due to how they appear. But before we can get to those, we need to meet Dr. Ghost MD, the biggest of the flame ghosts and an adorable non-humanoid mid-boss. We love non-humanoid mid-bosses in this house. He doesn't do much other than spawn bullet-firing ghosts around him, but he's still fun. After defeating the most educated ghost in the region, the other flame ghosts start spawning en masse, and while they aren't the biggest threats in the world, they are something to keep a high-up spirit collector on their toes. Given the rest of the level is more penta-red fairy trios and sitting duck farm waves, the ghosts are a welcome dose of flavour that makes the stage less of a snooze fest. I'm not going to call it outstanding given the biggest risk is flying into one of the 5 bullets on screen by mistake, but you know, it's a solid B on atmosphere alone. TD Stage 2, meanwhile, is probably TD's most punishing stage for its position in the game. Like, obviously stages 4 and 5 have harder to avoid set pieces overall, but if I think of which stage is most likely to have me carelessly die while trying to collect spirits, it's this one. It starts with columns of yin-yang wheels which shoot simple aimed bullets and pop in sequence, just enough to get a grey spirit yield going if you play it right. Then comes the iconic enemy of the stage, these blue diamond red pinwheel spread fuckers which drop a lot of spirits but spread their bullets just slowly enough to make collection a nightmare. I call them greed killers. Simply dodging them is easy, perfectly normal by stage 2 standards, but a greedy, trance-hungry bastard like myself, I just get so tempted to take the risk, to make it much harder for myself than necessary. That's why I deem this stage Rage Retry Central. After that, more yin-yang wheels to vertical zone ahead of the first TD trademark Big Spirit enemy set. These are enemies which drop bomb and life fragment spirits, rewards for players who've saved up enough trance gauge to double their yield. This set has 3 bomb fragments and 2 life fragments, and if you play it safe, you can't have enough trance gauge for that sweet double, unless you're playing Sane for some godforsaken reason. But if you take the risks and come out the other end, it's a dank early game reward. As if to taunt players afterwards, you get a bunch of fairies that are essentially free items and spirits ahead of mid-boss Kyoko. If you fail to get your first big double yield before, you'll definitely have enough trance to double Kyoko's drops. Mid-boss Kyoko is as anti-piece as anti-piece gets. Her non-spell is super sparse, basically her echo gimmick with all the training wheels on. Mountain Echo isn't much better, basically a super easy version of long range echo. Not that you'll need to dodge it if you've saved your trance for this part. After that, more greed killers, a resource farm spawning right amidst the collection preventing bullets, and another big spirit enemy set. This time 4 bomb spirit fairies, and a life spirit fairy if certain conditions are met, but fuck if I know how. There are these bonus enemies in TD that sometimes spawn and sometimes don't, and I don't understand the rhyme or reason as to how to make them appear. Anyway, that's the level. I appreciate that it actually tries to make spirit collection challenging, and doubling the first big spirit enemy set feels like a real achievement. The music is meh, as is mid-boss Kyoko, but this still gets a respectable A. And here comes stage 3. Not gonna lie, on normal this is just straight up easier than stage 2. While it has a better theme and the atmosphere is on point, does that really excuse several waves which are literally just flame ghosts that pop and don't fight back? Yeah, let's get into it. First off, there's flame ghosts that do shoot, but most will unlive to shoot 2 bullets at most. Then come these huge tanky fairies which just shoot 5 big yellow bullets every now and then. Hey, if you're going full pacifist, I suppose they're slow and steady enough to flood the screen, but unless you're challenge running, you'll just kill them, usually before they even shoot a second wave of bullets. After that, there's a hint of challenge, standard spread and stream shit, but nothing so dense that it impedes spirit collection. There's pretty much always an obvious macro dodge level path to the top, unlike stage 2's greed killers. Then hey, a big spirit enemy set with enough spread to actually impede collection. In my recording I actually got desperate enough to bomb because I'd left a bomb fragment up there too long. Alas, they're followed up by, yep, there they are, the flame ghosts that literally just wait to die and are nothing but free trance gauge. Thankfully Kagasa comes in to make the level interesting again, and she really is the best part of the stage and it's not even close. It's great to see Kagasa again, and unlike Kyoko, she's got some genuinely threatening patterns. Makes you think you're in UFO again. By this point you should have a full trance gauge, so you'll want to clear her first attack, and wait till the end of her second attack to pop trance and double bomb and life fragments. If you really pop it late, you can even double the next big spirit enemy set on the same trance pop. Not that I was disciplined enough to get on this run. After that, a vaguely threatening set of green spirits, more boring ass big fairies, more sitting duck spirits, and the last wave occasionally shoots shit. And that's it, it's over. This level is just a resource farm with a nice soundtrack and a fun mid-boss. Is it as nothing burgery as Soyu stage 5? Nah, but that's a really low bar. Kagasa saves this from D tier, but it can't be anything higher than C tier. It's almost a relief that Yoshika's gimmick is some of the most frustrating bullshit in the series. It's like atonement for her easy as fuck stage. Now it might seem like I hate Tender's Eyes, but never fear. TD Stage 4 is, much like every Stage 4 in the Bloody series, based as fuck. It establishes its theme early with a bunch of fairies charging right at you, popping for tons of spirits, but also shooting fast, aimed bullets. This level, much like UFO Stage 4, is very generous but also chaotic as shit, and you'll need to bomb or trance to truly keep up with everything being thrown at you. After these come another running theme of the level, flame ghosts that appear at the lower corners of the screen, rendering this triangle here the only safe zone. Everywhere else will be flooded by bullets or present a telefrag risk. After that, more charging fairies mixed with bomb fragment medium fairies, then bigger fairies who drop shit. There's a few points where popping trance is ideal. Early or late into this both give handy yields. Better still, the bigger fairies have such weird twisted spread shots that it's genuinely hard to collect the huge yield that's at the top without trance. If you need to, bomb quick, because staying high for too long will get your wriggle kicked by here she is, Miss Doki Doki Waku Waku herself. Our favourite necrophile makes a big splash. Quite literally, her solo non-spell are these really unique curvy bullet streams that crash into each other and scatter like splashing water. Her mid-boss spell, Evil Sign Yang Jiao Gi, is one of the most interesting spells in the game. It's a relatively easy one, but I love the weird drifty homing bullets that keep you on the move while Sega's blue waves horizontally lock you. Once she's defeated, it's time for the Scatter Charge Parade. A bunch of fairies that scatter all sorts of wild bullshit while dropping enough spirits to cause slow down if you aren't diligent about collection. The last wave in particular has more than enough spirit yield to fill your transmitter. At this point you can trance through as many big spirit fairies as possible, doubling at least 2 life fragments and 2 bomb fragments. If you kill them quickly enough, I'm pretty sure you can get a 3rd bomb pair and bonus life spirit enemy, but once again, I'm ignorant to the machinations of the end of level bonus enemies. At any rate, the music's great, Sega's great, the challenge to yield rate is great. This is a very good level and we're looking at a high A. On to stage 5. This level is defined by highly generous but time sensitive enemies. The tanky fairies leave plenty of space to collect if you shoot them down early, but will make the screen unnavigable if you let them cook long enough. This concept is established early. The first wave is a veritable tide of resource farm fairies from the right, while in the centre, tanky fairies shoot curved path crisscrossing bullet clusters. Easy enough if they only live to spit out a few, a nightmare if for some reason you prioritise the resource farm. While it's tempting to keep the shoot downs going and milk grey spirits, it's always more worthwhile to take the big fairies down. After this, some big spirit fairy trios, 2 bombs and a life fragment twice. If you've been super efficient or are playing a Sane, you may be able to pop trance. If so, it's the perfect spot. Alternatively, you could fuck up so hilariously that you bomb and somehow still fail to kill one, while also failing to collect another bomb fragment. Look, sometimes I record really bad runs, I gotta keep it 100 with you guys. I cannot overstate how much of a normal modo scrub I am. From there, laser spam yin yang wheels, which, like the big fairies from the beginning, are only a threat if you let many of them survive. Individually they're barely a threat, but a lot of the time can fuck you over. They also drop enough spirits to fill your gauge if you couldn't trance it up before, which is good because there's another pair of bomb life bomb trios after that. Then it's Soga no Tojiko time. As far as mid-boss only characters go, I think everyone's forgotten about our favourite Mima ripoff, but she's a really good mid-boss. Her non-spell is an exercise in redirection akin to a less predictable version of Chirano's non-spell shotguns, and her spell, Garjogi's Cyclone, is just fantastic. I don't know what angle changes Zun programmed into those yellow arrow bullets to pull this sideways adjusting lightning effect, but it's really fucking cool. After this, more must kill quick big fairies, even appearing in a pair to throw the player off, and just as you're done cleaning up the second fairy, you enter the Spirit Spiral. The Spirit Spiral is a part where spirits spawn around you then spiral in, their weird angles threatening to wriggle kick you. The third wave includes actual shots to go with it and is deadass threatening enough to pull a panic bomb out of me, even when I'm not being a moron. After that, an army of bomb spirit holders just kinda show up and pack so much of a punch compared to any other stage section in the game that panic bombing seems inevitable, if only because I want to collect all their drops. This is still a level that shouldn't claim a life from a worthwhile player who's been saving their bombs, but it's strong competition with stage 4 for the position of Jewel of TD. I think TD is best represented by its bosses. The stages often have wonderful music, but gameplay wise prove bland. This, however, is very good, earning a high A like stage 4. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was too busy jamming the fuck out to the crunchy bass of TD Stage 6. While it's ultimately an unremarkable E Stage 6 like a lot of Stage 6s, the music, the surreal atmosphere, and the weird spirit train gimmick kick it up a few notches. What is this weird spirit train gimmick I refer to? Well, the stage is filled with big fairies leading a train of flame ghosts. If you pop the fairies, the entire train dies, but here's the thing, if you let them be, they'll lead more and more ghosts onto the screen and give you way more trance gauge to farm. Early on the stakes are just trance gauge, but in the latter half of the level, there are bomb spirits and life spirits on the very end of the train, only accessible if you let the fairies reveal their entire track. And just like stage 5, leaving them alive has consequences. Not only are there wriggle kick hitboxes everywhere, they're shooting at you within an increasingly limited zone of movement. It's a beautiful risk-reward system and a nice subversion of the usual pulled Z approach. Oh, and I guess there's a part where the kill quick laser yin-yang wheels show up too. The most unforgivable crime of this level, however, is not having our favourite Santa Claus impersonator, this is canon seriously, look it up, it's true, show up solo as a mid-boss. Oh well, it's still a good B tier finale. As for TD Extra, it's honestly got the same problem as stage 3. Don't get me wrong, it's way more challenging than stage 3. As an extra stage, it's very predictable once you figure out what to do. And Mamizo supremely outshines the stage she's associated with, just like Yoshika. The routine becomes monotonous in a way other extra stages prove too unpredictable to be. Move left so the first streamers appear on the right, harvest while getting in position for the first spread shooter, back and forth face shooting and collecting until you fill your trance gauge, play with the fast aim shot fairies, hit trance mode towards the end to get 4 bomb fragments fragments and 4 life fragments, meet mid-boss Nue and weep gently at the menace of her attacks, only Skyfish with unknown shape consistently claims a bomb from me, safely harvest Hello spirits from these side-spawning scatterers, kill the first bomb spirit fairy of the bunch, then use the bomb you didn't use on Nue to collect and kill the rest and hit full trance. Survive another side-on scatter assault, then trance through the next spirit fairy set. Maybe bomb if you trance too early because, you know, you have all the resources to do that. And like that, it's over. If UFO Extra Stage has you perpetually retrying, on edge about reaching Nue with a decent amount of lives, TD Extra makes you confident you're reaching Mamazo with optimal resources each time. Like, I get that this is TD and accommodation for spirit collection is a whole thing, but like, cut loose man, this is extra. And god, poor Nue, downgraded from a cool curvy snake laser summoner and laser bullet transmuter to some girl using random bullshit flame bullets, boring but difficult arrows, and a bunch of balls. Plot-wise, it's cute to see that Nue cares about the Buddhists. Gameplay-wise, I can't help but say, look how they massacred my girl. In a sea of amazing, unusual, and unrelenting extra stages, TD Extra is just not up to par. It's not an outright off-putting stage like MS Stage 4 or MOF Stage 1, but this ain't getting higher than C. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're about 2/3 done and yep, that's 28,000 words. I'm writing a fucking novella here. Anyway, Double Dealing Character is a generous game. Its gimmick is very cool, theoretically rewarding daring last frame auto-collect, but in practice, once you pass stage 2, there's so many goddamn collectibles that any auto-collect nets you at least a bomb fragment. Worse still, bombing counts as an auto-collect, meaning that aside from Shinmyo Maru being a genuinely difficult boss, especially for dogshit shots like Sakia's green knives, there's no real challenge for players who know how the game works. The patterns are technically quite hard this time around on stages and bosses alike, but for much of the game you're gonna have your lives close to maxed out, provided you know how the game works. And let's not even talk about Marissa No Weapon. In fact, let's make that a rule going forward. I won't rank the stages based on the Marissa No Weapon experience, as each segment would just be, it's really fucking easy because a single bomb netted me 3 bomb fragments and a life fragment. Again. Alright, let's do this. God's sake, I've written so much. Okay, DDC Stage 1, aka one of the only stages where clever management of auto-collect is required. If you play things really smart, you can get 4 bomb fragments from the pre-Chirano segment alone, but sadly, it doesn't matter in the long run given you'll have 9,001 bomb fragments by the end. The opening resource farm fairy wave dares to shoot at you, and if you want to get a bomb fragment out of it, you're gonna have to hold off a little so you can shoot down a lot at once and collect their items all at once. Start too early and your bounty will drop into the ether. I think it's possible to get a second bomb fragment from it, but I ain't clever enough to make that shit work. After that are some spread stream combo fairies followed up by a pair of vertical shot fairies. Once again, if you kill that first spread stream fairy too quickly, you won't get a bomb fragment, as you need 3 fairies worth of collectibles to get it. It's wild how precisely I remember this shit for stage 1, only for stage 3 onwards to be like, I don't fucking know, just wait a bit and my bomb will probably net a life fragment maybe. After that is a big fairy that I always kill too quickly to know what it does, and a resource farm, ideally the source of bomb fragments 3 and 4. After that is our favourite backer. Hello Chirano, you've I mean, technically it's harder than your mid-boss appearance in PCB, but man, there's no personality in this attack beyond Icy Spread Shot. At least she gets a spell card and hardened Lunatic. First life fragment and a bomb fragment from the auto-collect. After that, more spread stream combos, lots of flame ghosts, very exploitable given how simple the patterns are. Wait, that wasn't a bomb fragment's worth. Anyway, at this point DDC starts DDCing and the fragments earned become innumerable. Big fairies with vertical attacks, little fairy resource farms that really shoot. It's all so stage 1 shit. But hey, there's actual brain activity occurring at this point in the game if you want to be a resource hungry madman like me, which can't be said for many stage 1s. That makes it at least a high B, right? Heading into stage 2 and immediately the Zun pits assert themselves in the setting, the human village is quite refreshing. The player has to actually earn their bomb fragments this level, and unlike later stages, pressing X to win isn't just embarrassing, it's also less feasible. By stage 3 you'll have a million bombs to play with, but here it's better if you just get good. Alas, the process of getting good also makes you suffer from success and leave you no choice but to spam bombs in stage 3, but I digress. It starts with these fucking boring big fairies from TD stage 3 in a group of 4. 3 fairies worth make a bomb fragments worth of drops, and you can save the last one to make the next auto-collect more likely to yield a bomb fragment. That's right, this level still involves actual brain activity. The next wave's this iconic yin-yang wheel set. The whole deal is alternating between orthogonal and diagonal lasers, and if you let them live long enough to shoot multiple times, you will be locked down. Shoot fast and you'll have safe, consistent collection windows. After this, more stage 1 style big fairies and resource farms, free power and bomb fragments in case for some reason you aren't at full power yet, another set of ortho Diago wheels, and in comes Sexy Banky with the hell Zumpit note. What an entrance. She establishes a stationary bullet string spawning non-spell gimmick along with the aim trail spirits to keep you on your toes, and the spell, Flying Head, is really cool. It's easy, but it is cool. Stretching a red Danmaku neck is just funny, it's a great A bit. The reward for a quick Seki Banky are these point-dropping blue fairies whose align cones actually make auto collection mildly annoying. Being real, my greed has killed me here more times than I care to admit. Like seemingly all big fairies, 3 is the magic number for when you can auto collect for a bomb fragment. If you play your cards right, you can get half a bomb's worth out of this wave alone. After that are ranks of ortho Diago wheels, rendering their survival somewhat likely, briefly rendering them an actual threat. After that, more big fairies, more resource farms, more free bomb fragments. By the end of the stage you should have around 6 bombs and 4 lives, which seems like the game being too generous, but that's because you haven't seen the later levels. This is a happy medium by DDC standards. There's plenty of exploitable moments, but also plenty of stage 2 appropriate threats, and while easy, Seki Banky's mid-boss is very fun. A solid A. Now stage 3 is an interesting one because it's full of challenging waves, provided you actually try to dodge them. If a player is using a keyboard with the X key tragically removed, it'd be a cool, fair but challenging stage 3, preventing players from over-exploiting by making every auto-collect earned. Unfortunately, most players have an X key, and furthermore, normal players like me are definitely gonna press it. Why wouldn't we? Every time you get a 2.0 auto-collect, you get a life fragment, which is 1/3 of a life, which is equivalent to a bomb. And there's plenty of times where you can easily collect a 2.0 even without bombing. The result is a level that only serves to max out the lives meter. Boy, I really got ahead of myself with this one, huh? Barely any room left for summaries. The first wave's a bunch of spirits and laser yin-yang wheels that you can bomb through to get a life fragment. After that, the occasional big fairy with Kagero-style ball buster bullets, and a mix of aimed and spread enemies you can easily net smaller collections out of. But hey, at least it's not free bombsville, right? Then the laser wheels return with the spirits, and as long as you don't fuck up, that's another bomb for a life fragment. Then, I can't say mad at your DDC Stage 3. Having the theme of Eastern Wonderland motif kick in as mid-boss Kagero comes in is great. I'm here for your Elon Musk's favourite cat girl. She does a pair of escalating demonstrations of the non-spell she'll have in her boss. Nothing outstanding, but still a nice regular challenge amidst bomb-to-win nonsense. And speaking of bombing, the spirit flames that come after her actually zone the top off, so hey, that's one actually challenging part. Once you get in the groove and don't suck past me, you'll be harvesting bomb fragments again in no time. There's laser wheels without the spirits flanking, which just feels like a free bomb fragment, then it's back into the spirit groove again, this time with vertical zoners that actually stand a chance at baiting out bombs, and hey, more mini Kageros working in concert with the vertical zoners to provide actual challenge, without dropping all the resources in the world. But for alas, another easy spirit laser set preceded by a mini Kagero. I fucked this stage up hard in this recording, and used a shot with a slowing clunky bomb. Despite this, I still finished the stage with 6 lives and 2 bombs. If I was smart enough to wait a second longer on a couple of my bombs, it would have been 7 lives and 2 bombs. Don't get me wrong, this level isn't completely brain dead, but it's very much a press X to not only win, but transform the stage into a massive resource farm sort of experience. I want to indulge my theme of Eastern Wonderland hype gremlin, but I need to be realistic. It's a level thoroughly let down by the mechanics of the game it's in. I see. And wouldn't you know, DDC Stage 4 has a similar problem, albeit to a lesser extent given how brutal the patterns are. While there's still the odd quiet moment, bombs are going to be your main way of auto-collecting this level, unless you enter sicko mode and become godlike. And if you're fucking stupid, like recording me was, and spent 2 bombs on Kagero despite being super reasonable by Stage 3 boss standards, you may not have access to bombs by this point, as you've already cashed them in for life fragments in Stage 3. In other words, Stage 4 is the find out sequel to fucking around in Stage 3. Stage 3 is a big old farm, Stage 4 is a desperate scramble to preserve what you have. Unless you're Marissa No Weapon, but we promised not to talk about that. Anyway, this level is dripping with atmosphere. Pull in the old introduce charging yin-yang wheel stream shooters, introduce rainfall big fairies, then jam them the fuck together. Better still, this dangerous combo is only dropping 2.0 level items towards the very end. If you can't figure out how to auto-collect between waves, if you resort to bombing, it won't pay for itself anymore. Heck, I actually died here in the recording, which given how much Stage 3 makes you suffer from success, might be worth it in the long run. Life fragments becoming bomb fragments because you're 2 ahead is a horrible feeling. After that comes some upgraded stream wheels which can zone well and have relatively low item yield, which, you know, is the kind of challenge I respect. Then, the the furry swarms, later augmented by yin-yang wheel zone blasts. These are so fucking dense no matter how quickly you take a given side out, and if you're in the centre, God help you. I always bomb at least once here, and the earlier waves don't yield a 2.0. It's a little thing, but it's the difference between stage 3 and an actual threat to your resources. I bombed 3 times on this section, and what do I have to show for it? A bomb and a life fragment, both the result of me happening to be on 5/8 of a bomb as it is. I occasionally unlock Zero Bomb Ultra Instinct and actually dodge through it, but in such cases I ain't ever successfully auto-collected. When I do have bombs, I always fold under the Intimidation 100-ass screen flooding, becoming extremely wasteful with resources in the process. This is the sort of risk evaluation I want to see in a game like DDC. A few upgraded yin-yang laser stream charges later, and oh my god, it's a Tsukumo sister! Yatsuhashi if you have a weapon, Ben if you don't. Both sisters have just the right level of challenge for someone like me. In this recording, Yatsuhashi's second non-spell forced a bomb out of me, but on a better day I'd have weaved through them like a pro. The realistic possibility of failure and triumph puts them in the stage 4 mid-boss sweet spot. Towards the end of this mid-boss you also get the Zonobo drop, sync to the strange world you're travelling through lighting up. It's a lovely little moment, very cool. Unfortunately after is, well, a bunch of yin-yang wheels that give you free shit. Yes, you need to manage the aim bullets as you auto-collect, and it's a little more difficult to consistently kill them with a non-homing shot, but yeah, it's half a bomb and a life fragment for free basically. Then we're back into the rhythm. Rain fairies in yin-yang wheels, this time with wheels coming in from both sides. In this recording I fucked up multiple times, overbombing, missing a whole bomb fragment, dying, yet I finished the stage with 6 lives and 0 bombs. Normally I'd be on 7 or 8 lives, ready to get wrecked by the Tsukumos. Either way, it goes to show there's plenty of opportunities to get fucked in this stage, which is not something I can say about stage 3, where the worst outcome is a less than ideal resource yield. For the atmosphere, the music, the Tsukumo mid-boss and the spots DDC's mechanics are used well, we're looking at a low S for this one. Then we reach DDC stage 5 and while there's a lot to love about this stage, it sucks as a stage 5. For context, the run I recorded is awful, and I got wrecked by Ben to an even more farcical degree than usual. Normally I'd be clipped down to 6 or 5 lives by the Tsukumos, but here, I entered stage 5 with 3 lives, and still reached Seiya with 4 2/3, reaching 5 after our first non-spell. Bear in mind, I fucked up numerous collections this run too. This was a really scuffed run. This stage is absurdly generous given it's the penultimate one. It should feel like UFO stage 5, the point where you're spending resources, not gaining even more. My dogshit Ben run should have made the run unsalvageable, yet here's stage 5 ready to hand me free shit. As if to establish the tone early, it starts with thematically appropriate low spawning flame ghosts that, when played well, are 2 bomb fragments worth of item drops, posing a mild threat to non-homing shots while being free resources for Reimu. After that is the stage's iconic waves, yin-yang wheels which fade in across the screen at various heights, scattering blue shards, half fall downwards, half fall upwards. While they can still force a bomb out of a decent player in great enough numbers, they also make bombs self-refunding in great enough numbers. Otherwise they're manageable, free bomb fragments beneath stage 5 difficulty standards. That being said, if you happen to be dogshit, you can occasionally waste bombs on them. Then come these bullet string flame ghosts that fuck with you if you leave them be, or otherwise free point item farms. Then hey, an actual challenge, mixing circle zone fairies with fading yin-yang wheels to hopefully force out suboptimal bombs. But remember, though I'm playing this stage like absolute dogshit, I still ended up with a profit. Oh wait, the music's getting mournful and Seiya's here. The Zun Pit hits so hard this section, and Seiya's non-spell establishes her whole non-spell deal. Slow, then fast, then slow. It starts with spiral spreads, but will become dangerous crisscrosses in her boss. While her spell, Reverse Needle Attack, isn't as outstanding as her boss spells, I think that's for the best. She's holding her cards close to the chest to make the first screen flip all the more surprising. It's still a challenging level that I can capture, but I often die from overconfidence or just plain fucking up. It's an appropriately difficult mid-boss, the highlight of the stage for sure. After that there's more side-on fairies whose attacks, while easy to dodge on their own, fuck up your ability to collect while not coming close to justifying a bomb auto-collect in terms of yield. Then the circle zone fairies return, followed by all exploitable yin-yang wheel up-down fallers. The final layup will almost certainly claim a bomb from you, but also guarantees at least a life fragment and bomb fragment in exchange. All in all, this shit is easier than stage 4, and while it's not as laughably exploitable as stage 3, it really shouldn't feel easier than its predecessor. It's not completely without challenge and there's plenty of iconic waves that reference Sage's whole deal, but it's disappointing compared to stage 4. I'll put it at high B. On to stage 6. I've been slandering DDC's stages, talking shit about the game's generosity fucking over the otherwise brutal challenges posed, but man, I just can't be mad at the finale. After a long vacation following So You Extra, the stage with its boss's motifs mixed in thing is back, meaning we get a tense, ambient build-up version of Shin Miyomaru's theme. When I first heard this motif come back in Shin Miyamaru's theme, let me tell you, I needed a fresh pair of pants. Anyway, gameplay wise this stage is also very good. It sticks with simple waves with powerful enemies and that's all it needs. First wave is a fast brutal take on the spread and stream formula, then you're assaulted by a cluster of yin yang wheels you need to shoot down early lest you become overwhelmed by a crisscross nightmare, then after a brief collection break you have to endure paired, spiral versions of the same. Time is of the essence and you will not find time to breathe. It's your last chance to exploit stages and this stage says, take risks and make it count or stay safe like a little bitch, it's your call. After more fast spread ghosts and a building soundtrack, your time exploiting stages is up as Zun stops pretending he's too good for stage 6 mid bosses, bringing Sage in for the finale. She won't wait for you to readjust if you've recently been auto collecting, and while her first non-spell is manageable provided you haven't got yourself stuck, her final non-spell is an unbridled test of player instinct, keeping up until you either bomb, or bomb twice if you suck monkey balls like me, or make it through, dropping one last life fragment granting cache of items. This is a really good final stage, especially for such a mixed schizoid difficulty game like DDC. Solid S rank. Finally, DDC Extra, a stage which, while not the most challenging stage in the world, is one I respect more than stages 3 and 5. It's got a generous streak and the attacks aren't exactly overwhelming, there's times it's putting less pressure on than stage 4, but is very much a test of intuition. While stage 4 prompts panic bombs through sheer oppressive density, this level's all about shock and awe. Get it? It starts with the most brutal stream starter fairies in extra stage history, along with a shooter on the opposite side. If you're prudent, you'll mix auto collection with avoidance. Believe me, there's plenty of 2.0 life fragment sections you'll be better off bombing at, so that means you'll have to get good. After that, a veritable crowd of cone shooter fairies. Once again, weave collection in with avoidance. If you're really slick, you can even get a life fragment from them. But oh shit, stage 4's charger laser yin yang wheels are back and this time they aren't fucking around. They aren't a free harvest anymore, having a good mix of aimed and spread attacks to make auto collection rough and not worth bombing for, doubly so when they appear in pairs, though at least at that point bombing may be the best call for sheer survival. Then it's the cluster scatter fairies which, while iconic, are easily the most exploitable waves. They can be troublesome if left alive for too long, especially when they appear in threes, but it doesn't take much dodging and patience for a player to wait, then bomb for a life fragment and even collect a bomb fragment right after. And if you ain't feeling like resource farming, raw survival is really fucking easy, especially with a homing or spread shot. After that the Sukumos arrive, fighting together instead of one at a time, and they're very fun. The non-spell is predictably their individual non-spells mixed together, which generally claims wannabe bombs. When you drain the health circle of one, the other remains, the non-spell now pathetic half of its former self. I find shit like that adorable. Anyway, they also have two really fun spells. Storm Ensemble is rapid fire crisscross curve, all about instinct and quick reactions just like the stage. Joruri World, meanwhile, is just really fucking hard, combining Ben screen bouncing shots with Yatsahashi's drifty weird shots, though interestingly the sisters take turns in who shoots what. Pretty much always claims a life or bomb from me. It should be noted that capturing either of these will net you 2 bomb or life fragments, along with the usual auto-collect opportunity, so it's in your best interest to go for the capture. Once the instrument sisters are trashed, we get more yin-yang charges, this time shooting manageable, even outright easy lasers when dispatched quickly, but they can become nightmarish when left to shoot and like before, aren't dropping enough to be worth bombing. After that, some fast shooting cluster fairies who straight up murked me in the recording and claimed a life when I had 3 bombs. Stage 4's oppressive shit gives you time to be intimidated and bomb, but DDC Extra will just fucking kill you, no warning. After that, more yin-yang charges, this time whole lines that will inevitably survive long enough to get serious lasers down. Then more exploitable cluster shooters, and finally, an unrelenting series of blue streamers like the beginning. Once again, you'll want to work auto collection into your dodging if you want to exploit this. After that, one last brutal green stream sesh with off-angle bullets to keep you from just dancing around on auto collecting like the blue ones, but also dropping more than enough for another life fragment. This level, somewhat appropriately given it's the only stage you get to exploit in extra mode, is very generous, and in this recording I ended up with 4 lives, and it would have been 5 lives if I hadn't died with 3 bombs at one point. However, unlike stage 3 and stage 5, every collection is a huge risk when it doesn't involve a bomb, and there's clear moments where bombing is the ideal play. If you've wasted a bomb on something less worthwhile, you'll feel it in this stage. In other words, this is a fair, somewhat forgiving culmination of DDC's mechanics, and while it's akin to TD Extra in that there's no question you'll make it to Raikou with a decent amount of resources, it's a challenge that's very much in sync with the game's mechanics. A. Alright, Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom, you already know my take on this game if you've watched my shots video. It's hard as fuck and I can only 1cc normal with Raisin. For context, I can 1cc every other game on normal with almost every shot. I'm still learning Touhou 20 and I'm busy having a job, writing a book and playing other Touhou games, so give me a break. Regardless of my skill issue, I can safely say LOLK are some of the best designed stages in the series, building around the central Graze farming gimmick in fun and interesting ways. Fuck, sometimes they'll even give you goosebumps. I'd never want to experience them in point device mode because fuck that mode with the barge pole, but I'll rank them as an experience the way God intended. Legacy mode. Let's get into it. On to stage 1, and let's quickly go over how the chapter system works in Legacy mode. Here's the long and skinny. You can graze bullets to slow collectibles while they're falling and harvest graze points. If you linger along a bullet's path, you harvest more. At the end of each chapter, a calculation occurs. Graze points multiplied by the percentage of enemies you killed divided by 100. If the resultant number is over 200, congratulations, you get 1/3 of a life. With that in mind, stage 1 chapter 1 is a teaching moment and mocks you for picking normal instead of hard or lunatic. On normal, you can technically hit 200 by strategically allowing the resource farm fairies to live long enough to shoot and perfectly grazing along each bullet while miraculously shooting them all before they leave. Realistically, however, you'll miss a few fairies because you let them shoot, or you'll kill them before they shoot without thinking. Either way, this first chapter is a microcosm of the whole fucking game. It shows why you may want to keep enemies alive, shows that they won't stick around indefinitely, and dares you to get smart with graze harvesting. And this is the first chapter. From there it builds on the lesson through enemies with distinct roles. The medium-sized fairies provide bullets to graze but also zone off certain X positions. The non-shooting ghost flames drag down your percentage multiplier if you miss them, and so you have to balance farming fairy bullets and giving yourself access to positions to shoot down the ghosts. Other tried and true types also show up. Erratic stream fairies and big fairies with slow grazable bullet clusters. Within 2 chapters we have more enemy diversity than most stage 1s. Then mid-boss Seiran 1 comes in. Funnily enough, in terms of graze harvesting, she's actually slightly harder than her later appearance, as the huge bullet cluster you're supposed to grave the fuck out of is only ever straight down, perfectly blocking your ability to shoot her. There's another demonstration of the dichotomy between grazing and shooting down, this time in mid-boss form. Still, she's very much beatable. If you're still figuring out the whole graze harvesting thing, or just suck monkey balls like me, this may be a player's first life fragment. From there, some bonus Verti shooters to graze if you beat her early, followed by the Verti Zona Flame Ghost combo again, right before— is that rabbit attacking us twice? Who does she think she is, fucking O-ring? This time she aims her big grazable cluster at you and at a slightly faster speed, allowing you to take the game into your own hands and redirect it. This allows for simultaneous grazing and shooting, the ideal way to approach LOLK. After that, more Verti shooters, filler ghosts and big grazable fairies before the end. Naturally, the early game has fewer bullets to graze, so you have to be strategic to harvest chapters properly, and this stage does an amazing job teaching the player how this shit works. Not gonna lie, I was torn between this and SA Stage 1 for peak, because it's that good of an introduction to a Touhou game's mechanics. But as you know, Subani Stage 1 got peak, so this will have to settle for a very high S. Stage 2 starts off with another wave on the cusp of being harvestable if you get the spur shoot balance right, but on normal there's typically not enough bullets to harvest. It starts with roaming Verti shooters, then bigger cluster shooters, and unlike Stage 1, the clusters are thin and fast, difficult to harvest graze points from. The militaristic music sets the vibe for how you'll approach this. You must be swift and decisive. And in the first chapter's case, it's best to just shoot them down, because the cluster shooters appear in groups and can flood the screen if you aren't careful. After that are the most annoying fucking enemies in the game, the drifty slowdy ghosts. They aren't particularly hard to deal with once you know what they're about, but they are annoying. The choice to graze or shoot incarnate, they will shoot slow, easily grazed bullets, but once you kill them, pew, fast bullet. So you have to wait for the slow bullets to get to you if you want to graze, because going up to do it is a ridiculous risk the moment you shoot them down. I'll be real, I usually don't bother, favouring to shoot them down quickly instead of harvesting. And hey, the game allows that as a choice. Hell, it's the optimal choice for many chapters. That's the beauty of LOLK in my view. Survival is a struggle, but thriving is the true challenge, and it feels like an opt-in, opt-out situation, as opposed to, you know, Mountain of Faith saying fuck you, your faith is gone now. After that, big grazable fairies spawn one after the other in quick succession, allowing for zero fuckery in the best way. You gotta kill decisively and fast, as I said. If you play things right, this can earn you a life fragment, but if not, don't worry. Ringo is here and she's ready to be grazed to hell and back. I'll be honest, while her boss is really good by second boss standards, her mid-boss is a free life fragment and a bomb. Even Seiran's first mid-boss felt like an earned victory. While it definitely shows how Ringo's non-spells work, it's insultingly easy compared to everything else. If you defeat her early, you will, you'll be rewarded with a super grazeable, slightly tougher versions of the cluster shooters, and if you've grazed them enough, you can just kill all of the irritating exploding ghosts and big furries without bothering to graze farm, confident that you've earned a life fragment. After that, some less dense takes on the stage 1 cluster furries, accompanied by the very first wave's verti shooters, leading to a risky lockdown graze fest, but you will be taking risks in earning that life fragment if you get it. Then, Dunzo. If it wasn't for mid-boss Ringo dragging it down, this would be a solid A, a natural build-up from the previous stage. Instead, mid-boss Ringo forces me to place it in the middle of B. Now we're on to stage 3, where there's a healthy balance of chapters that will fucking wreck you if you try to harvest them, and chapters for the faithful to harvest. First off, the music and background are beautiful, a different sort of surreal to the sort you'd expect to see in the dream world. I was low-key disappointed AOCF depicted the dream world as an Alice in Wonderland style picture book affair when it's so damn weird and techie looking in LOLK. I digress. As mentioned, there's a good mixture of get fucked versus fucking get chapters in stage 3, and it starts with a hearty get fucked. Yin Yang wheels spawn in a line, filling the screen with mid-speed streaming bullets. It is an extra stage panic-inducing tier, but it's enough to make most players prioritise shooting down ahead of exploitation. Like Jesus Christ man, in this run I only got 3 graze points. Chapter 2 comes and there's huge super grazeable triangle shooting big furries, peppered with the stream Yin Yang wheels from before. It builds on the challenge while making graze exploitation possible, but leaving the big furries alive comes with a price, getting shoved into a corner with no recourse but a bomb. And if you've been in the corner too long, you won't have a high enough shoot down percent. I love that shit, it's punishing but understandable. After that are the iconic furries that become lasers when they die. This chapter, these furries that become lasers when they die, shoot consistent quasi-vertical lasers which, if you happen to be a rabbit who can greatly increase their graze box, become insanely exploitable. The only problem is that these furries that become lasers when they die, by nature restrict your movement, making it difficult to kill all the furries that become lasers when they die. Therefore, you'd best graze like hell. Your shoot-down percentage is not gonna be high. I fucked it up and now look, I'm face to face with a very disappointed Doremi suite. Mid-boss Doremi is essentially a small boss Doremi. Her non-spells are the same clustered, hard to graze farm spirals. Scarlet Nightmare scatters crisscross bullets in a semicircle akin to Indigo Dream of Anxiety. Your reward for quick work are these big triangle shooty exploitable fairies, but once music catches up, Yin Yang wheels appear to make things challenging again. One epic whiteout later, and on to the Yin Yang wheels that become star streamers when they die. A perfect complement to the furries that become lasers when they die. They're extremely grazeable, but by this point you should have your 200. The main challenge is keeping that shoot down percentage high. And if you're exhausted after the Yin Yang wheels that become star streamers when they die, worry not, there's another pair of exploitable big furries, close together like they know it's supposed to be a respite. Then, as the music hits one last ominous build-up, we're hit with the true terror. Furries that become lasers when they die, only the lasers are now aimed at you. Kinda like mid-boss Iran 2, there's a locked variant and a variant that puts the ball in your court. The only issue is to get a decent shoot-down percentage, you're gonna need to move all over the screen, which you don't want to do if you want to graze stream attacks, so it's another delicate balancing act. Theoretically harvestable, but goddamn you have to work for it. Oh, and 2 more triangle graze shooters as consolation for all the players that got wrecked trying to exploit the furries that become lasers when they die. Just like stage 1, I was very tempted to put this as peak stage 3, but I don't know, EOSD stage 3 just speaks to my soul. Maybe I was a nostalgic fucko all along. Still, this is a very high S, the exact shit I like to see in a stage 3. Now at LOLK stage 4. Wait, LOLK at a stage 4? I jest, but for some reason I memory hold this level until I start playing LOLK again. Given stage 4s are usually a Touhou game's iconic crescendo, that's really not good. But this is a stage 4 and has a lot going for it despite being forgettable beyond that sick-ass Hirotake remix on Kuroneko Lounge's house set at LOLK. It starts with 4 relentless aimed stream yin-yang wheels who are theoretically exploitable, but in truth you gotta kill them fast. As a result I got a grand total of 7 fucking graze points on the first chapter. And that's the theme of the whole damn level. Theoretically grazable stream or laser waves which you dangle the possibility of harvesting over your head, but never quite give it to you. It's a fair challenge sometimes and miserable other times. The second chapter combines sweeping and random laser yin-yang wheels, which are definitely grazable especially for Raisin, yet I ended up at 187 with an 100% shoot down rate, barely off from a life fragment. But at this point in the game you may not even need life fragments. While difficult to harvest, this stage is easy by stage 4 standards, with stage 5 being the true difficulty spike of the game. More hard to exploit streams of increasing intensity, then boom, in comes Sagami. Sagami balls! Now for real, she's pretty cool, and she has a commonality with Toya Hime of all bosses, and her attacks are oppressive, but she's super squishy, exploding with minimal time beneath her. Like all Lunarians, she can dish it out but can't take it. But just like the stage she's in, it's difficult to graze enough to get a life fragment from her. Oh well, I'm Raisin, I don't need lives when my bombs give me 10 hits per life. After her are these red shooting yin-yang wheels that come in from the top right. Barely a threat if you kill them quickly, but also supremely ungrazable, followed by quite grazable laser wheels, starting one by one then increasing the amount until it's challenging. The life fragment here is very possible. After that it's a long, oppressive, grazable, but honestly boring stream fest. The difficulty's there, but I don't know, other levels just do it better. This is definitely the stage that does the earn your life fragments thing the worst, almost feeling like an implicit admission that yes, this is the level where you neither lose lives nor gain them, you just survive. Given how much fun every other level has in terms of playing around with graze harvesting, this is definitely the worst of a solid set of levels. Low B. But don't worry boys of various genders, stage 5 is here to make everything better. It starts with a quasi-exploitable stream wave, but rather than being a panic wave like stage 3 or sparse like stages 1 and 2, there are more than enough bullets to exploit, and this feels more like a test of your graze harvesting skills. Also, we're on the moon and it looks fucking amazing. Chapter 2 rolls in and it's spreading and streaming with style. The sheer density and bullet speed fuckery making for juicy graze opportunities with a healthy dose of fuck around and find out should you corner yourself. Prime Raisin Grazeploitation shit. And you'll need those life fragment harvesting moments if, like me, you coasted through stage 4, because Clown Piece is an Avengers level threat and will take every life you have. Chapter 3 has stars and stripe furries. Big furries shooting laser stripes, while smaller ones shoot aimed stars. The stripes are exploitable but also incredibly limiting if you want to damage the damn furries. A lovely payoff even if I suck ass at them. And oh look, is Clownbeast gonna be a mid-boss? Is she gonna... Nah, she's just dancing around like a goofball, casually inducing insanity in her furry pals, you know, harmless shit. Oh fucking hell. The chapters become extremely short, showcasing a certain type of enemy each. First super fast star blasters, then oppressed aimed boxing laser furries, then scatter star strip ring big furries, then chaotic scatter laser furries, then star tunnel furries that barely give openings to fit through, and multicolored starfall furries as one big finale. Some chapters are super exploitable, some are too fast and chaotic to try, but all in all you'll probably gain a life but potentially lose several. It's a section that refuses to let up and really sells the idea that Clownpiece can rile up the furries under her command. It's enough that this stage doesn't even need a mid-boss. The sheer batshittery of being in the middle of a lunar invasion is really sold here, and the music being this swelling sci-fi style Zumpit love letter ties everything together. I still prefer SS Stage 5 and UFO Stage 5, but there's no denying this is well deserving of an S. Oh, you think Lolka is done being amazing? How about we move on to Stage 6? Stage 6 is just fucking perfect, man. After the madness of Clownpiece, turning 6 lives into 4 while playing as fucking Raisin, you fly over a tranquil sea while wind howls. Blue Sea of 53 minutes style. Flame ghosts appear in a row, each death exploding into straight down shots that cut off the way back, only for another set to appear along the way you just blocked. Immediately this level asserts it and its boss's theme, simple yet oppressive. And during this, the sad synth comes in, lilting, stepping through soulful minor chords in an arpeggio, and as you finish up with the Zone of Spirits, the Stage 6 title cuts in, allowing for some time with the atmosphere. It's bleak, mournful, beautiful. Another simple yet brutal attack comes, this time not on your terms, a set of fast and deadly stream attacks. Barely anything is grazable, but unlike Stage 4, it's appropriate. The time for life gathering is over, and the coming boss is an unrelenting, simple yet deadly purification machine. Then come relentless blue scatter shooters, fast and overwhelming, drifting towards you and tightening the rope around your neck. Then, the big one, the most iconic set piece. No enemies, no fanfare, just a long stretch of grazing and weaving through short vertical bullet threads and the odd aimed attack to keep you on your feet. Your options get more limited as more bullet threads fill the screen, the aimed bullets get more numerous and from more angles, and the earth steadily comes into view over the horizon. The music grows more mournful, more intense, more ominous. You know you're approaching something with a deep, abiding, sorrowful anger, and it's so fucking good, man! It's followed up with more vert-exploding spirits, just to wrap things up in a nice little bow. Touhou often uses Stage 6 as a glorified way to get you to full power ahead of the final boss, or a token challenge before the end. This, however, is the perfect build-up to one of the best final bosses in Touhou. I may suck dick at LOLK, and I hate point device mode, but this, I am picking up what you're putting down, son, and I think it's fucking key now. It's perfect, possibly my favourite stage in the series, legitimately gives me goosebumps, same as Junko. At the very least, it's peak Stage 6. And finally, let's tackle about the extra stage. Honestly, it feels like an upgraded Stage 3, which is fitting given we're back in the dream world and Dorami's the mid-boss. Similarly to Stage 3, the main question you're going to ask is this: is this chapter worth graze harvesting, or is it a fuck you wave? And wouldn't you know, the first wave is a fuck you wave, a hard to graze but easy to survive set of stream fairies. No harvest. Then it's cluster fairies, which are tempting to harvest but difficult to pull off given at least one is likely to survive. No harvest. Yellow half aim half spread, tempting but not worth it. No harvest. Fairies that become lasers when they die. 3rd edition. Very harvestable, but watch out for those stream shots. Go for it. I still failed. Oppressive scatter wave. Just dodge normally, you'll get the graze on your own without any strategy. Go for it. And hey, Dorami's here. I love all of her attacks, and the best part is, they're still distinctly Dorami while also shaking things up. Butterfly Supplantation is a raw test of left-right weaving instinct. Dream Express is the ultimate aim redirection bit, theoretically easy to dodge but difficult to get shots onto Dorami herself, and Crawling Dream Creeping Bullet is classic Dorami spiral shit. And you'll want to capture that one, because if you do, Dorami will drop a 1-up, otherwise she'll drop a bomb along with Familial Shame. Back to the waves. Oppressive Scatter Wave 2, Electric Boogaloo, same shit as the first, just dodge normally and enjoy the free life fragment. Go for it. Stage 5 aimed Laser Fairy reprise. Harvest that shit and maybe don't die in the process like my bitch ass. Go for it. Blue Shot Flooder Drifty Fairies. Focus on shooting them down quickly, graze be damned, you are fucked if you don't, especially when they start showing up in pairs. If you're lucky, you'll still graze enough without trying. No harvest, but cross your fingers. Crisscross Curved Bullet Big Fairies. Just survive, man. There's a lot of difficulty with relatively few bullets and survival is the only priority. No harvest. And hey, if you aren't a moron hitting every other bullet, the last fairy even drops a whole bomb instead of a bomb fragment. And that's the extra stage. I finished it with 3 lives and no bombs, but I was extremely bad in my recorded run. Absolutely could have finished it with 4 lives, but you know, sometimes in Touhou you fuck up. That's what being challenged means. It's one of those extra stages where you can separate it into distinct quanta and know front to back how you're going to exploit or not exploit it. Like so you extra if the challenge actually felt fair. I wouldn't call this an outstanding super duper amazing extra like Subterranean Animism or Mystic Square, but I definitely put it on the lower end of S thanks to the 1-up bomb challenge for Dorami and the full bomb or bomb fragment challenge for the final fairy. So yeah, this bad boy gets an S. Alright, on to the home stretch, just 4 games left, and unfortunately Hidden Star in 4 Seasons is a mixed bag. Sometimes it mimics Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom while lacking the oppressive difficulty. In LOLK and HSIFs both, a greedy player will blow a thick load the moment they see a big bullet cluster. In LOLK you're eager to graze it, in HSIFs you're eager to release upon it, and you'll want to make some efficient releases this game. It's the difference between earning that 100k 1-up or not. And unlike MOF's fuck you you're losing faith now mechanics, a good release permanently increases your point value, making the difference between a good run and a bad run very clear and not undone by an unnecessarily quiet moment. I overall like HSIFs, but the stages aren't always on the ball in terms of using its mechanics in a fun way. Anyway, you've all been stuck here for God knows how many hours. I won't keep you any longer than I have to. Stage 1 is pretty good, certainly keeps a player on their toes for a stage 1. You're not going to be releasing much here as there's not many bullets, but makes up for that by flinging enemies at you. It starts with the usual resource farm, giving you an option if you play your cards right. Then it throws in some tanky medium fairies, then spams more resource farm fairies to get in the way. It's manageable with shots that can choose where they're shooting at, like Marissa, who is free to prioritise the bigger fairies, but Reimu can have a hilariously hard time with this innocuous ass wave because her homing shots get so distracted. It's simultaneously generous and wasteful. Focus shots can't pick up everything, unfocused shots can't can't shoot down priority targets. It's quite interested in demonstrating the different shots' weaknesses and strengths early. Then there's the Eternity Lava mid-boss, and oh, she's already dead. Yeah, if you've saved your release for her, she won't even get to shoot twice, and her first shot will be harvested by your release. Sorry Eternity Lava, you are wrecked by your game's mechanics. After harvesting the freest set of flame ghosts ever, you should have 3 options. If you aren't a pussy like past me, you can even release on those yellow cluster shooting big fairies, one of the few harvestable fairies in the stage. After that, it's the most iconic set piece in the stage in my opinion. Zun pits and jazz piano kick into high gear as yin yang wheels flood the screen from the right, occasionally shooting at you, while the odd medium fairy shoots more threatening lines of bullets at you at the left. You'll want to treat the fairies as high value targets while cleaning up yin yang wheels between them, auto-collecting whenever you have a moment to breathe. Hey, that's something, right? A stage 1 set piece where you're engaged and a breather is something you eke out, rather than expect. Finally, more cluster fairies to exploit. What are you doing past me? Release on them! Anyway, that's everything for this stage, and if it wasn't for the mid-boss being a complete nothing burger who can be erased in a second, this would be an S. Instead, because of poor Eternity Lava dragging it down, I have to give it an A. Now on to stage 2 and wait, I see what this is. This is a shitty, easier, more annoying version of LOLK stage 2. No seriously, once you start seeing the similarities, it's impossible to ignore. Starts with hard to exploit boring vertical shooters? Check. A follow-up with paired medium fairies shooting mid hard to exploit vaguely clustered attacks? Check. Mirrored flame ghosts that drift around and shoot you without even having death shots for flavour? Check. Actually exploitable larger fairies interspersed between these? Check. I guess those purple twister fairies are new, but they're also, dead in 2 seconds. The worst threat in this stage is accidentally running into a slow bullet, being brutally honest. After that are more mini clusters, verti-shooters, boring ghosts. It's not even a glorified resource farm as there's only one decent release spot. It's just a boring slog that feels full on copied from the previous game. Doesn't help that the music isn't one of Zun's greats. I don't even remember its name as I've never felt the need to look it up. Then there's a mid-boss finale. Nemino, why are you trying to pull a Mistia? You don't even have a fucking spell, you're just doing your jank-ass streamy non-spells that only kill me when my brain switches off from sheer boredom. I mean, you could use her for a release harvest, but her boss non-spells are way better for that shit. Maybe the vibes are off, maybe I'm biased, but this level feels so meh compared to the rest of the game. It's not, oh god, the background and bullets are merging together bad, but I'm still putting it as high D. Worry not, however, stage 3 doesn't just do its own thing, it does it with style. I'd never have considered spring a haunting season. I reserve such terms for autumn, when my hometown becomes silent fucking hill, or winter, when snow brings everything to a pristine white standstill. But here, Zun sells the idea of spring as melancholic, beautiful and contemplated from the background and music alone. Dark blue contrasts with falling pink petals, steadily reddening into a lovely fuchsia, all while a resource farm that can fight back introduces you to the level. Then come the iconic enemies of the level. Big fairies which shoot large balls, grow up, that trail stationary bullets behind them. These stationary bullets eventually accelerate along the defined path, acting as a lingering defense against auto-collection, which given a lot of the resource farms that show up amidst the acceleration, definitely seems to be the point. They're also quite the exploitable bunch, especially for wider release options like spring. Then come a bunch of fade-in yin-yang wheels, which while atmospheric are basically free point and season item farms. Sure, they technically shoot at you, but there's no real way for these things to pose a threat, as they all cluster together and die at once. After that, another armed resource farm, this time with aimed trails, which can lead to a difficult situation if you move too erratically. Also, they keep shooting as they descend, so if you leave one alive, prepare to dodge at fucky angles. From there, some bullet rain fairies that appear increasingly quickly. Shots with limited range can actually be overwhelmed enough to release or god forbid bomb here. Then, man, I fucking love Lily White. I'm always happy to see her. She's so confused, bumbling around wondering why spring is here again when it just ended. Confused or not, she's still a damn good herald, and is the first good mid-boss of H-Sifs. She even drops a 1-up, which reminds me, goddamn is H-Sifs generous. A regular ass player shouldn't be losing lives until stage 4, but if you've been releasing well, you should be close to maxing out your lives by the end of stage 3. The reward for beating Lily early is more of those exploitable yin-yang wheels, as Zun knows they're the easiest wave in the stage. Then in come 4 iconic ball trail fairies, grow up, to be exploited once again. After that, a disappointing resource farm full of flame ghosts that's easier than the earlier fairy versions. While it fumbles a few places, its perfect atmosphere, funny and cute mid-boss and general step in the fuck up compared to stage 2 puts this at a solid S. On to stage 4. Honestly, it starts out strong, combining vertical zoning with aimed shots, really sells the difficulty spike without any bullshit, and often leads to my first panic bomb of any given run. And the pain and panic only continues, especially if you aren't using a spread or homing shot, Marissa, as the next wave is a brutal stream sesh with enemies that shoot as they descend. While I played suboptimally, this wave claimed 2 bombs from me in recording, which is, yeah. Stage 4 is definitely the "you're spending resources now, bucko" stage. Really feels like you're flying through a blizzard. Next is the slow, descending spread and flood sort of wave, which is manageable even if locked down, but naturally is easier with spread shots. Still made past me panic bomb. Anyway, in comes Mai, who does her side of her non-spells with Satono. It's an interesting pattern, somewhat exploitable while not being a complete joke like Eternity Lava, nor a snooze fest like Nemino. Hold on, are those harder versions of LoLK Stage 2's cluster shooters? What is your fascination with LoLK Stage 2? It doesn't matter. They're fairly fun, on the cusp of do I dodge your panic bomb in terms of challenge. Then these fuckers, these motherfuckers. Here's the dealio. These drifting fairies and the crisscross zonescape they form, that's cool, but they're just too tanky. Narrow shots like Marissa need to move along with them, which is tough while being zoned in. Cool, that should be her challenge, but even if she stays under them, they take forever to die. Meanwhile, a spread shot and definitely Reimu can hit them consistently and prioritise dodging, but if Marissa can't kill them while staying under them, how the fuck is a weak shot like Reimu supposed to kill him? So yeah, these things are practically a survival wave and not a fun one. After that is a new take on the verti-zoning spread shot and aim shot combo, emerging from the fog in a cool way. Feels much fairer than the last wave, and any bombs or deaths feel like they're my fault. And that's it, done. I like the stark contrast between how narrow and wide shots have to approach this stage. I like Mai, I like the brutal difficulty, but that one tanky fairy bit drags the whole experience down. In a sea of amazing stage 4s, this one falls short. B. Stage 5, as though to show stage 4 up, starts with yin yang wheels which shoot simple stream shots, until you shoot them down, at which point they explode into a dense blue bullet spread. Immediately it flips the script from an assault that's happening to you, like stage 4, to an assault that you dictate the pace of, depending on how fast you want your resources. It's risk versus reward done very well, and that's just the first wave. The second wave is more of this, increased to an oppressive level that can actually push you into the corner. After that are these weird fall curve ghosts, which are a real threat if you let them be. The trick is to kill a few early, then use the fact that they never got to shoot a full curve's worth of bullets to make an opening and just slip through the top. Then come laser spamming yin yang wheels imported straight from DDC Extra. Kill them quick and you're golden, kill them slow and you'll be overwhelmed. In a similar vein, the pre-mid boss wave is a bunch of spread shooting ghosts which flood the screen if left to their own devices, but are manageable if you move quickly or wield a spread shot. The challenge here feels much fairer than stage 4. Your fate feels much more in your hands. It rewards proactivity in a way stage 4 just doesn't. Anyway, Satono. Her non-spell is genuinely batshit. Mai is weird, but you can make sense of her fast enough. Satono? She's fucking spiraling you towards her. It's genuinely wacky and fun. Batshit very memorable, pretty much always forces a release or bomb out of me. Fuck it, in this run I released and I still died. Anyway, it's followed up by laser orbs, this time with scattered trajectory instead of predictable spirals, a side grade sort of wave. The rain scatter fairies from stage 3 come back, tankier and more threatening than ever, heavily punishing players that can't shoot them down in time. Finally, as the background music climaxes, the exploding wheels return, now with golden, faster explosions, very exploitable yet very capable of inducing panic bombs. It all depends on a player's skill and state of mind. Overall, stage 5 does everything stage 4 does but better. There's still a hefty amount of challenge, but it feels fair, dependent on player choice, downright honourable. It helps that the music's great and the backdoor realm is delightfully surreal. We're looking at a low S for this bad boy. You know, stage 6 is a bit of a coin toss. Sometimes it feels like free yin yang wheel resource farms, sometimes it can force out a panic bomb after I get overconfident. Its first wave embodies that, scattershot yin yang wheels which explode into further scatters on death. Sometimes it backfires, sometimes it's fine. After the epic title drop, the easier versions of the same wave without the death effect happen? Okay. And to cap everything off, here's the 5 slow drift tanky fairies. They put out slow, dense spread attacks and drift sideways over time, away from where the next will spawn. When possible, you should release to clear, exploit the bullets and kill them faster. If 2 end up on the screen at once, you've fucked it and you'll likely have to bomb. And that's it. It's never going to be as brain dead as Soyuz Stage 5, the premier nothing burger final stage, but it definitely feels simplistic. You can still get a bomb out of you if you're careless, so it's definitely not D or C tier disappointing, so I'll give it a low B. And finally, H-Sif's Extra. Oh, how could I be so rude? I meant to use its preferred name, the Revenging Stage. Anyway, it's remarkably simple despite its overt and fun gimmick. The gimmick, naturally, is tied to the EX subshot, which shoots backwards. That means attacks from below and enemies from below. Despite this, I consider it one of the easiest Extra stages to traverse, despite routinely shitting the bed against Extra Okina herself. Unlike Ten Desires Extra, it doesn't feel disappointing, rather it feels like a culmination of the game's thematic elements. I'm getting ahead of myself. It starts with the freest Extra stream fairies in the world, before turning around and proving it can fuck hard by filling the screen with scatter shots. It's at this point a smart player would remember, hey, releasing with the extra subshot only uses one option at a time and it auto-collects, meaning this is a highly exploitable wave despite its intimidating aura. We then get some paired spread shooters, nothing we ain't seen before, then fading yin-yang wheels starting easy before subtly dialing the crisscrossing up until, at least in my run, I fucking panic bombed. Then come the mid-bosses Mai and Satono, and much like the Sukimos, I like this shit. They're a really fun opportunity to exploit your new EX subshots, especially as Reimu. Drum Dance Powerful Cheers encourages you to balance shooting down yin-yang wheels before they explode against the bottom of the screen with shooting one of the dancers, holding out until you can release on their face. Grow up. Crazy Backup Dance has you shooting bottom spawning yin-yang wheels. Once again, the general rule is to clear them out intermittently while focusing on a dancer. Or you could just bomb. Then comes Two-Eyed Typhoon, which is the non-spells combined. It's harder than it sounds. Capturing is very much possible, and perfect extra runs make it look fucking easy, but I assure you, it's fucky and rough. I'd say this is ideal extra mid-boss difficulty, and they generously give a bomb and a life on their way out. From there, some of the easiest falling strike bullshit ever, basically free resources and release harvesting. Then come my favourite waves in the stage, the upside down waves. First, some drifting fairies you need to aim your EX shots at to kill quickly. If you don't kill them quickly, they'll flood the screen from an angle most players won't adapt easily to. After that is the most harvestable shit ever. Think LOLK Stage 5 laser fairies, except you have a one option stream reset tool that converts lasers into ridiculous amounts of point modifiers. Yes, it's upside down, but this is pure exploitation. Finally, circles of yin-yang wheels to mirror extra Okana's spells. Like her, they force you into the middle, waiting to either weave outwards or time a release. If you stay at the edge, you will die. You need to be in the middle to play this game at all. And like that, we're done. The less said about this recording's Okana run, the better. At any rate, the fun gimmicks and foreshadowing in the later waves make up for all the free as fuck ones. I'd call this a challenging but manageable revenging stage. I wouldn't put it up with the greats, but yeah, it's good. A. Here we are at the anti-penultimate, yes that is a word, game, seeing as UDoALG is another goddamn versus type affair. If I were to summarise this game's design philosophy, it'd be shoot enemies down with prejudice before they shoot you down. If you leave enemies to survive in WoBouk, you will get swamped, and if you're swamped you can kiss ideal roaring modes goodbye. You have no choice but to attack and attack fast, and then in the space eked out by your swift kills, collect tokens to enter a roaring mode that'll make fast takedowns all the easier, either by making your attacks more effective, that is Wolf and Eagle, or by giving you the freedom to reposition as you please, that is the Otter. However, I think the game takes a while to get going with this philosophy. I love Kutuka fried chicken as much as the next person, but early WoBouk is a bit of a slog compared to the later levels. Anyway, let's go. Stage 1 starts with, yep, your usual sitting duck resource farm. Remember when LOLK fucked hard enough to let the first stage 1 wave shoot at you even on normal? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Look, that meme doesn't make sense in Britain, we never had that brand. Anyway, yeah, fairly boring, standard stuff. It also introduces you to 2 animal spirit tokens. First Wolf starter, then Eagle starter. But as WoBouk tokens are always switchers unless you've just died or are at the end of Keiki, there aren't complex token management decisions like UFO. 9 times out of 10, your goal will be to get a roaring mode with at least 3 of your matching animal spirit because that roaring mode goes on for longer. I think it's more fun than UFO and makes you feel more in control, but oh yeah, we're supposed to be talking about stage 1. Ghosts show up spewing less bullets than fucking Tender's eyes with that high up spirit collectible swad risk. 2 of the least threatening medium fairies in the world show up, more ghosts and actually threatening somewhat HVT style big fairy appears, at which point you can roaring mode through the more unthreatening medium fairies and ghosts. The slow sleepy music doesn't help too. It's atmospheric but soporific. More sitting ducks, then in comes mid-boss Acre. If you are early on the roaring mode, you'll be lucky enough to be out of it by the time she arrives. Why is that lucky? Well, the way to get her bonus jellyfish is actually fairly clever. You need to defeat Acre while leaving the spirit she summons alive, something I failed in this recording, but failure is guaranteed if you're roaring when she shows up, Otto notwithstanding. It's a small redeeming feature. At least after Acre pops, the following resource forms actually show up to work, shooting if you leave them be, and the last 3 curvy bullet fairies could be a threat if you haven't figured out that picking up tokens quickly is kind of a big deal. While I suppose one could argue this stage's ridiculous easiness allows for the player to figure out how tokens work and shit, which is more of an excuse than EOSD Stage 1 has. I still can't put this higher than a C. Acre's jellyfish condition makes it a high C, but it's still a C. Stage 2 picks up a little, starting with Flame Ghost who shoots trails of aimed bullets. There's a lot of aimed streaming in WDoALG, so this is something you'll have to get used to, and the solution is always to kill the source quickly. If you're playing an eagle shot, not you'll be thankful for your unfocused shots. Then come big furries which do something interesting but not challenging. They summon 4 spirit flames that drift away from them while dropping purple bullets. Cool in theory, instantly dead in practice, leaving the summoners as sitting ducks. After that, more active ducks in the form of slow shooting resource farm fairies. The bullet slowness can actually take a heedless player off guard when they accidentally run into them. Finally, we get some actual threats. Big spiral cluster shooting fairies flanked by aimed trail ghosts. You'll want to prioritise the big fairies and clean up the rest. A few slow aim fairies later and one to mid-boss Urumi. Immediately I'll say the cow spirit is such a good challenge. Her crisscrossy weird non-spells leave a big fuck off safe spot right in front of her, only guarded by her slow aimed stone bullets. So braving that proximity, pulling an icicle fall easy, it's a fun way to get the bonus spirit. From here the level actually gets challenging for a stage 2, starting with the classic scatter stream combo, then a weird fairy with big bullets that spawn little bullets, interspersed with aimed stream flame ghosts. Finally a slightly faster aimed stream resource fest. This is on the slow to pick up side, but it's got decent difficulty for a stage 2 post mid boss. I wouldn't call it a super duper lives in my head rent free sort of stage 2, but it's high B for sure. Now it's time for WDoALG stage 3, or how I learned to stop worrying and get seriously bored of streaming. Because yeah, this is one big Groundhog Day loop of, oh no, things are shooting at me and spawning at both sides. I suppose I will have to move quickly to one side, edge towards the middle, then reset the stream again. This is not an exaggeration, most of the waves are just this. First wave, drifting ghosts shooting stream trails. Next wave, fairies that shoot streamable cones if they somehow survive, along with stream trail ghosts. Next wave, aimed cone fairies that actually get to fucking shoot because they're not packed in the middle, and oh, more stream trail ghosts. Next wave, big stream cone fairies. For some reason past me bombed here, maybe because he wanted to collect tokens. Next wave, you guessed it, more stream trail ghosts. Next wave, oh my god, actual scattering is like water in a fucking desert. As though to prolong my respite, the cock descends from the heavens with attacks that in no way fit the level. Given how many levels foreshadow the boss's attacks, all the streaming makes this level even more insulting. I also don't like mid-boss Kutika's chick spirit bonus condition. How is a non-otter spirit player supposed to know the conditions? Eika and Urumi have attack styles that hint at the nature of their bonus spirit conditions, but here, if you're playing an otter shot you'll accidentally come across it, otherwise you'll have to change your gameplay style out of nowhere for no reason. Anyway, after a decent mid-boss with better attacks than her entire stage, it's right back to more big aimed cone fairies, then more stream trail ghosts, then actually different scatter shooters, more fucking cone streamers, more stream trail ghosts, then actually interesting small bullet spawning big bullet shooters from stage 2. 3 of them at once, and that's where it ends? So yeah, this stage is mostly copy-pasted stream attackers, and the only things of note are the bullshit bonus mid-boss spirit and tokens being hard to manage while you're perma-streaming. Honestly, the only reason I bomb on this level is impatience regarding token collection. It really is a nothing burger, especially by stage 3 standards. C. But don't worry, now that stage 3 is over we can get to the good stages. First off, stage 4's music fits the level's chaos like a glove and is the sort of tune that gets me thinking in AMVs. On to the gameplay. We start with trail stream ghosts shooting quickly enough that swift dispatching is a necessity. This is the running theme of every stage from here on. Case in point, the next wave, a swarm of yin-yang wheels drifting from the right that flood the screen with purple bullets. You have to stick to the right because letting these things survive more than a second is basically saying to the game, yes, I am going to be your bitch and I am going to bomb unnecessarily. There's no cooldown period to collect tokens before the next wave happens. Big spread and stream fairies steadily appear further and further from each other, accompanied by stream trail ghosts. This is how you incorporate stream trailers, by making them accessories to bigger threats. The gravy, not the full meal. There's a brief break and build up towards the playful piano ditty section, accompanied by Yin Yang Flooders round 2, this time drifting from the left. Once again, hug the left, take tokens when you can but don't go out of your way for them. Killing the wheels early is your priority, until oh shit they're coming from the right too with streamer ghosts backing them up. It's utter chaos and eagle shots, not you, really feel the benefits this stage because reliable homing damage and piercing lasers work wonders on these crowds. It's highly tempting to bomb for token collection here. The musical ensemble returns and crisscross fairies appear appear, then another round of kill this thing fast comes up, this time circle shot flame ghosts on both sides. This can lock a player down and make token collection rough, which is exactly what a stage 4 should be doing. The Zun Pits build, the spirits pop up faster and faster until BAM! Zun Pit climax. And here's our favourite G Diao Karen, Yachie. She offers to show you the way, then fills the screen with bullets. While I'm inconsistent at getting it, I love her turtle spirit's condition. You need to defeat her right after doing lots of grazes at once. It fits her dense non-spell patterns perfectly, 10 out of 10, very appropriate. The music refuses to let up, there's more circle spirits, more spread stream fairies, more stream trail spirits, and more crisscrossers in one last chaotic dash for the end. This stage feels like hell. It's aggressive, chaotic, and the one person offering to show you the way immediately shoots the shit out of you. And the music provides some of the best Mickey Mousing in the series. I fucking love this stage 4. I was very tempted to put this at peak. Instead it gets a very high S. On to stage 5 and the bass train keeps going. I told you about was slow to start but eventually becomes amazing. It starts with a simple streamfest consistent with the game thus far. The enemies are spread out, their bullets are slow and aimed. However, this is just a warm-up routine for the coming patterns, stream based and otherwise. For one, the streamers don't stop before a big fairy introduces itself in the centre, filling the screen with bullets. It's better to prioritise the centre despite the streamers coming from the edges, forcing you to let some live and deal with the bullets. Heck, this wave wrecked past me. From there, some fast-paced aim cone fairies, medium spiral shot fairies you must kill quickly or not at all, then a horde of purple circle shooters. For a stage with such downbeat music, it refuses to let up, kinda like MS Stage 5. You'll find yourself bombing or taking suboptimal token combos by this point, and that's good. At this point the game should be testing you and forcing you to spend resources, and if you have been desperate enough to run into animal spirits willy-nilly, you've just missed out on Miami's Haniwa spirit, which requires you to beat mid-boss Miami with 4 spirit tokens on screen. I don't know how to feel about that. It isn't as out of left field as Kutaka's, but it's not as fitting as Eike Urami's and Yachi's. Still, mid-boss Miami is very good and foreshadows her overlapping arrow spiral non-spells well. The last 2 waves are aggressive foreshadowing of Miami's Haniwa spells, paired sets of slow-marching bullet spews coming from the top. The first do extra mode style aggressive kunai streams, the second are paired spiral attackers that need one half killed ASAP, but keep appearing further and further away. After likely bombing through the farther pairs, you're home free. God damn, what a lovely stage. It manages to use paired enemies and streaming without it getting old like stage 3. One of the better stage 5s in the series, good enough that I'm throwing it an S. For stage 6, I'll admit I just let the music get the better of me. DDC, Lolke and Wabauk's introduce the final boss motif in the final stage thing just sits right with me, and always makes me want to cut the level some slack. There's more than just good music here, however. The gameplay is pretty good for a typical resource-flinging stage 6. It starts with generous yin-yang wheels that spread out from the centre. The longer they live, the harder to squash them all at once. Once again, Wabauk expects you to shoot everything down before they shoot you. It's a nice reflection of the survival of the fittest story theme. After a title card break, 3 yin-yang clusters appear, and you'd best get roaring mode because otherwise they'll annoy the hell out of you. May even force you to waste your bomb before you can use it to get the horse spirit. Because yeah, that's what stage 6 Miami's bonus spirit condition is, bombing as you defeat her. Kinda disappointing. Oh well. Hilariously on my run I was so good at preserving my roaring mode that I didn't even get the chance to bomb on her. Anyway, more yin yang clusters, enough to force a bomb from me, followed by the Animal Spirit Orgy TM. Ghosts come in from all angles, threatening to wriggle, kick or slowly shoot you, and your priority is to hit roaring mode and massacre them for those sweet points. They also drop tons of animal spirits, allowing you to prolong this massacre. It's not much in terms of difficulty, but it's memorable and evokes the classic stage 6 resource scramble. At least there's wriggle kick risk. While it's not super challenging, it is still enough to claim bombs and is dripping with melancholic techie atmosphere. By final stage standards, it's darn good. A. As for Bauk Extra, honestly it's disappointing given it precedes Saki Korakoma, strength obsessed head of the Kiga clan. It starts with perhaps the slowest paced, least threatening rendition of the 2-side streaming extra stage resource farm, especially not helped by the fact that, like every extra from TD through H sifs, you already start with full power, so there's not even a rationale to start out so gentle. EOSD Extra looks at this opener thinking, wow, I was prepared to bitch slap a 0 power PC98 cosplayer, why pull punches against this overpowered monster? To add complement to gifting, a term I made up just now, they also drop 5 tokens, allowing you to wreck the subsequent stage 4 drift spread reprise. It's actually a fairly threatening layup without roaring mode, and if you get hit you will be fucked for animal spirits later. On top of the drifting spread yin yang wheels, you have a brutal take on the spread stream big furries from before. Okay, I see you about Extra, you're kicking things up a notch, and heck, in this recording I did fuck up and lose my roaring mode, which eventually led me to rage restart. What's better is, if you lose your roaring mode and get behind in shooting them down, the game won't stop and let you adjust to the next wave, a set of near vertical red triangle spirits. Killing just enough to eke a way through is the prime strat. If not, you will be overwhelmed and will rage restart. After that comes Angry Cock Time. She has a brutal trio of spell cards. Watershed of Blood is a harder version of Trial of Mikumari, capturable but often underestimated by my death-bombing ass. Hellrealm Sightline is like if Kurumi took steroids and often makes me waste roaring mode, but you know, I've captured it a few times. High-spirited Oniwatari meanwhile, I really like the challenge to get the chick spirit related to it. It's incredibly easy if you orbit Kutaka. Please ignore my bomb, god damn it, pass me, why are you so dog shit? But it's very hard if you want to stay under her. How do you get Kutaka's chicks? You capture the spell while staying under her. Perfection. Really fun bonus spirit challenge. After making the cock explode, you are swarmed by drifty spread yin-yang wheel from both sides. If you come out the other end unscathed, you face relatively easy crisscross big fairies. At this point, you'll likely have a roaring mode capable of blasting the next swarm of drifters, and if you're not fucking stupid, you'll complete the roaring mode with bonus tokens. Admittedly, you'll be locked down, so token collection will be tough unless you're a bomb-happy scrub like me. After that, it's all ogre. Given my recorded run was full of mistakes, unnecessary bombs and wasteful token collection, the fact I got through without losing a life is an indictment of the stage that precedes Miss Yeehaw Raw Strength. It's got the same problem as TD Extra, though Saki is nowhere near as hard as Mamizo. Still, Kutaka is a better mid-boss than TD Extra Nue, not to mention there are plenty of places where you can screw your future self over. Disappointing as it is, it's not the worst. I'll put it in B. Here we are, second to last section, Unconnected Marketeers, the capitalism game. I think I've mentioned before that this is one of my favourites in terms of gameplay. The item buying gimmick is so fun and renders each run slightly different, but also the stages are just consistently good. It's not got standout bangers rewriting my brain chemistry like PCB or LOLK, but to be fair it also lacks the nostalgia factor of PCB and the likes. At any rate, the best way to summarise UM's stages would be consistent, fair and challenging. The sheer variety of resources potentially in a player's hand means UM has a tough gig on its hand, and to its credit it sticks the landing in almost every stage. Let's get on with it, shall we? We start stage 1 with something other than the standard furry resource farm. Not only that, the fading yin-yang wheels actually shoot at you. I mean, they don't shoot much, but they could genuinely kill a greedy auto-collecting fucker. Maybe. It's still a step up from the usual sitting ducks. One thing I like about this stage 1 is that, like PCB and SA's stage 1s, there's stakes to the power collection. A big marker of, has this run started well, is, are you at 2 power before Michael the cat? Oh shit, I got sidetracked. The second wave pulls an HSIF stage 1. It's a resource farm with the twist that there's an HVT fairy shooting spread shots using the resource farm as a meat shield. Wave 3 is faster paced, paired aimed, a more exposed take on the HVT distraction fodder combo. For the first time in a decade, this is a stage 1 where you need to choose your auto collection times carefully. After that, a trio of big fairies to take out quickly. If you don't, they'll put out enough bullets to fuck over the true resource farm of the stage. A set of descending yin-yang wheels which drop more loot the quicker you shoot them. Harvesting these guys well is the difference between 1 power Mike and 2 power Mike. At 2 power, Michelangelo is a joke. At 1 power, she might actually get her second twisty circle out to make a somewhat threatening crisscross. It's the first time in a while stage 1 power collection feels consequential. Your reward for a fast Mike is more wave 1 style yin-yang wheels, followed by a genuinely threatening onslaught of paired aim shot fairies and another trio of big spread shot fairies. And you'd best collect what the big ones drop. There's 2 bomb fragments and a life fragment on the line. You can weave and stream or bravely attempt an auto collect to get them. God damn, there's a real decision making and stakes in a fucking stage 1. See, it can be done while keeping the difficulty reasonable. Doesn't quite match SA stage 1, but still well deserving of an S. On to stage 2. It keeps up the pace of being generally good, helped by the fact it comes with a lovely 3/4 waltzy music set to moody chords. Starts with an aggressive resource farm, charging towards the middle and shooting aimed shots. Then we're introduced to this level's theme, paired fairies that you need to swiftly half or suffer for it. Wave 2 starts with a spread cluster fairy in the centre, then a pair whose low positions present a threat, should they linger as a pair for too long. A bunch of drifty yin-yang wheels later and you should be at 3 power, just in time to kill a centred spread shooter, a close pair, and a far pair that drops lots of money. The latter pair is genuinely threatening, if only because the journey between them is perilous. The Zunpits hit, Takane appears, and she establishes her sharp swirl non-spells in a simple 1 spiral at a time sort of way. She'll only get off 1 round against a decent player, but it's fun enough. An early shoot down rewards you with, holy fuck, that's a lot of free drifty yin-yangs. Seems Zun is making sure you're at 4 power by the time you reach the real second half's waves. Unfortunately, only one's an actual threat, the last one, where 3 spread fairies fill the screen in concert with an aimed resource farm swarm. On a good run I don't bomb here, but it's challenging enough that I semi-regularly bomb just for safety. While fairly short and simple by stage 2 standards, this stage has its shit together in terms of gameplay, providing a little spicy challenge amidst standard stage 2 fare. Feels like it has no problems acknowledging that items can be OP as shit. While I won't be forever in love with it like PCB stage 2, nor whistling to the epic mid-boss drop like MS stage 2, nor bopping my head and swaying like MOF stage 2, this still deserves a high A. Stage 3 is similar to Stage 2 in that it's very cohesive gameplay wise. This stage knows what it is and does it well. What is it? A balance between big enemies with screen flooding spread attacks and small aggressive aimed shooters to stream. It's a duality that Sanyo herself embodies with her non-spells. Her smoke puffs seem like standard screen flooders, but if you dodge with your brain switched on, you'll decode the aimed elements of her patterns. Anyway, the stage itself. It begins with a piano riff that announces, "Hi, I'm the one Touhou song in a major key, enjoy!" It also announces, "There's cone streamers shooting from 2 sides, good fucking luck cleaning enemies up while managing this shit. And the streaming train don't stop for no one." Next are blue, fast out decelerating aimed streams, easily managed with stream resets. But if you got comfy, there's 2 big fairies on opposite sides of the screen who pump out big bullets. Killing them fast is a priority because otherwise you'll be moving too quickly to microstream in the next wave of fast aimed fairies. These ones are very interesting, resembling SA Extra streamers in that their bullets linger in a ring before re-aiming at you. This leads to a remarkable amount of spread and quasi-randomization that fucks with the typical microstream strategy. I mean damn, it backed recording me into a corner to the point that I had to bomb. This is the sort of stream heavy stage I can respect, unlike you about stage 3, whose only challenge came from Kutaka and token collection. Where were we? Oh right, the good stage 3. Sanyo comes in and smonks the dank Kush, whose bullets look like they've unfolded into a crisscrossy spread, but as mentioned before, there's underlying aiming. Specifically, there's set overlaps and safe spots based on where you were when she first puffed her blunt. But like Mike the Cat, not that one, and Takane, she's gonna get 1 round of attacks in against a decent player. But if you panic and overdodge, you may end up swamped, which is 100% what I expect of stage 3 difficulty. Next are some super free yin yang wheels, followed by big spread fairy wave 1. Starts in the centre, then the right, then the left, then another central one happens. Once again, real decisions need to be made to pull off collections and shoot downs, as these fairies drop bomb fragments. Their patterns are dense enough that auto collection isn't an option, but staying to collect the right fairies drop leaves the left fairy to shoot more. The next fairy being central honestly feels like unearned respite. From there is what I'll call spread shooters paradise, where squishies come in from either side, scattering medium-sized green bullets. Spread shooters will kill both sides quick enough to have an easy time. Focus shooters will have to get their micro-dodging hats on. To cap things off, one last tanky spread shooter whose bullets are fast enough to induce panic. Leave her alive long enough and she could be a threat. Hold your ground in the centre however, and you'll enjoy a life fragment. This level doesn't insist upon itself. I don't actively reminisce about it like EOSD Stage 3, but whenever I play it I think, hey, this stage fucks incredibly hard and I like it a lot. Definitely worthy of an S. Stage 4 meanwhile, it's a stage 4 in a game that I've already said keeps things consistent. You'll know this shit's ranking well. Starts with downward drift yin yang ghosts, but this time they're threatening, scattering red bullets everywhere and increasing their threat the longer they live and the closer they get. If you bought spread shooting equipment or are a naturally wide shot, you'll be able to manage it. Otherwise, best get good at dodging or you'll be bombing early. And don't think the title card means you get to breathe. Not only is this place anoxic, but the next wave is a gauntlet of paired enemies. Once again, taking out one half quickly is key to not being overwhelmed. Right after, a big central fairy pops down to fill the screen with green crisscross bullets before it becomes a paired enemies deal. This shit almost always claims a bomb for me and it's so damn respectable difficulty wise, especially given that the paired ones are squishy enough to deal with quickly provided you get good and strike fast. Then we get some more yin-yang wheels swaying side to side, spawning delayed motion bullet rings. They're decently tanky and like most of this stage's waves, are considerably more threatening if you don't deal with them quickly. After that, oh my god, he's here! My most favouriteest non-humanoid mid-boss in the series, Jimbo the yin-yang wheel. Look at him go. He doesn't fuck around, he goes damn low. He can't be attacked, so you have to actually endure his attacks instead of instantly murdering him like the previous mid-bosses. Look, he even made me bomb twice, isn't he the best? I am Jimbo the Yin Yang Wheel's second biggest fanboy, matched only by Patier SDG, who deadass commented about him in one of my progress posts. Once Jimbo mercifully spares your life, there's more brutal paired spread and stream shooters, so quick to appear and shoot that you're almost certainly gonna get overwhelmed. Just try to hold off on panic bombing longer than my bitch ass. Another tanky crisscrosser later and one to an iconic yet manageable wave. Yin Yang wheels will dash in pairs towards a mid to low spot on either side. You'd best get your free shots in while you can. Once again to position, they fire an impossible to stream through chain of aimed bullets. If you end up having to orbit activate the wheels to survive, you've already lost and may as well bomb. Otherwise it's pretty chill, just requires a killer instinct. After that a trio crisscrosses, you can and should kill 2/3 off swiftly, leaving you to steadily weave and collect, then clean the last one up, earning 2 bomb fragments and a life fragment. No prizes for guessing what I think of this level. That's right, it's shit D. Nah, just joshing. Of course it's getting an S, what a fire stage 4. Stage 5 is... Alright, really fucking good. Yeah, is just a really good Touhou game, I don't know what to tell you. Starts with aggressive streaming, which in my recorded run punished my arrogance enough that I tried, as a Hail Mary, to do the all up, auto-collect and around deal. But I did it too late and got wriggle kicked by the start of wave 2, losing my first life of the run. Second wave is more aggro streaming, this time with mobile cluster shooters. While the first wave is best approached with controlled stream resets, this is very much a think fast, move instinctively sort of wave. Or you could bomb like a little bitch, past me. Next wave is one of my favourites, a tanky central fairy who floods the screen with circular zoning shots, flanked by slow aim shot yin-yang wheels. You need to treat the fairy as an HVT, otherwise it'll make dodging the wheel shots harder. After a couple HVT fairies, you're thrust into a quasi-homing bullet shooting golden fairy section, and this shit is so fun. You're drifting around, picking off fairies while misdirecting the homing, steadily growing cluster. Really awesome predecessor to the Sex Fox. Here she is, this bitch. Right on cue with that little Japanese flute thing. Shakuhachi, you stupid motherfucker. Always yonks a bomb from me unless I have Tenchi Keystone, Clown Piece Moon or Shinmyo Maru's Mallet, because that last crisscross is really friggin' hard. Trust the Orient-tier professional mid-boss to be really good at her job. From there, a swarm of drifty yin-yang wheels from the right, just sort of scattering in a way that'd be a threat if they survive, but no sane player would let them survive. Honestly, this part drags on too long for how easy it is, like I actually get bored of it by the end. But don't worry, the Zun pits have returned and we have purred, bottom spawning spirits that drift upwards, slowly filling the air with bullets, which is a fresh challenge akin to the weird homing bullet wave. Then there's good old paired spread shooters that you need to have quickly. You should be prepared for this shit at this point. Then another unique and fun wave. Strip shooting, drifting fairies whose shot cut-offs upon death are the only openings you'll get. Meanwhile the Zun pits are triumphant, making you feel like you're reaching the top of a glorious, familiar, snazily ran mountain. The sunset shifting to a starry night. The bullets are in fixed strips determined by the fairy's motion. It's such a simple yet iconic set piece. To top it off, one last starry spread shooter fairy drops a life fragment. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for that really boring wave that goes on forever right after Tsukasa, this would be peak stage 5. Even with that lodestone, it's still an S. This is a really fucking good stage with tons of iconic unique waves. Beautiful shit. On to stage 6, which is more atmosphere than gameplay, but to be fair it knocks the atmosphere out of the park. The main threats are fairies that shoot coloured clusters. Some shoot at you, some shoot spiraled clusters, and notably they appear from all sides of the screen, foreshadowing all the backwards bottom spawning attacks that Chimata has. Setting my fondness for lunar rainbows and atmospheric stage 6s aside, it's just drifty small fairies shooting clusters at you. Tsukasa, again, then big fairies shooting clusters in a spiral and dropping your last 3 fragment cards. Don't get me wrong, I sometimes die or bomb against the drifty fairies, but there's less to do with the stage being a stage and more to do with me being a normal Modo scrub. While it vaults over the likes of Soyu stage 5, it would be a lie to say that this isn't disappointing gameplay wise. Still, there's some management you have to do to account for the unusual spawn locations, but still looking at low to mid B. Worry not however, because Extra does not disappoint. First thing in its favour, Zun clearly saw me from the future, stunting on Wabauk Extra for letting you start with 4 power, and said, okay bitch, you think starting with 4 power on Extra is too easy? Fuck it, you have 3 items and 1 power to start, good fucking luck arsehole. I usually start this stage with the Tenchi Keystone because it breaks some waves and Tsukasa's non-spell over its knee, but in a fit of honour, for the recording I switched to the skill expressive Yuko Graze passive. This allows you, the audience, to laugh as I flounder through this respectably challenging Extra stage, but the fun starts before the first wave. The synth skittering resembles a centipede. That's so fucking cool. Anyway, we have a typical Extra stage Streamfest start, except now you don't have enough power to flatten them all, and you'll want to fit in autocollects despite how that fucks with streaming, because otherwise you won't be at 2 power by the end of the wave, and you'll want to be 2 power by then, trust me. Otherwise you'll fall behind on the scatter yin-yang wheels, where quick killing is survival, especially seeing as the green yin-yangs that charge in after give you 0 wait time. While they're forcing you upwards, you're now out of position for the next big spread fairy. Like damn Zun, I wasn't familiar with your game, that's a really fun way to punish a player for getting behind. Naturally, my mistakes forced a bomb out of me, which is the only reason why I was still in position for the purge spread fairies. Then come manageable yet brutal super stream yin yang runes on all sides. The bottom, the top, configurations that'll box you in if you're coming in from the wrong place at the wrong time, and especially if you've let them flood the screen. While I could have pulled off the weave, I ended up panic bombing here. After that, some disappointing spread fairies, let down by the purge coming from the centre and aside, when opposite sides would have been much more challenging. The trio at the end almost works, only for Tsukasa to clear their bullets and give a free auto-collect on arrival. And while Tsukasa absolutely earns her extra mid-boss stripes, you shouldn't need more than 2 bombs for her. Foxwinder fucks me up the same as the non-spells it's based on without the Tenshi Stone because I have sex foxophobia. Cylinder Fox is really simple yet fairly challenging. It's just bouncing lasers, very intimidating, the crisscross regions can trap you, but it's manageable once you learn not to panic, being one of my more consistent captures regardless of crutch items. Dance of Heavenly Foxes and Dragon Stars meanwhile is... yeah, the longer it goes on the more inevitable the bomb becomes. I ain't ever captured this, it's really fucking hard. Once she's blown up, don't stop to breathe. You have Flame Ghost with aimed clusters to deal with. Actually scratch that, do breathe, because while the bullets come out fast, they decelerate quickly, making it functionally a screen flooder if you panic and rush around, while being super manageable otherwise. Past me was stupid enough to die and bomb here, despite its objective simplicity, weird spawn positions of the ghosts aside. Then we deal with some standard kill this big furry quick fire, still enough to make me bomb because I'm a little bitch, before the finale. Ghosts spiralling in and shooting like we're in an Orin spell card or TD Stage 5. It even ends with files of them with bigger bullets like TD Stage 5's final thirds. Man, how did I die again? No prizes for guessing whether I beat Momoyo in this run, am I right? Maidenless gameplay aside, this is a really fair extra stage in terms of challenge. Everything feels like there's a simple yet challenging solution, while being unforgiving to players that fuck up. It's not the biggest, most beautiful extra stage in the world, but it's a very high A, verging on S. And here we are, the last fucking game in this novel-length video. I am never leaving my next Touhou video up to a poll again. I owe all of you an apology ahead of time for the dogshit gameplay. When I recorded this I'd only 1cc'd like 2 shots, one being the ludicrously OP Reimu Green 1, and as replays don't fucking work in Touhou 20, I had to record with a shot I could consistently beat the game with. Cue Reimu Green 1. Yes, I'm a heathen, yes I'm a scrub. Nowadays I've beaten the majority of the shots on normal, but there's a lot of games I like to play. I can't spend every waking moment practicing Fossilized Wonders. Anyway, enough preamble. I am sick to death of this script and want it to be, in the eternal words of Shrek is love, Shrek is life, all ogre now. Okay, FW Stage 1. This is a surprisingly challenging stage, especially if, like me, you're a stingy bastard with your earned stones and go with the standard underpowered default sets. See, without significant damage modifiers, this stage's enemies are tanky for where they are in the game, especially given you start with a low power. Even the standard sitting duck resource farms take a good few bullets to pop. The later variants take advantage of this by being mobile and shielding each other. It's not a threat per se, but it does lead to some getting away, denying the player resources. I'd like to say this establishes that the player will have to work for their resources, but we all know that's bullshit come the mid-game, especially playing as a Reimu McEagleface. The next wave meanwhile is actually brain engaging, which for a stage 1 is always a plus. You get tanky spread shooters mixed with loose cone streamers and maybe a Wonderstone thrown in the mix. You have to make a choice, prioritise one half or the other because taking the middle ground will lead to a surprising amount of bullet coverage for, stage 1. And if you're struggling with the tankiness, it gets worse as a big fairy appears without downtime to scatter purple shots around. It's not unmanageable, but it is hardcore for normal stage 1. Honestly, it's closer to stage 2 light. I respect the shift, it's pretty good. Resource farms flit amidst this from top to bottom and goddamn, for a stage 1 this really makes you earn your power. A few big fairies and maybe a Wonderstone later and you should be at 2 power, but the truest chads can make it to 3, and that's just in time for Obame who just uses the stripped down version of her non-spells. What's cute is that if you let her live long enough, the fairies following her mid-boss will arrive during it. It's just neat and foreshadows her silly fairy eating attack. After those we have decently tanky fairies shooting aimed lines that can crisscross and fuck you if you aren't careful, and it's all topped off with another big spread fairy and a resource farm. My bitch ass still ended up with 3.42 power because this was a dogshit run. For a stage 1 there's a lot to think about, and it actually feels like you're making worthwhile decisions, which is always good in a stage 1, given they often feel like an autopilot sort of deal, especially on normal. A strong start to a strong game, low S. FW Stage 2. This one almost threatened to dethrone PCB Stage 2 as peak Stage 2, so yeah, it's good. Very good. No prizes for guessing what I'm ranking it. If the music is an earworm that always gets me humming, and it starts with a twist on an old classic. Drifting aim shooting yin-yang wheels, but coming from the mid to low sides. Better still, there's no shot delay. The attack isn't dense, but it will keep you engaged. And engaging is the word I'd most associate with this stage. Even in quiet moments, I'm still moving side to side in time with the melody. After the title card, more yin-yang wheels appear, a little higher up but scattering more bullets, a side grade for build-up purposes. After an admittedly super free resource farm, as in freer than anything in stage 1, you get paired super cone fairies, one of which is guaranteed to get some bullets down. Then, one of my favourite set pieces in the game, organised ranks of yin-yang wheels, shooting in concert from varied angles, forcing a player to sort of sway to shoot them all down. And better yet, there's almost certainly going to be a Wonderstone along with this, adding a twist to the challenging yet fair wave. It's not blowing anyone's minds, but I think it's neat. Just as you get into its groove, Chimmy comes in like, it's time for mid-boss foo, and I really like Chimmy's non-spells, so it's no surprise that I like her mid-boss. She's just tanky enough to make her slow to reach attacks threatening, but still feels very appropriately stage 2. This is also when the MIDI guitar enters, remaining a fixture of the music from here on, which is great because after mid-boss Chimmy in a yin-yang wheel resource farm, it starts doing its own thing, having a little emotional solo while a big fairy or three crash the party, doing smaller, faster and yellower versions of the super cone fairies from before. And look, this is perfectly balanced for stage 2, I just bombed because I realised as Reimu Green 1 I'd maxed out my bombs, and it seemed like a good point to get a free auto-collect. Anyway, then there's more side on yin-yang wheels, more bullets scattering than ever, while the musical back and forth MIDI guitar solo comes to a crescendo, dodging actually gets fucking tight, and that's the end of the stage. God damn, what a fun stage. There's only one wave that's a letdown and the music is fucking gas. So yeah, this one's a big favourite. S. Here we are on FW Stage 3, which might be the last disappointing stage in the series. There's a decent amount to like, but also a lot of annoying sections where the difficulty doesn't feel fun, just irritating. Let's get into it. It starts with a neat little wave, 4 bullet fairies which descend across the length of the screen. If you let any survive, they will mark a whole vertical section of the screen off limits, which can force you to choose between clearing the screen then and there, or saving a Wonderstone screen clear for a later time. So far, so good. After that you have a wave of big spirit summoning fairies. The fairies shoot circles, the spirits shoot spiraled bullet clusters. What's interesting is that this wave is measured in time and there will only be one fairy on the screen at a time, but when one dies another replaces it. What this means is that the quicker you shoot fairies down, the more you face, and thus the more incident stone fragments you harvest. Very nice, very skill expressive. Oh, I also bombed again because I had too many bombs. Fucking hell, Reimu Green 1, why are you like this? Anyway, the level proceeds to copy Stage 2's homework using the same green yin-yang wheels from the lower half trick. Thankfully it kicks things up a notch with blue yin-yang wheels which seed slow to accelerate bullet circles, which, I mean, a Wonderstone will clear that shit immediately. Then the Zun Pits kick off, ready for a mid-boss, and that's not a mid-boss, that's just a tanky and mobile version of the spirit summoning big fairies from before. The Zun Pits promise me a mid-boss, it's the perfect point. Throw in Naruko if you want to keep her anchor core design a secret. I don't know, throw in Chimmy, maybe a totally not granddaughter Noe in orb form. Fuck it, make Mima the mid-boss to explain why she's been absent for all these games, but to have nothing when the music is begging for it? Come on, man. Most mid-bossless levels I understand the rationale for, but here, it's a missed opportunity, man, it's a missed opportunity. Fuck it, there's even bonus circle drop waves if you defeated it early or vented your bomb supply on it like I did. It's just like a mid-boss. And now for my least favourite recurrent enemy type in FW. I like the tetrahedrons and octahedrons, I like the colourful fairies in Stage 5, I like Kevin the Wonderstone, but these fucking drifting, edge-exploding spirits are the worst. I get what someone's going for, a new take on the exploding spirits from LOLK Stage 2, only now you have to defeat them quickly because if they drift into the edge, they'll explode, often with denser bullets than if they were shot down. I understand the vision, but they're too numerous and too tanky. Even an overpowered spread shot like Reimu Green is having trouble cleaning them up in time, so imagine how an actually challenging shot where pressing X to win isn't an option feels. You've watched this entire video up to this point, you know I like challenging my Touhou games, but when a spirit you swore you'd killed drifts into the bottom of the screen and blindsides you, it doesn't feel like a fun fair challenge, it feels like bullshit. Worse still, this unlikable fucking enemy is the rest of the fucking level until the big final fairy, which will give you nothing if you die or bomb through it, but will give you a whole ass bomb if you didn't. And like the not mid boss, you get bonus enemies if you defeat it early. Such a fucking shame. I like the music and there's a lot to love, but the lack of mid boss and irritating splurdy spirits drag the whole experience down for me. me. I'm sorry Naruko, your stage gets the last C of the ranking. Thankfully, the following stage fucks hard. Let's start with what I deem stage 4's coolest feature. These cute little tetrahedrons that change depending on the story shot you're playing as. The yin yang wheels are just recolours, but these little guys, they're great. The first set do different things when they die. Red has a straight down vertical zoning stream of bullets, blue explodes into bullet lines, yellow leaves a spread cone of bullets, and green gives a randomised scatter. This alone gives the level character, so much that I literally overlooked the standard ass spread shot yin yang wheels preceding them. But yeah, these tetrahedrons reflect their respective wonderstones, and I think that's neat. In addition, the risk of leaving them alive is high, as they scatter out slow, lockdowny bullets that will bat you in the ass when you aren't pressing X to win. God damn it, past me. Unfortunately, the enemy diversity thins out from here, becoming recolour tier as the octahedron wave is just purple spiral shooters that glitter a little on death, regardless of colour. Compared to how hard the last wave fucked, it's just kinda meh. At least the mini clears are thematically appropriate given their connection to Wonderstones. Then it's those fucking edge drifting splody spirits again. At least this time they're deployed interestingly. They drift from the bottom and explode at the top. Killing them quickly risks a less dense but much closer explosion, or you can let them live and risk the denser but farther explosion. Then thank fuck, the octahedrons are allowed to be interesting again, performing a more challenging take on the old Mystic Square Stage 2 Charger. God damn, this one actually claims bombs from me even when I'm not running like dog shit. If you leave them alive, they will cut swathes of the screen off, and the clearing pops are a welcome respite amidst this. This is a good level of challenge, and unlike the annoying edge sploders, when I bomb and die on this wave I can safely say that was a skill issue on my part, which is ideally what every death in Touhou should feel like. After that, more fun colour dependent explosion tetrahedrons with those sneaky bastard spirits mixed in, before we get a tiny drum fill before Kevin! Kevin the Wonderstone, we love Kevin in this house. While he starts out looking like he just recolours between shots with his first purple backwards accelerating bullets attack, he makes up for it with a shot dependent second non-spell. Past me, can you at least try not to bomb through them so that people can see the footage? For red it's an aggressive loose flame scatter, blue a large cluster spiral spread, yellow a regular large bullet spread, and green your archetypal randomised scatter. All are panic inducing, and goddammit I love non-humanoid mid-bosses in my Touhou, so hurrah for Kevin. We get some spirits themed around the red down shooters for a while before entering a part I love once I get into its groove. It's what I'll name the all colour, all angles yin-yang wheel sensorium. Surreal AI backgrounds used to keep Yuiman in her brainwashed states around you, spiralling as yin-yang wheels come in from all sides. First left to right at the top, then bottom to top on the left, then top to bottom on the right, then right to left on the bottom, all while shooting at you. It isn't dense, but it is fittingly confusing. Once you get into its groove, oh, this part is smooth as butter. Very satisfying to get good at. And that's it. A stage 4 which stands out, does weird shit depending on shots, introduces Kevin the Wonderstone, and has a lot of personality. You'll know the shit's getting an S. Third to last entry, let's fucking go. FW Stage 5 is weirdly reminiscent of MS Stage 5. Starts in the darkness, has 4 recurrent types of enemies that shoot specific patterns, all of which work in concert to suppress you. MS has a red scatter, slow green waves, fast aimed blue trails and slow red cones, introduced as individual waves before merging together. FW does a similar thing. First purple dense coners, then faux aimed red scatter splashes, then yellow circle shooters, then green triangle droppers. All serve their own roles and mostly match the Wonderstones. But the fuck was wrong with blues on? Why replace it with purple? Oh well, point is, these enemies get introduced as their own waves, ready to be dropped in concert later. For now, behold these fucking things. They're memorable, dropping circles of octahedrons which are equal parts free points and punishment, as they explode into a lot of bullets that cut off whole regions of the screen. I know, you could go pacifist and treat the octahedrons as big bullets, but where's the fun in that? True Chads go for the Wonderstone clear, get stuck between bullet walls, and fucking die without even collecting the bomb fragment I was shooting for. Wait, that's not Chad behaviour, that's Soy Jack behaviour. Anyway, the promised furry mix-up happens before Kevin's back, and this time he's gay. I mean, he's got rainbow colours now. This time he combines his stage 4 shot dependent attacks into one terrifying non-spell before exploding into a 1-up. I always bomb on this unless I unlock Zero Bomb Sicko mode, what the fuck, due to the sheer disorientation, and that's a good thing. He's a really respectable pressure inducing mid-boss. Back to the fairy mixing. The music's building, then BAM! Cavern background whites out and we're over a mysterious sea, while the most bullshit splody spirit wave yet arrives. Stage 3's just an introduction that feels like bullshit when it gets you. Stage 4, reasonable in how it's set up. up. Stage 5, they just fucking appear. At every height, telefragging be damned, you're basically forced to stay at the very bottom of the screen, lest they just appear on you. Worse still, they're outright charging at the edge, making bullets appear right next to you. Most Touhou games have waves that feel fair, even for a first time player. While high level players obviously memorise sections to make shit consistent, adaptability and being good at games is enough to get the feel of a Touhou game on normal. With this, you have to know this wave is coming or it'll get cheap, completely unearned deaths from you. And that sucks because I like the MS combo fairies and my boy Kevin the Wonderstone. Then it's over and the Earth appears on the horizon, revealing that we're over the lunacy. Damn it, it's really good, but why did that dogshit last wave have to exist? This would be A or even an S, but that last fucking wave drags it down to a B and not even a high B. I guess concluding with a heaping pile of bullshit is just a taste of what's to come, given Toyohime's whole fucking deal. Penultimately, let's get moody with FW Stage 6. First off, lovely music, fits the melancholy of Aria. Secondly, look, exploding FW spirits I like. It starts off with spirits that scatter falling purple bullets until they die, at which point they explode into dense red scatters. It's one of those difficulty is in the player's hands moments, and I always respect that shit. After that, more exploding spirits, but a lot less dense this time. This, combined with their aggressive aim threads, will make you want to shoot them down ASAP. The third take on this theme are numerous chill spirits. They scatter when living, spread shot when dying, and are more numerous over a longer period. Ironically, this one, from sheer attrition, was the one to claim a bomb from past me. Dense exploders return, and this time you have to kill them quick. There's no waiting before the tetrahedron waves, going red, blue, yellow and green, with vertical, sporadic, aimed cone and scattered shots respectively. Then, all hell breaks loose. Octahedrons of every colour flood the screen with slow, stony bullets, foreshadowing Aria's whole deal. However, you're also inundated with incident stone fragments, meaning you'll summon Wonderstones one after the other. This is crucial to surviving this wave, as the clears exploit the stone bullet's biggest weakness, their slowness. Once you clear that, that's it, onto Aria. The atmosphere, the thematic resonance, the synchronicity with the game's mechanics, this one is really good, especially by typical Stage 6 standards. I almost put this at S, but the last wave is a little too monotonous despite being great foreshadowing and a fun integration of the Wonderstone mechanic. Also, no mid-bosses? Anyway, yeah, this gets a high A. And here it is, the last bloody entry on this thing. Watch, just fucking watch. Zun will announce Touhou 21 the day I upload this video, and I'll look like a jackass. Anyway, this is a really fun extra stage, and it embodies the game it's in perfectly. For starters, once again, Zun was like, Wabauk Extra made Saki look like a softie. I will never let you start Extra at full power again. And hey, respect the hustle. It's the usual Extra mode stream start, but this time it's really difficult to fit collections in without flinging yourself balls out towards the autocollect line. Survival is not guaranteed, but hey, that's what restarting is for. Ideally you want to be at least close to 2 power by the end of the first wave. That's because you'll need the power for the next wave. It's mostly manageable, but only if you have the power to take enemies down quickly. It's the usual scatterers who pose trouble when they live. After that are genuinely threatening big fairies who put down a lot of bullets. Ideally one should pace their first Wonderstone kill to clear as much as possible. This is one of my favourite things about this stage, how much Wonderstone popping and hypers come in clutch. And the stage is brutal, outright balanced around such clears and hypers. For that your boy has to respect it. Anyway, past me panic bombed because he popped his Wonderstone too early, incidentally that's the title of my sex tape, before heading into the next wave. Brutal versions of Stage 2's aimed yin-yang wheel ranks. It's theoretically manageable with similar strategies to Stage 2, but there's much less leeway. Past me bombed again here. A few scatter yin-yang ranks later and the MIDI guitars kick in because Yui Man has the Angie vein. Deer Genocider is tough, but honestly it can be easier than a poorly handled Beautiful Memories of Simply Hunting Deer. Fuck it, I even captured it for the first time mid-recording. Snake Princess Snakelander has the vibe of Nue's snake bullets and can be handled the same way. Stay still in the safe spots until the bullet circles make them not safe. It should be noted that it's around this point that these high strings come in and elevate the music from typical playful extra stage music to oh my god this is fucking beautiful. It has a high swaying quality that evokes wistful insanity similar to how Yui Man and Nina experience the world, and the pentatonic progression suits Yui Man's ancient Japanese nature. It's a really nice part of the music that I wanted to point out before. God damn it, I died with a bomb. Underestimating Snakelander aside, Zoltak's communication is basically fiction discommunication, but even more. Random bullshit go the attack, then the hits. Man blows up, gives you a 1-up, then all hell breaks loose, musically and enemy-wise. Fairies relentlessly scatter, relentlessly aim cone, relentlessly circle shot, and relentlessly verti-shot, all in the associated colours. Better still, I got through it without bombing thanks to a Wonderstone and a Hyper, only dying at the final red verti-shot set. Once again, this stage is balanced around Hypers and Wonderstones, and it's so good as the result. And though the music has looped at this point, the stage isn't done with you yet. There's more big spread fairies, manageable if you have a spread shot, before oh my god, it's made a comeback! It's the PC98 end of level shooters, returning like they did in PCB Extra and Phantasm. God damn it past me, stop bombing and let me appreciate this. God, what an absolutely perfect way to wrap this whole fucking ranking up with. No surprises here, this stage gets an S, it's as peak as the AI psychosis waifu herself. Holy shit, it's done. It's over. Why the fuck did I put this as an option for my next ranking? Why did I give you madmen the opportunity to put me through this? Jokes aside, while this was a lot of hard work, it was also a lot of fun. Replaying my favourite long-running indie series over and over, learning to love the itty-bitty decisions and gameplay, thinking about why Zon made the choices he did when designing it, it's a really fulfilling experience. I get to ramble about my hyperfixations and for some reason, people love to watch it. And that makes me happy. You guys are sadists, you guys clearly expected great things from me, and now that this is all recorded I can not rest because I need to edit this bloody thing. Oh well, see you guys on the other side. Wait, this video is how long?